unbelievably prevalent. What are some safety tips if it happens to you?
Safety first. Secondary collisions are not uncommon while awaiting help. Turn on those hazards and remain in a safe place. If a bystander witnessed the accident, capture their information and encourage them to remain at the scene. Seek medical attention immediately if needed, as delaying can be a costly mistake. Lastly, remember that statements made to police and insurance adjusters can affect your case.
Collisions are more common than we'd like to think. If you find yourself in one, follow these helpful tips and then call my friends at Pendergast Law.
If you or a loved one's injured in a car accident, call Pendergast Law. We can help.
PendergastLaw.com.
It's the Golfapalooza of the summer, the Butts Golf Sidewalk Sale. Some serious 4 days of values you'll never see again. The biggest brands with staggering prices. 4 days only, and it all starts Thursday at Butts.
Want to listen to Seattle sports on your smart speaker?
Hey, smart speaker, play Seattle sports.
This message is powered by the EQC Sportsbook at Emerald Queen Casino. Emerald Queen Casino, the entertainment capital of the Northwest.
Are you looking for a construction loan to build your dream home? Are you a local builder needing a better financing option for your next spec project? Hi, I'm Scott Rireka, CEO of Legacy Group Capital in Bellevue. Stop wasting time with local banks and credit unions and their endless guidelines. We're the experts for common sense residential construction loans. We lend our own money, we make our own decisions. And if your deal makes sense, we'll get it done fast with flexible terms. For homeowners, we advise you every step of the way with things like budget and timeline, ensuring the completion of your dream home. For builders, Legacy's not only your lender, we'll source your next deal, provide permitting services, and if you're short on equity, we'll invest alongside of you. Legacy Group Capital has lent more than $1 billion, helping over 130 local builders and hundreds of homeowners. We can help you.
Construction loans don't have to be hard. Borrow smart with a common sense construction loan from Legacy Group Capital. Visit legacyg.com. legacyg.com.
This is Seattle Sports.
Streaming through the Seattle Sports app.
KIRO AM Seattle. KIRO FM HD2 Tacoma. Home of the Seahawks, Mariners, and everything Seattle sports. Seattle Sports Snapshot.
The Mariners opened their series against the Orioles with a loss, and it was an ugly one. The team posted just 2 hits, with both belonging to Josh Rojas. They'll get another shot tonight, and don't forget, it's Patriotic Fireworks Night after the game. Jerry Dipoto did have good news, though. He told SiriusXM he expects Brian Wu to make at least one start before the All-Star break.
Snapshot, brought to you by Miller Lite. When it's game time, it's Miller time.
This is Bump and Stacy
On Seattle Sports.
Streaming through the Seattle Sports app and at seattlesports.com.
Now, here are your hosts, Michael Bumpus and Stacy Ross.
Here we go now.
Happy Wednesday, everyone. I know it doesn't feel like a happy one. I've said that too often because the Mariners lost, but there's still 2 more games to play in this series. You do have fireworks tonight after the game if you are going. We have some quick reaction to the game, some new sound from Jerry Dipoto, some fun stuff in the show to lighten things up. So we're going to start with quick reaction to the game. Bump. Josh Rojas, only player with a hit. He had 2. 0 for 26 for everyone else. Let's start there. I hated it. What about you?
This was rough to watch. And I'm watching the game. I'm not even realizing that everyone is just not getting on base and striking out and all that. And I'm watching the game, and I hear some noise in the background. I go, that's a sound I haven't heard at T-Mobile before. I hit up the group chat. I go, hey, is anyone hearing that in the background? They're like, oh, I don't know what you're talking about. So then naturally I hit up Justin, who's on the morning show. I assume he's at the game. I go, Justin, are you hearing what I'm hearing? He goes, I'm not at the game. Let me holler at my boy and see if he's hearing it. 5 minutes later, he texts back, yep. And what I was asking, do we hear boos at T-Mobile? And that was... It hit me like a jab to the chin. Like these people, the people, the fans of Seattle are tired of seeing what the Mariners are rolling out. And honestly, I don't blame them for being frustrated. I'm not the type to stand there and boo a team. That's just not how I get down. I understand why people were frustrated. But then I go and look at the box scores and realize that, yeah, there's reason to boo. Crawford, 0 for 4. Ty, 0 for 2. Did get on base with a couple walks. Luke, 0 for 3. Kyle, 0 for 3. Polanco, 0 for 3. Bliss, pinch runner. Canzone, 0 for. Julio, 0 for. Moved him down to the 7th spot to see if that can change some things. Haniger, 0 for. Rojas was the only guy who had a couple hits. And when it all was said and done, I looked at the box score. I saw that Kirby got another quality start, did what he was supposed to do, did put both in a tough situation. He did get out of that situation. And it made me sad. It made me sad because I feel like this team is better than that, but there's also really no reason for me to be surprised at this type of performance because we've seen it a lot this year, but we also have seen some good performances. So I'm just sad. I wrote it in our email. I'm just sad.
I'm just sad, too. I'm not someone who boos either. I've not booed at a game. I think I've booed one time, and it was to another person who was wearing a Yankees hat. So, like, at the actual players, it's not my move, but I get it. It's an expression of disappointment, the same way people have expressions of jubilation when something fun happens. And I mean, look, it's not altogether uncommon with other clubs, right? You hear the Yankees, booing Aaron Judge if he goes 0 for 4. Maybe not at this point in the year, but I mean, certainly earlier. Like, at some point, you're going to have fans that boo, that get upset, that are frustrated. And this offense is giving you plenty to be upset about. So I don't know. I mean, like, I wouldn't do it. I don't know that I'd encourage it, but I can't blame people for doing it.
No, you can't blame them.
No, and look, this happened after Jorge Polanco grounded into a double play. People were just fed up. They were fed up with just an ugly performance from an abysmal offense. But to me, and I know to you, the most disappointing part was Julio's final at-bat.
Oh, man, that at-bat. I'm literally standing up because I feel like Julio's a little brother that I try to protect every single day on the show. And I'm standing there and I go, this is your opportunity right here, Julio. Put together a good at-bat. You know what they're going to do. They're going to try to make you chase one low and out. Then they're going to try to jam you up near your hands. And you know they're going to throw one up in the middle of the zone and try to get you to chase that too. We all know that it's coming. What's her name? Andrea that we had on the show, or didn't have on the show, but we listened to her yesterday. Yeah. I pulled up her chart. Every Julio at bat, and I'm saying, all right, let's see if this is true. And I kid you not, Stacey, the charts matched the at bats, and it was all bad, man. He didn't come through clutch. I felt like if he were able to come through clutch in that moment, then some pressure would be released off of him. Maybe people start seeing all the things that we're talking about and have a bit more confidence in him. But he didn't come through. He got moved to the 7th spot, did not perform. Some people are talking about his hustle to a ball in center field. I think that's tough to judge, especially when you got the second baseman floating out there. It was just a bad day overall, but it hurt even more when the guy that you depend on or have been depending on to come through clutch just didn't do it. Cal almost came through clutch, man. He pulled one.
I'm so annoyed by that. I mean, it was
so
just
close
there because you can't help but tell yourself as a Mariners fan, and there are other larger, more important issues behind this that aren't just bad luck.
Yeah.
But there are times as a Mariners fan you're like, ugh,
he was just a little early. Just a little early. Cal would have been the man once again.
I know.
But that was a tough one to watch, Stacey.
It was really, really hard. Julio just swinging high. It didn't look natural at all. It looked like he was trying too hard. We'll get to some sound later. Mike Blowers talking about how maybe it looks like less about trying hard and more about truly being off balance. I mean, there's all kinds of stuff to break down with his stance. The final thing I'll say about the game for some quick reaction before we move on to what we learned from Jerry Dipoto is a response. Ryan in the 253 says, the boos are deserved, but it's important to clarify they're for ownership with the bait and switch, with commitment when the team's ready to compete. The whole team looks like they're pressing. I think there are some people who are very much booing Jorge Polanco, Julio, all these guys.
They're booing the team.
Yeah, I think
there's some booing management as well. The whole situation. Like, we always try to figure out what's wrong with the offense, and we have 5 or 6 different things. I think you can say the same thing about the boos. They're looking at the whole situation and saying, this ain't it. You were just up 10 games.
All right, well, let's figure out what they can do about it. We're also going to start by figuring out what Jerry Dipoto thinks about this team. He was on Sirius XM. Curtis, I'm sorry, can you remind me of the show? I know it's with Jim Bowden.
The front office.
The front office. Want to give credit there. So we're going to talk about what we learned and took away from Jerry's interview, and then what we're still trying to figure out. We'll start with what we learned. Jerry thinks it's a tough, weird trade market. He said there's probably maybe like less than 2 teams that are actually looking to make moves.
I would say if I'm ballparking, there's probably less than 2 or 3 teams that are actively looking to move in a sell direction. And that makes it really hard to identify where you might be able to upgrade or who those players might be. And I think it's going to require a greater degree of patience. And, if at least the calendar is sizing up that, while most of the activity in the trade deadline is typically at the very end, this year might be even more extreme in that way.
This is what Jerry's saying to me, Bump. Not only is it going to be hard for us to make some huge move, but you might have to wait until like July 30th or July 29th to hear about it.
Yeah, and I've been prepared for that. I think just with the way things are shaping up when it comes to records and teams being in the hunt, naturally, I feel like it's going to come down to the last week or last few days. And I think it should, because you still got to give this team time to show exactly what they're capable of. I think at this point we kind of know what they're capable of, but there is still a chance they get hot and they go on a run, things start looking good, you feel different, and you say, all right, this is the piece that we need. The piece that we needed a month ago, we got that covered. Now we need to move in a different direction. I don't think it's likely that they miraculously just hit a switch and start getting guys on base and driving them in and looking like a productive offense. But I think there are some baby steps they can take, so you have to be patient with this whole thing. I'm good with that approach.
All right. You might not like this take, but he's not wrong. Some people had issue with this interview because it sounded like Jerry, and I was among them, because it sounded like Jerry was walking back any expectation fans would have of a big trade and kind of implying like, hey, we've got pieces we need to improve. But he's also not wrong. So take a listen to this.
I mean, it's something we think about every day. And I look at our team, and we might not be able to magically overhaul the offense over the next, we'll call it 30 days or so. But we feel like we can help it. And the biggest assist that's going to come from our offense is the players we have that have had middling first halves just stepping up and doing what they do. And we have so many talented players that have generally not really hit on who they are.
Bump, I'm paraphrasing this line, but the biggest assist we'll get for our offense is players playing like we expected.
Yeah, they got it. They have to do better. You have to live up to your expectations, at least a little bit. Some guys ain't even living up to it just a tad bit. It's just been a big disappointment, and you can't ignore it. All right, we sit here and we can be optimistic, and I think that there's reason to be optimistic because we see who these guys have been in their career. But at some point, you got to look at it and say, y'all just got to do better, man, or you're going to keep getting these boos, and the pressure's going to keep getting heavier and mounting, and you're going to keep looking at your lead dwindle away. There has to be some type of urgency. I know in baseball you can't play harder. That's not a thing. You have to be composed and calculated and understand the count and who's on base and the whole situation. But at some point, man, you just have to do better. It's as simple as that. And it's so disappointing because we understand their approach. I think we liked the Polanco deal. We said, all right, Polanco comes over here and is the guy that he's been on paper, then this team should be good. Yeah, if Julio is the guy that we've seen last couple of years, this should be good. Yeah, if Luke is the guy that he was in Tampa, this should be good. But it ain't. And they're not those guys. So we can look at all the data like I was with Julio's at bat and looking to see what he does, and it can all make sense. End of the day, man, you just got to play better. And it's getting frustrated. And yesterday was the most frustrated I've ever been with this team this year because, one, Rojas was the only guy to get a couple of hits, and then for some reason Service takes him out, and then Demo swings at the first pitch and pops it up to right field. Like, what are we doing? He's the only guy with a hit. And then Julio, I'm just looking at him, I go, bro, this ain't it. You have to perform. You're getting paid to perform, performance-based business. So this is the most frustrating I've been. I can take losses. That's going to happen, but the fashion in which they lost, I think what really got me going last night. And I don't blame people for booing. Like I said, it's not something I do. But that's the only way the fans can get out their frustration. You and I have the mic every day,
right?
And we can talk and get it all out. I mean, if you're spending your money at T-Mobile Park, and you're showing up, and your team was 10 games ahead, and now they're 2.5, 3, or something like that. You should be frustrated. I get it.
To Jerry's point, he is right in that you look at Cal, I look at Julio, and I look at some pieces where I go, you have shown enough, or your caliber of play is enough that I expect you to be playing better. I'll throw even JP into that. He's not like a home run guy by any means, but I do expect him to get on base more often than he has been. A separate conversation we're going to have at 11 that I'm kind of diving into a little prematurely here, but fine, it's a big topic, is whether or not it's fair to expect some of the other players to play to the back of their baseball cards. Like, when I look at Julio, I go, yeah, all-star. You're a home run derby star. Like, you're someone that everyone in baseball knew to watch because you were a top-ranked prospect. Should I be expecting Jorge Polanco to play like the one season when he had more than 22 home runs? He had like 31 home runs or something like that in 2021. It was a great season. maybe some of the players the Mariners are bringing in are guys that just aren't capable of playing to the back of their baseball card because their back of their baseball card is a little more volatile.
Yeah, that's
You know?
I agree with that. I agree with that. Because there's no real consistency. I'm looking at Polanco, and you mentioned his best year. What was that in 2021? Hit 33 bombs, had 98 RBIs. I wasn't expecting that. I was expecting maybe the 2017 Polanco, 13 bombs, maybe the 2022, 16 bombs.
Like an average of who he was.
You know, like you can't look at the best year and say, we need you to be that every single year. I mean, the greats can do that. The greats are that guy every single year, 35, 40 plus bombs, 90 plus RBIs. They're in the Hall of Fame. We talk about them for years to come. But it's just on average, be the average person you are in your career, and you should be okay. So when you see Polanco come in and he's a 193, 284, 293, and a OPS of 577, you go, you came here and you've been the worst version of yourself, and we're still trying to figure out why that is. And there are some theories out there that people might be buying into, the hitter's eye thing. I'm searching for reasons. You know, I'm starting to buy into maybe it is a hitter's eye, because why will Polanco come over here and just not be at least a version of who he's been in the big since 2014? It's frustrating, man. And then as a former athlete and as a person, I also feel for these dudes at the same time. I know it's tough for people to look at it that way, but I feel for them because they know they're not performing. They know they're underachieving. They know they had a 10 game lead in the AL West. They know they're getting booed. They hear those boos. They're in the dugout looking at each other, shaking their head. There's a human aspect to it, but end of the day, you're paid to do a job, and you had a lead, and we felt like this was coming. You and I kept talking about, can they sustain it? Can they sustain playing this way and keep a lead? And it's dwindling away. So it's unfortunate, man. It's frustrating for everyone involved. They're frustrated too.
Last thing we learned, whether it's because he truly believes it or because he has to, Jerry Dipoto does think the offense will come around.
I don't know why it's been so difficult for us. I do believe our personnel, that they're all talented. We're not old. These guys are all in the primes of their career, and I think it will turn. This has generally been an area where we've been slow in the first half and we pick it up in the second. And it doesn't seem to matter who our personnel might be in a given year. So, hopefully that is something that happens for us again this year, is that we get going here in the second half. But the names you rolled off, there are a lot of names on that list that are all-star type players or guys who've been really good in our league. And we don't think they're done. We think these are guys that are going to contribute heavily again. And we've got to wait it out. And like I said, along the way over these next 30 days, see if there's a way that we can help them out.
Now, I know, Bump, that you would love to acquire a piece, so I won't even ask you, because I already know that you'd love for them to acquire a bat, and in particular an impactful one. I'll ask instead this. Is there part of you that still thinks they'll come around?
Yeah. I always that's the way I live, especially in sports and in baseball when you play 162. My sons were asking me last night, they're like, Dad, what's going on with them? What do they need to do? And I give them our analysis that we do every single day, but I also told them, I go, look, man, there's 162 games in a season. There's time for them to pick this thing up and turn it around. It's just the longer that you don't see any type of life, the harder it is for you to believe that they're going to do it. Is there anything in me that says they can do it? For sure. I mean, being an athlete, you always got to believe that there's an opportunity and a chance for you to do it, especially when you played 87 games out of 162. It's just that lead that you had, turning the corner on that 200-meter race, that middle lane is creeping up on you. And that's what scares me the most, is that you're seeing the way that they're playing, and you see the Astros creeping up. Of course they can turn this thing around, but the longer we see this, the harder it's going to be for them mentally to kind of tap in and do that.
The very last thing, what we're still trying to figure out, I'm going to cut into headline rewrites for just like 2 minutes here, Matt. The first thing we're still trying to figure out, I don't have sound for this, but I transcribed it, and Curtis and I were trying to figure out what this meant, Bump. Asked if he's seeing improvements offensively compared to last year, Jerry Dipoto said, quote, "We're converting runs at a higher rate than we did last season." What does that mean?
Converting runs, to me, it sounds like that you're better with runners in scoring position, which I don't think is true. I don't know what where you are as far as runs scored at this time of year where you were last year. I don't know. That just sounds like someone who's trying to answer a question and just move on to the next, honestly.
I know. So this is the full explanation.
We're converting runs at a higher rate than we did before. We're really not creating as much traffic as we would like to create on the bases. We do hit homers and we take our walks, and that's an area that we've always, this group has always excelled in, and that really keeps us afloat offensively.
I made the same assumption you did, where it's like, well, if he says we're not getting as much traffic on the base paths immediately after saying that, then maybe they count, including not runners in scoring position. So including getting a runner on first with a single, are we converting those? Part of me is, though, like, is that putting lipstick on a pig? Can you really count it if you're getting fewer runners on base? You know what I mean? Like, can you really say, oh, we're converting more runs because we're getting fewer opportunities?
This is manager talk. This is, listen, let's get through this interview. I'm not just going to bash my team with every single question because I did put this roster together, and I still believe that there's some positive here. This is what he's supposed to do. As frustrating as it may sound to people, what do you expect Jerry to sit up here and do? We're garbage. We're not hitting. I mean, every interview he has, he's going to answer the same questions over and over and over again because everyone sees the issue. So, no, man, this is manager talk. And even if there is a little bit of truth to it, they are hitting more bombs. Maybe that's what he means by converting more runs.
Yeah.
Who knows?
Let's get to headline rewrites.
Extra, extra, read all about it.
Headline rewrites.
We must make headlines.
The real story behind the headlines in today's news with Bump and Stacy.
Headline number one, Jerry Dipoto did have some good news in his interview on SiriusXM. Said they expect Brian Wu to make a start before the All-Star break.
The one guy that's had some difficulty posting over the course of the first half is Brian Wu. When he has posted, he has been fabulous. And, right now he's down with a hamstring. We don't think it's something that's going to bother him for too long, and he should be back to make at least one start before the break. And that'll feel better or allow us to feel better going into the season's second half.
So, what's the real headline?
Can he reach peak velocity while packaged in bubble wrap?
Man, Wu has had it. He's had it tough, man. He's that COVID baby type baseball player where his seasons was cut short. It's just different for these guys. He's a COVID baby pitcher. You know what I mean?
He's got a lot of one-on-one time.
Yeah, they're just different. My middle child, COVID
short
baby.
Attention span.
It's just
shy, doesn't answer the phone.
He's always on his iPad.
Yeah.
So physically, it's tough for him, obviously, getting through a full season. When you say the bubble wrap, I just think of The Little Giants. Remember that movie, Curtis, when the little homie shows up wrapped in like
I like
foam?
how you didn't go to Stacy on that reference.
That's, you know what, though? It's true. It's. I can't blame you. We are who we are.
The annexation
and I'm
of
not
Puerto
someone
Rico.
who's going to get any movie reference.
Headline rewrites.
Headline number two came down to the wire, but LeBron James has reached a deal to stay with the Los Angeles Lakers per ESPN. What's the real headline?
LeBron's new deal came with a, quote, draft my son and hire my buddy clause.
LeBron is the president of that organization over there.
Yeah.
For the next 2 seasons, he's calling all the shots. And hate it or love it, in this day and age, he's the man. He's the GOAT. He's the GOAT of the NBA right now until he retires, and then someone else will take over eventually in 10 to 15 years. It is what it is. I know people get all frustrated with his power, but that's just how he rolls.
Yeah. I wasn't surprised by this news. You're not surprised by this news. Did you like the news?
Of him? Yeah, I like it for his son.
Yeah.
You get to play with your dad for at least a couple years. He signed the max deal, $50 million plus a year. His son signed a 4-year deal for like 7.8. I'm more excited for his son because he gets to move out of his house and live his own life and kind of become his own man with his dad on his team. But you can hate the story. It is what it is.
Headline rewrites.
Headline number 3. It's the end of an era. Tomorrow will be the first Nathan's hot dog eating contest without Kobayashi or Joey Chestnut since 2001. What's the real headline?
I wish there was a way to know you're in the good old days before you've left them.
That reminds me of a quote I saw. It said there was a time where you and your friends played outside for the last time and no one really knew like that was the last time.
That's actually really sad.
Yeah, right?
Wow, yeah, there was a time when I remember my best friend Emma, we would ride bikes through the neighborhood, and I felt like I was on a motorcycle. Like, we would ride bikes all day. There was a day when it was the last time we did that.
I had no idea that was it.
And I had no idea. I can't even think of what the day was.
There's a really sad TikTok my wife showed me one time, and it was like, there will be a time your kid asks to be held by you, like, for the last time, and you won't even know it. And it's like, dang.
Yep.
And then, like, I run to go grab my kids.
Well,
I will never let go.
If anything, the conversation, which initially started as a joke, could be a reminder for people to, whatever it is that you treasure right now in your life, maybe do it one extra time today. You know what I mean? Like, if you treasure time with your friends because you still got a roommate, maybe watch a movie today or watch the game together. If you treasure, being I'm forever a hero to my kids because they're not a teenager yet, they can't get mad at me, maybe, take them for ice cream today. It's going to be
Pound
nice.
10 glizzies in honor of these two gladiators.
Yeah, exactly. Have a hot dog in honor of us never again seeing these two, except for a Netflix
special. Yeah, on Labor Day.
Yeah, so slightly different. Don't forget, for the third year, Seattle Sports is partnering with the Seattle chapter of WISE. That's Women in Sports and Events, to recognize a woman in our community through the Women of Inspiration Award. It's an amazing honor. So if you know a woman who gives her all to the sports and events community, it could be anything, a member of the community, coaching, anything, it's time to celebrate her. Learn more at woiseattle.org. Right now, you're listening to Bump and Stacy on Seattle Sports and the Seattle Sports app. The Mariners offense is ugly. We know this. These games are ugly, but that window for improvement and contention is still open. Take a listen to what Jeff Passan had to say about that next.
Seattle Sports, your home for Wyman and Bob.
I'm just sort of marveling at the lack of belief in this team. Not that the Seahawks should be considered a top 5 team. I'm not making that case at all. But there seems to be a really dim view of what this team's going to be. First of all, what was their record last year, Bob? They were 9-8 with a bad defense. So we all assume that the defense is going to be at least somewhat improved. How much, we'll find out. And the offense is bringing back almost the same cast. I don't see them getting worse.
On Seattle Sports and 97.3 FM HD2.
Want to listen to Seattle Sports on your smart speaker?
Hey, smart speaker, play Seattle Sports.
This message is powered by the EQC Sportsbook at Emerald Queen Casino. Emerald Queen Casino, the entertainment capital of the Northwest.
Home ownership. At Progressive, we know it's part of the American dream. It's sea to shining sea and water damage as far as the eye can see.
It's America.
It's freshly mowed grass and a fence that was freshly vandalized by a pack of unruly teens. It's also round-the-clock protection when you bundle your home and auto with Progressive, which can help keep the American dream of home ownership alive and kicking. Get a quote at Progressive.com. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company, affiliates, and other insurers. Not available in all states.
The best things in life, they come in twos. 2 scoops of ice cream, 2 tacos. And now for a limited time, get our best deal of the year. Buy any phone when you switch to Consumer Cellular and get 2 months of service free. That's right, the same fast, reliable nationwide coverage as Big Wireless, now with 2 months free. Proof the best things in life really do come in twos. Visit ConsumerCellular.com or call 1-888-FREEDOM. Second and third month of monthly base service fee waived for new customers with the purchase of a phone and activation by July 31st, 2024. Taxes, fees, and third-party charges will apply. See website for additional details.
The murder of 2 men forces their families to wrestle with impossible questions. Who is forgiveness for? Does everyone deserve a second chance? Follow Season 2 of The Letter, Ripple Effect, at theletterpodcast.com or wherever you get your podcasts.
Oh, it is the time of the season for pests. That's right. No one likes them. No one knows where they come from, but we can all agree no one wants them in their house. Mike Salk here for Crawl Pros, and they have a full-service pest control division now called Pest Pros. They can come to your house and do a full corner-to-corner inspection, take care of any problems, just like they did at my home. This is the time of the year you'll start seeing more ants in and around your home. You may also begin hearing a little buzzing outdoors. Bees, wasps, hornets, if they make a nest on your property, that is a huge nuisance. So please don't try to take care of those nests on your own. Simply call Pest Pros to have any nest removed and destroyed professionally before the problem grows or you and your guest ends up getting stung. Pest Pros is the full-service pest control division of Crawl Pros with eco-friendly treatments to keep ants, stinging insects, and all sorts of critters from making their way into your home. If you're worried about rodents, ants, or other bugs or an issue in and around your home,
call Pest Pros or visit gopestpros.com to schedule a free inspection at gopestpros.com.
Hey, it's Dave Wyman speaking to those who have recently been diagnosed with prostate cancer. It's important to know you have several options for treatment. I'm here with Dr. Meyer, medical director of the Swedish Radiosurgery Center, to talk about one of the best and technologically advanced treatment options, CyberKnife. Dr. Meyer, why is CyberKnife one of the best procedures to treat prostate cancer?
Well, treatment for prostate cancer can affect men's quality of life. It can affect their romantic life. It can affect their urine and bowel function. And the CyberKnife does the best job of preserving that function while having excellent cancer control rates.
What do your patients think of the CyberKnife treatment experience?
Well, at the Swedish CyberKnife, our patients are really satisfied with the experience. They report very few side effects, and we are seeing excellent cancer control 10 years later.
To learn more about CyberKnife for prostate cancer, go to swedish.org/CyberKnifeProstate or call 206-320-7187. Treat prostate cancer with Swedish CyberKnife.
The noon hour of the Bump and Stacy Show is powered every day by the caring and compassionate team at Pendergast Law Personal Injury Lawyers. Go to pendergastlaw.com.
Did you know your skin is the largest organ of your body? Huh? That's why you should shower with Old Spice Super Hydration Body Wash instead of plain old bar soap. Love your skin by super hydrating it with vitamin D3 and glorious notes of vanilla and shea. Did you know that my super hydrated skin is the second largest organ of my body? The first is my heart. Old Spice. Men have skin too. Old Spice Super Hydration Body Wash. 24/7 renewing moisture. With daily use.
The light is fading, your hands are sore, and the last tool has been put away. Now is the time to feel the satisfaction that comes with a job well done. But when you get your tools from Harbor Freight, something about the job feels a little different. Your wallet. Because we believe that everyone deserves hardworking tools at hardworking prices. And that's what we have here. So, whatever you do, do it for less at Harbor Freight.
July is Vehicle Theft Prevention Month. The Puget Sound Auto Theft Task Force, in cooperation with the International Auto Theft Investigators Association, asks you to help prevent vehicle theft and stop auto fraud. Lock your doors, use anti-theft devices, and don't leave titles or important documents in your vehicle. Install immobilization devices such as ignition or fuel disablers. Never leave keys or fobs in your vehicle, and never leave your vehicle running unattended. Paid for by the Washington Auto Theft Prevention Authority.
Guys, did you know your testosterone level impacts your energy, libido, sleep, weight, hair loss, mood, and even ED? And right now, Revive Men's Health Seattle will check your testosterone for free. They've helped thousands of men since 2011 feel and perform better. They're so confident they can help you, they even guarantee it. Schedule your free testosterone test, exam, and consultation today. Call 206-529-1111. That's 206-529-1111. Or visit ReviveMen'sHealth.com.
This is Bump and Stacy.
Weekdays 10 to 2.
On Seattle Sports and 97.3 FM HD2.
Curtis, you didn't hear Bump, but the Olympic trials, I think, are on for dressage. And Bump just out of nowhere goes, what'd you say?
Who looked at a horse and said, we're going to make him dance. We're going to prance him around. And whoever does it best, you are the man or the woman.
You are a world champion.
You are the best at making horses dance.
It was like quiet, you take a quick bathroom break. Maybe you get on your phone. Maybe you check an email. Maybe you do whatever. So we're just kind of sitting here getting ready to come back. And then, man, who got on a horse and said, we're going to make him dance? It's just the delivery
and the
was
patience,
so perfect.
The patience to train that horse is amazing.
All right. Well, let's talk about whether or not the Mariners want to be patient with some of these prospects or deal them a. Okay. So Jeff Passan explained why the Mariners shouldn't cling too tightly to prospects at the deadline. When I mentioned, hey, you still have a window, I said it for a reason. The trade deadline is approaching. You are in first place in the AL West. This offense is atrocious. It's ugly. It needs to be better. But you still have the ability to be a contending team because the Mariners are not wholly a bad team, Bump. They have great pitching. Your pitchers are healthy. If you had an okay offense, you'd be amazing. Well, maybe not amazing, but you'd feel a lot more confident about this team. So let's go ahead and get to some of what we learned from Jeff Passan in terms of hanging on to or not those prospects.
I think it's at least 2 years.
Oh, wrong one.
But the Mariners have illustrated they have a pretty distinct skill at finding and developing young position players. And so maybe, they're not going to be quite as close to the vest with those prospects as they would have been in the past, because the draft and international free agency every year allows you the opportunity to replenish it. And that's what should compel you to be a little more aggressive at the trade deadline. And to me, the best teams, Mike, are not the ones that have a philosophy to which they hew with everything that is their being and essence. It's the teams that have philosophies that are malleable. And the game state for the Mariners is they have a historically good starting rotation and a bad offense. And if that bad offense can even turn to average, there's a chance that something really special could happen in October.
So many points to take away from this one quote, Bump. What stands out to you first?
Just be average offensively, and you should be okay. And I don't think that's too much to ask. Imagine if these guys were the average player they've been throughout their careers. Everyone on this, not even everyone, let's say 60% of the roster were the average player they've been in their whole career. You should be okay. And I think that's why management just holds on to that. Like they could be this. We've seen at times Luke do his thing. We've seen Rojas. We've seen JP. Ty France not so much. I think he had a couple games where he caught fire. But all they're asking is for them to be average, because your strength is stronger than 90% of anyone else's strength in MLB, and those are the guys on the mound. So that's what stuck out to me, is that they're really bad offensively. All you have to do is be average, because you have a great rotation and you can be in the mix. You're still 7 games above 500, 3 games above the Astros. Just come around and be average, and you should be okay.
2 other things that stood out to me. One, Jeff saying, I know that some people might be nervous about trading one of your top 5 prospects. I got a list of the top 5 prospects in front of me, and I look at these guys and I say, a couple of these guys, Cole Young, Harry Ford, could theoretically debut next year, right? They're already in Double-A. Colt Emerson, Montez Celestin still further away, with Celestin obviously being the furthest away. His expected debut is closer to 2027, 2028. But you've shown you can build up a farm system. Like, there are not a lot of things that you're great at as an organization, but finding, drafting, developing pitchers is one of them, and then building up these, groups of prospects is another. Why not lean into that strength?
Exactly. You've already leaned into your pitching, obviously the most quality starts in the game right now. Now lean into the farm system and see what you can create out of that. Since you're not great at developing bats, you use these young men to go ahead and get you one. And the scary part about it is that people love potential. That's why we've held on to the thought of Julio Rodriguez turning things around, because potentially he can be one of the best in the game. I think people look at Cole Young and Harry Ford and Colt Emerson, Montez, and say, well, what can they be? We don't know. And that potential that deters you from making a move can help you make a move. Well, can influence a team to give up something that you need because of potential. Potential is the greatest thing in sports, man, because no one really knows what's going to happen with these guys. But because you are in need of something, you have to use that potential to your advantage.
Someone said, no, the Orioles held on to their farm system. I think more teams have made moves than you think, but also, if the Mariners had prospects that were much closer, we'd be having a different conversation. I mean, Adley Rutschman and Gunnar Henderson debuted within, a year of each other, Curtis? I mean, so you had prospects that lined up with what you wanted to do, and then you went out and you found pitching in the offseason or in free agency and continued to add to that group. So the problem the Mariners are facing is you've got an excellent group of starters, and then you've got some bats that, A, may or may not be great, and B, aren't going to debut this year.
And to the Baltimore Orioles point, in 2021 they were 52-110. I don't think this fan base or this organization is trying to drop to those lows. The reason why they were 51 or 52-110 is because they did hold on to their prospects, and they're trying to develop them. They went a different route to get to where they are today. And I can understand why that's attractive to some people, because you see them start for the bottom. Now they're here. Big ups Drake. K-Dot, stay off of him. And
no, K-Dot, don't do it.
I mean, we can all get along. But you see that climb, and you're saying, okay, the Mariners can do that. And I say, I think the Mariners are in a different position. Their starting position is different than where the Baltimore Orioles were in 2021. Even in 2021, the Mariners weren't that bad. They won 90 games, 90 and 72. So the starting position is different. So because I think the Mariners are starting at a different position, they got to maneuver a bit differently. They're not the bottom of the barrel scraping to get by. It feels like they are right now, but essentially, or in reality, they're first in the division. And if they do add a couple pieces, can really make a run at this thing. So I understand the thought of, okay, do what Baltimore did, but 52 and 110 ain't it? That's not where the Mariners are right now.
Finally, before I get to a very interesting cut from Jerry Dipoto, the last thing I love from Jeff is his conversation about identity. That, like, you have to walk a thin line between sticking stubbornly to who you are, not sticking stubbornly to who you are, still knowing who you are, but willing to be malleable. And I don't know what Jeff is necessarily getting at. I can't read his mind, but how I think about it as a Mariners fan is, if part of your identity is we draft, develop players, we try to, have our own homegrown talent, that's awesome. Don't stick with that over the chance of getting to a World Series, getting deep into the playoffs, bettering a team right now, and taking advantage of your window.
Right. No,
So, I like that idea.
Mm-hmm.
Let's get to a little bit of what Jerry Dipoto had to say about the trade deadline. First, he's asked if the front office will allow for additional payroll and trading prospects.
Will ownership allow you financial flexibility to make a move or two at the deadline? And are you willing to trade some of your top prospects from your system that's there if it gives you that opportunity?
I think the answer to that question is yes and yes. We've already visited with ownership as we prep we're going to go into the draft room bunker for the next 2.5 weeks, and going to come out and the trade deadline is staring you in the face. So we've already done our prep. Our ownership is very positive about where it's hard not to be positive. We've spent most of the last 3 months in first place, and we feel like we have it right in front of us. And they are all for doing something that helps this team and gets us to that point where we can go out and win a World Series.
And going out to win a World Series might mean trading those prospects.
We've got a particularly, I think, exciting farm system, and part of having a good farm system is that it augments your major league club.
Let's be real. Part of having your farm system is to continue to improve the club that you have today.
Yeah, for sure. And also what I heard there was that ownership has given them their support and saying, okay, go out and get some pieces. But you got to come to ownership with a presentation and say, this is why we should be aggressive to get this pieces, because our team is performing at a level to where we feel like we can really make a push. If Jerry were to go to ownership right now and try to go to get the biggest bat out there, they'd look at him and be like, why? Why? Your team's not performing. The team that you put together isn't even average at best. So why should we invest that much? So that's a dynamic that I think people don't realize. It's not just Jerry can go up there and say, look, give me the money, let me go get it. You have to present a case and a reason why ownership should put up the money and say, yeah, let's go get it back. Let's go make a run because we see the potential. He's going to need these guys to play a lot better in the next couple of weeks so he can go to ownership with that presentation and it all makes sense to them and they can go and get the bat that everyone desires.
Well, let's talk about the bats that they've been able to draft and develop so far, including the ones that they've been able to get through free agency. They've proven to be good at a lot of things. We just talked about building up the farm system and developing pitching talent, but has assembling offensive talent been one of them? That's coming up at 11. First, Get Off My Lawn, coming your way next.
Get the national perspective on the Mariners.
Swing and a miss and a slider, strike three.
With Jeff Passett, Tuesday mornings at 8:30.
The Mariners have arguably the best pitching staff in baseball. I think I'm probably taking the Mariners at the end of the day over every team in the American League right now.
And John Morosi, Thursdays at 5 p.m.
This is the team to beat in the division. And it's not just a hot take. That's what the numbers say, that they're the team to beat in the division.
We are Seattle Sports, the home of the Mariners.
I call myself a confident backseat driver. Mom, brakes, please.
Gotcha.
But I'm less confident in the economy.
Same here, buddy.
Thankfully, Les Schwab Tires helps make sure that our safety never takes a backseat, even when we're watching our wallets.
Roll into summer. Save up to $200 instantly on a wide selection of tires and wheels. Les Schwab Tires. Limited time offer. Terms and conditions apply. Details at leschwab.com/sale.
Summer is here. If you're dealing with a pest problem, get the relief you need and the long-term protection you deserve with Issaquah Pest Control. Look, rodents and bugs can ruin your insulation or the structure of your home or business. Before it becomes a more costly issue, call Issaquah Pest Control, the fast, kind, and professional pest control service. And if you're in the pest control business or have an interest, they're hiring, so join the team. Issaquah Pest Control, serving the entire Puget Sound. IssaquahPest.com.
At Bucky's, we'll keep you ready for summertime. For over 50 years, Bucky's Complete Auto has been servicing and repairing cars and trucks with modern-day technology and good old-fashioned customer service. Bucky's is the largest independent family-owned chain in the Northwest. There's a Bucky's just about everywhere for factory maintenance, oil changes, wiper blades, air conditioning, brakes, tire rotation, tune-ups, everything you need to get you running smoothly this summer. No appointment necessary, and financing's available too. Check Bucky's.com for the location near you.
Did you know there's a revolutionary pediatric cancer treatment called immunotherapy going on at Seattle Children's Hospital? Kids with cancer know that true strength comes from within. And with immunotherapy, they can fight cancer from the inside out with their own superpower, their immune systems. However, pediatric cancer research and trials are severely underfunded. G. Scott here asking you to join the fight for all kidkind. Next time you're at Safeway checkout, please choose to make a donation. Thank you for becoming an immuno hero.
Are you putting off your new kitchen plans? Why wait? Hi, Chad Cicchini, owner of Heritage Homecraft. Call today and ask about our trade-in sale. Years of experience, thousands of happy customers. Heritage Homecraft, 425-485-1600 or heritagehomecraft.com.
2 out of 3 people will be affected by a drunk driving collision in their lifetime. Someone is injured by a drunk driver every 2 minutes. And in less than an hour, someone will lose their life from drunk driving. Together, we can make our roads safer. Davis Law Group is proud to support Mothers Against Drunk Driving and Walk Like Mad. This community-based event is dedicated to ending drunk driving. Walk with us September 22nd at Magnuson Park. Join the team at madwashington.com.
At Shane Company, we believe everybody is made to shine. So put on earrings that make you sparkle, diamonds that light up the room, a modern heirloom you'll treasure. We're all made to shine. Shane Company. Fine jewelry since 1929.
Do you know a woman who gives her all to the sports community, encourages diversity, and empowers those around her? Stacey Rost here. Seattle Sports is once again partnering with the Seattle chapter of WISE, which stands for Women in Sports and Events. We want to recognize a woman in our community, and we need your help finding her. Nominations for the 3rd Annual Women of Inspiration Award are open until July 12th. The winner will receive a donation to the cause of their choice. Nominate an inspiring woman at woiseattle.org.
4 Down Territory, going inside the game with Michael Bumpus.
I like this. More quarterbacks should start doing this.
Every day at 11:15 and 1:15 on Bumpin' Stacy.
Breaking ball struck him out. That's a dozen for George Kirby.
A Mariners game is the perfect place to spend a Seattle summer day. You can kick back with some Moto Pizza, take in the views of Elliott Bay, enjoy a local brew, and soak up the sun. It's like going to the beach, only better, because you don't have to pack a big cooler, you can't get stung by a jellyfish, and there's no sand to get in your shoes or anywhere else. Plus, the beach usually doesn't have JP, Cal, or Julio.
Fair ball, base hit. Julio hits third base. He's racing home. He's safe. Cal Raleigh delivers.
Pass me that sunscreen. Let's go. Mariners baseball. Tridents up.
Kick off July 4th weekend with the Mariners. You won't want to miss the festivities at T-Mobile Park as the team takes on the Orioles, including Patriotic Fireworks Night today at 7:10, presented by T-Mobile, and a special Independence Day celebration tomorrow at 1:10. The party continues all weekend with a 3-game set against the Blue Jays. Secure your seats today at mariners.com.
Have you considered surgery or even joint replacement? Hey, it's Dave Wyman, and before you make that decision, see Dr. Mark Wagner, MD, at Seattle Sports and Regenerative Medicine. Why? Because he gives it to you straight. Dr. Wagner said my right knee needs replacement, and I appreciate his honesty and expertise. My left knee is fine right now, but the minute it isn't, I'm heading to Dr. Wagner for his expert opinion. I want to avoid another surgery, and I've heard so many patients rave about results from their 90-minute outpatient stem cell procedure with Dr. Wagner. He's a board-certified Seattle physician with over 30 years of experience and has performed more than 20,000 stem cell procedures using a person's own stem cells to regenerate cartilage in their own joints. People with severe osteoarthritis, even bone on bone, are back doing what they enjoy without pain and without surgery. Whether it's a shoulder, hip, elbow, ankle, wrist, or knee, before choosing surgery, see Dr. Mark Wagner first. Go to drmarkwagnermd.com.
This is Bumpin' Stacy.
Weekdays 10 to 2.
On Seattle Sports and 97.3 FM HD2.
Getting back to the Mariners coming up in 15 right now, though. It's time for Bump to vent. So something happened as Bump is creeping closer to 40, and many listeners over 40. Heck, many listeners over 30 know this. You care less when you get older, and things make you mad that didn't used to.
Yeah.
Like, all of a sudden, you get fired up.
I bought Crocs when I was 38. Crocs.
That's
They're so comfortable, though.
reckless and
They're so
irresponsible.
comfortable.
You already talked
Don't
about the
knock it till
Skechers
you try it,
slip-ins.
okay?
People can hear us.
Don't
right?
admit that. They're so comfortable.
People are listening
when
to
you
you.
get my age, Matt, you don't care. You live your life the way you want to live it.
Okay, well, all right. Bump is buying more slip-on shoes, and he's also got 3 things that are really, really driving him crazy. So what's making you yell, "Get off my lawn" today?
I'm a man. All right. I'm 40. First one, man. This has been brewing for a while. We've talked about it already, but I've been trying to hold back a little bit because I knew I wanted to save what I really wanted to say for Wednesday at 10:45. And we're going to L.A., and we talking about the Lakers. We're talking about LeBron. We're talking about Bronny. Now, I got homies who live in L.A. who are so upset. Why would we draft Bronny? He doesn't deserve it. There's so many other basketball players that deserve it. You know what? Maybe there were some basketball players that deserve it. But listen up. LeBron runs the NBA, specifically the L.A. Lakers. If he wants his son, who was a college basketball player, who does have some upside of what I've heard through scouts, if he wants him on his team in his 22nd year, he's going to get him on the team. And you know why I'm okay with that? It's because all around our society, we see the same thing. I've gone to school with dudes who are dumber than rocks. CEOs right now making millions of dollars, and it makes no dang sense to me that I run into them on the golf course and they don't know how the heck the business runs. They're just showing up for means and they're shaking hands. If I could guarantee my son, Michael Bumpus II, a chance to go to a university because of people I know, I'm going to use that to his advantage. I think as parents, that's what we're supposed to do. And he was a 55th pick in the dang draft, man. That's like a 6th rounder. You're bringing him into camp and seeing if it works out. Granted, he's going to be on the team, signed a 4-year deal for $7.9 million. But this happens in our country all the time. Look at the Bidens, look at the Bush, look at the Trumps, look at all these dudes. You take care of your people. That's all LeBron is doing, is taking care of his people. Do I think that LeBron or Bronny's going to be a good NBA player? Probably not. He'll probably go through his 4-year deal. It might phase out and want to do something else. And you know why he can't do something else? Because his dad has provided him a platform and opportunities for him to do that. As parents, that is my goal. I'm going to buy a few more homes so my kids, when they graduate, boom, you're set up. You get a house, you get a house, you get a house. I'm going to make sure my business is thriving. So you know what? When you're done with college, you want to run the business, you run the business. So I understand people being all upset about his capabilities and maybe he's not worth being in the NBA. So what? He's doing what a whole bunch of folks have done in this country for centuries. Now LeBron does it. People hate. I don't even like LeBron, and I'm going to bat for him right now.
I know.
Because I understand being a father and wanting to give your kids the best opportunities in the world. He just so happens to run the Lakers at this point. So you know what? All you people hating, keep hating. But I would recommend you do the best you can for your children because you love them. That's exactly what LeBron James is doing it. He's just doing it at a level that most people can't comprehend. So all you haters, get off my dang lawn and watch my Lakers not make the playoffs next year.
Well said. Well said. I'm 40. With a little cell phone at the end on purpose. An own goal on purpose. What's next?
All right, next up. We've seen.
I'm a man. I'm 40.
Yeah, hit it. Oh, yeah. One more time, man. Let's do it one more time. Forget it. Let's do it.
I'm a man.
Curtis plays that. That is not my fault.
All right, so check this out. Angel Reese, Caitlin Clark are leading the votes for NBA All-Stars, right? And I'm happy for them. They are the Magic Johnson and Larry Bird of their time. And I'm looking at the WNBA. You guys should be capitalizing on this. Here's the great part about the All-Star game is that they get to go up against the U.S. national team. So now we get to see what Caitlin Clark and Angel Reese will look like against the USA national team. This is more of a motivational thing. Caitlin Clark and Angel Reese, you go out there and you bust them up. All right, Caitlin, you light them for a couple threes. Angel Reese, you get into the paint and do what you're supposed to do, and you let them know the U.S. national women's team in a couple years, we're going to be there. But WNBA, you got to capitalize on this right here. You should be marketing the heck out of this. It took me too long to look up, to find results for WNBA All-Star voting, to find stories about Caitlin Clark and Angel Reese going against the U.S. national team. You should be pumping this up. This should be the greatest exhibition game in WNBA history. You have an opportunity here. You got the new generation versus the old generation, you go ahead and get it. Angel Reese just broke an WNBA record with 10 consecutive games with double-doubles. You go ahead and get that. Caitlin Clark is the leading vote getter when it comes to all-star votes. You go ahead and promote that. As much as some of these girls might be hating on Caitlin Clark and even Angel Reese now that she's in the mix, it don't matter. This is good publicity. WNBA, you go out there and you promote the heck out of this. If you don't, you're going to miss another opportunity. The WNBA is hot right now, and I hope they realize that. Go ahead and promote these young ladies.
Why isn't there more promotion for that? I didn't even know that.
Crazy, right?
Yeah, I mean, I knew like who had been
I'm a man. I'm 40.
leading in all-star votes and who had gotten them, and I saw Caitlin was nominated. I saw the video of Angel Reese tearing up, which was very sweet, but like I did not realize that there was an opportunity there for that kind of promotion. I want to watch.
Yeah. Why not?
All right, what's last?
I'm a man. I'm 40.
All right, this is every now and then I come home and I got 3 kids. And they're different, and they drive my wife crazy all day, and I got to come home and deal with it. So the 3 kids I'm talking to right now, all right, there's the big brother who is the more responsible one, more composed. You can give him more responsibility. There's the middle child who is just your wild card. You know what you're going to get out of the middle child. The middle child is crazy. And then there's the younger child who physically is more talented than the other 2 because they've been trying to chase them their whole lives. That's the Mariners to me right now. The big brothers is the rotation. The rotation is on point. They can handle the responsibility. They're put in tough situations. They perform. Big brother, keep doing what you're doing. Then there's the middle child. That's everybody else. That's the wild cards. Rojas is hot for a little bit. Bliss gets on base a few times. Locklear gets called up and he does his thing. Those are the wild cards. You guys keep being wild cards and take turns being wild cards. And then there's the little brother, the guy who's more talented than all these other guys, but isn't consistent in what he's doing, and that's Julio Rodriguez. Julio, I know you're the younger brother. I know that there's some pressure on you because you're trying to chase everybody else. You got the big brother, you got the middle child. But Julio, I need you to be the great player that you've been the last couple of years. And I still think it's in you. I know it was tough last night. You had a chance to win the ball game or to tie it up or whatever, and you didn't come through. But don't forget, man, you are the more talented person on this team. All right, the middle child has something he brings to the table. You never know what you're going to get. Sometimes he's going to ball, sometimes he's not. The big brother is more responsible. We know the pitching staff is going to be okay. They're going to give you quality starts. But as a younger, more talented kid, you got to come through for this team, man. And I think you can still do it. I know you're going to feel a lot of pressure. People hating on you, so be it. They're hating on you because they see what you can do. And there's going to be people hating on, praying for your downfall. All right, we got to talk about it because that's our job. But Julio, this is just a shout out to you, man. You go ahead, you get her done. Big brother, hold it down. Middle child, be wild. Younger kid, more talent. Get her done, son.
I like it. That was Get Off My Lawn. You're listening to Bump and Stacy on Seattle Sports and the Seattle Sports app. Coming up next, the Mariners have proven to be good at a few things, but assembling offensive talent isn't one of them. So what the heck is going on?
Seattle Sports, your home for Wyman and Bob.
Realistically, who would you like to see the Mariners go after?
Weekdays 2 to 7.
A lot of people talking about Luis Robert Jr. Sorry, I just can't get past the fact that he doesn't play every game. He's not healthy. That's a hard no from me anyway.
For me, it's about what is he going to cost in the way of prospects and, from your big league roster perhaps. Pete Alonso, that's a rental. What are you comfortable giving up for a guy who's going to be here for a couple of months?
On Seattle Sports and 97.3 FM HD2.
Chelsea Handler, Little Big B.
I say I don't want to be a mother, but I wouldn't mind being like a divorced dad, you know? I could crush that role, coming in hot at like 50% all the time.
August 1st, 8 p.m., Muckleshoot Event Center. On sale now at muckleshootcasino.com/entertainment for tickets. Chelsea Handler, live.
Or a stepfather. That's another role I would crush.
A 4th of July without the Bud Sidewalk sale is un-American. So here we go. Consider it our garage sale for golfers on the top brands. Unthinkable prices with exceptional value. And it all starts Thursday at Bud's.
Ready for some summer hoops? Register your team for the Everett 3-on-3 tournament, presented by Boeing in downtown Everett, July 13th and 14th. 4 players to a team and 2 days of exciting action. Players of all ages and abilities are encouraged to come out and play. Team registration has been extended to July 8th. Register your team by July 8th at everett3on3.net. That's everett3on3.net. A special thank you to event sponsors Amazon, Boys and Girls Clubs, McNaughton Foundation, and Coastal Community Bank.
Celebrate July 4th with savings at Lowe's. For a limited time, save on the essentials you need to make your garden pop for summer, like Miracle-Gro 25-quart potting mix. Get 2 bags for just $16. And get up to 40% off, plus save an extra $50 on every $500 you spend on select major appliances. Hurry, these deals won't last long, because Lowe's knows summer savings. Valid through 7/10. Miracle-Gro excludes Alaska and Hawaii. Appliance savings vary based on purchase amount, excluding supply. See Lowe's.com for more details while supplies last.
If you love to travel, Capital One has a rewards credit card that's perfect for you. With Venture X, earn unlimited double miles on everything you buy and turn everyday purchases into extraordinary trips. Plus, receive premium travel benefits like access to over 1,300 airport lounges where you just check in and chill out. Open up a world of possibilities with Capital One. What's in your wallet?
Terms apply. Lounge access is subject to change. See CapitalOne.com for details.
We all know a cancer diagnosis is physically and emotionally challenging, but it can also be financially devastating. That's why Northwest Hope and Healing is here to help. I'm Dr. Suzette Miranda, a plastic surgeon who is proud to be part of Northwest Hope and Healing's mission. We provide a lifeline for breast and gynecologic cancer patients by covering essentials like food, utilities, and childcare, so patients can focus on healing. Since the year 2000, Northwest Hope and Healing has distributed over $2.5 million to thousands of local cancer patients. And you can help us make an even greater impact. Mark your calendar for Life in Color, a summer brunch, auction, and fashion show on August 18th at the Golf Club at Newcastle. It'll be an unforgettable afternoon of hope and inspiration, celebrating local cancer survivors. Get your tickets now for Life in Color on August 18th. Go to nwhopeandhealing.org to learn more. That's nwhopeandhealing.org.
2 young fathers are shot to death outside an iconic Utah restaurant.
I said, your dad has been hurt really bad.
The grief was disorienting for those left behind until one choice changed everything.
I just remember writing this letter, and it wasn't me writing it.
Can a personal decision shape generations?
We're all falling for this guy's trick.
I'm Amy Donaldson. Season 2 of The Letter, Ripple Effect, is available now. Follow us at theletterpodcast.com or wherever you get your podcasts.
Miss anything from the Brock and Salk Show? Remember, you can always catch the show on demand on seattlesports.com, the Seattle Sports app, or wherever you listen to podcasts. This message brought to you by Ascend Hospitality Group, Famous Dave's, Ascend Prime, and Stanford's.
From whiplash to herniated discs, there are a few car accident injuries we've all heard of. J.P. Pendergast with Pendergast Law explains that even the most common injuries differ from one another.
Pre-existing conditions, health history, beginning of treatment. There are hundreds of factors that make every person and every injury unique. While these variables aid medical treatment, the strongest case recoveries must also take them into account.
Could you explain a little bit more?
Our team at Pendergast Law is obsessed with turning over every stone to differentiate each case. This requires thorough investigation, diligent listening, and relentless research. We never pursue cases with a one-size-fits-all approach. We built our success by treating every injury and every case with the individualized attention our clients need and deserve.
Pendergast Law's individualized approach to even the most common injuries makes the difference in case outcomes. It's another reason why I can't recommend them enough.
If you or a loved one has been injured in a car accident, call Pendergast Law. We can help.
Let's go! This is Seattle Sports.
Streaming through the Seattle Sports app.
KIRO AM Seattle. KIRO FM HD2 Tacoma. Home of the Seahawks, Mariners, and everything Seattle sports. Seattle Sports Snapshot.
The Mariners opened their series yesterday against the Orioles with a loss, and it was an ugly one. The team posted just 2 hits, with both belonging to Josh Rojas, 0-26 for everyone else. They'll get another shot tonight. Don't forget, it's also patriotic fireworks night after the game, so stick around after what will hopefully be a Mariners win. There was some good news, though, this also to come from yesterday. In an interview with SiriusXM, Jerry Dipoto said he expects Brian Wu to make at least one start before the All-Star break.
Snapshot, brought to you by Miller Lite. When it's game time, it's Miller time.
This is Bump and Stacy
On Seattle Sports.
Streaming through the Seattle Sports app and at seattlesports.com.
Now, here are your hosts, Michael Bumpus and Stacy Ross.
Here we go now. We know a couple things. We know the Mariners' offense is very bad. We know the Mariners' offense also has some talented bats. Looking at you, Cal Raleigh. Looking at you, Julio Rodriguez. So I think that there's a good number of people, Bump, who think like, I think they should come around. Hopefully they come around. Jerry Dipoto is one of them. He was on Sirius XM, and he said that while they think about adding every day, the biggest help is going to come from the guys they already have.
I mean, it's something we think about every day. And I look at our team, and we might not be able to magically overhaul the offense over the next, we'll call it 30 days or so. But we feel like we can help it. And the biggest assist that's going to come from our offense is the players we have that have had middling first halves just stepping up and doing what they do. And we have so many talented players that have generally not really hit on who they are.
So let's talk about who they are, because ultimately, Bump, you and I both think that he's right. It's a tough trade market, and even if you were to add a huge bat, let's say you traded for Luis Robert, it doesn't really matter if Julio continues to struggle and if Cal struggles or if JP struggles. Like, if all of a sudden Luis Robert comes here, let's say he's healthy and a great bat. Okay, are you getting runners on? Is he getting solo home runs? Like, improvement with the rest of the club matters. When Jerry, though, mentions, like, playing like who they are, it took me down this rabbit hole of wondering about the kind of offensive players they sign.
Mm-hmm.
What about you?
No one's going to hop on this roster and say, I got it, guys. I'll hit every home run. I'll drive in every runner. I will play defense. No one has to do anything. It's a team sport. The only individual sports out there where it's solely on the athlete is like golf, track and field, and maybe some other sports, pool, I guess, bowling. Other than that, in team sports, you got to connect the dots, and I think that's what's missing. The hope, I think, is that you can get somebody that that can lead the charge and help you connect the dots, but you're still going to need the bottom of the order to go. You're still going to need JP to lead off and do his thing, and Julio to work things out. So there's no, like, savior. I mean, Barry Bonds can get on this squad, and he's still gonna need some help.
It'd be fun.
It'd be fun to watch. He had a whole bunch of Bonds with nobody on base.
Yeah.
Like, you're still gonna need help. So I think you always got to start from within. Even when you're like kind of self-care and working on like family relationships and stuff, you should at least start within and say, okay, what can I do to help? I think that's what he's saying. It has to start on the roster.
So my kind of I've been thinking about it for a while, and it initially started with a lot of the responses we were seeing from fans. And one of the most common ones, and I know you've seen this, is hitters come here and break. And that's also been kind of, rearing its head again, because we start talking about, giving up a ton of prospects at the deadline. And there are people going, well, why? You're going to give up all these prospects for a bat that's just going to come here and disappoint, because that's just what happens. There's something wrong with, maybe the stadium's cursed. Maybe the hitting staff is awful. Maybe the batter's eye is horrible. Like, whatever it is that players come here and struggle. And so, given that critique, and then also given Jerry saying we're waiting for guys to play like they are, it just made me start to wonder about what's gone wrong with some of the talent acquisition. And I landed on two things. One, that when we talk about hitters coming here and failing, there have been a number of players who had a fantastic season before coming to Seattle and struggling. Teoscar Hernandez came to Seattle and struggled. He struck out more than he ever had before. Jesse Winker came to Seattle, and after hitting 24 home runs in 2021 and being an all-star, came here and hit just 14 home runs, right? Just over half that total from the year prior. But I also hit pause, because I think this is the second point, that a lot of what Seattle does is bring in guys that they hope can play like they did in one all-star season or in one or two good seasons. And I think there's a lot more volatility on the back of those baseball cards than Jerry Dipoto is admitting to or talking about in this interview. You're not bringing in Carlos Correa, Trevor Story, $1,000,005, Juan Soto, guys who have been, free agents and could have really improved your team, and then seeing them struggle here. You're bringing in guys like Jesse Winker. Yeah, he had 24 home runs the year before coming here. He didn't have more than 16 ever before then. So his year in Seattle with 14 home runs, while it was a career low in average and a couple other key categories, the home run totals were about what he'd done before.
That's the tough part, is it's really how they present it too, right? It's presentation, and it feels like, and I can't remember every interview that DePoto did and Service did when it comes to the start of every season, but it feels like the guys that they bring in, they sell them at their best. Like you mentioned, 2018, 2019, this is what he did. When I think fans would react better if you sold them like the way you're describing and saying, all right, well, who are they on an average year? Because who you are on an average year is who you are going to be more consistently. You're not going to be, like I just looked up Nelson Cruz coming over here. Now, my man came in and he was hot. He hit 40 bombs. Well, Baltimore in 2014 came in, hit 44, 43, 39,
because he was a great
41.
player, genuinely great player.
Yeah, and you expect that out of those type of guys. I think it's the way they sell the used car. You know, you go to the used car spot and the salesman's going to tell you everything you want to hear. And you hop in that thing and you hear a little tick in the engine. You're like, what the heck is that? And you drive it a few more miles and something else happens. So I think it comes down to the presentation. And when you combine the presentation with the expectation, then people sit here and say, okay, we can do it. We can do it. But he's almost in a lose-lose situation, because what if he came in and did sell them as average players? Then we're saying, well, here we go again, just getting average type of dudes. How are we gonna win? The only way Jerry wins in this situation if he goes out and just go and gets a dude. Because other than that, he's going to get an average player, sell his best year, and then they're below average, and we're sitting here wondering what the heck is going on.
And that's why it's hard not to think of cost restrictions. Like, there are some that are just natural to certain clubs, right? Like, the Mariners are not going to be capable of spending as much as the Mets, as the Yankees, as the Dodgers, and many other clubs aren't either. That's not really what fans are calling for, though. And I agree with you. Jerry can't be transparent. He can't come out and say, yeah, we got Garver and Polanco because we could afford Garver and Polanco, and because we think their upside could really help our club, but we'll admit to you we're worried about X, Y, and Z. He can't come out and say that. You're exactly right. Then the bigger kind of question issue becomes, well, why can they only go out and get those bats? Oh, like maybe we're talking about payroll. Maybe we're talking about a front office. Maybe the issue isn't payroll, and maybe it's one of a front office who has way too much faith that their players that they bring in will play to the best parts of themselves, right? But you can't count on it. Like, I'm going to have a lot more faith in a 7-time All-Star or a 4-time All-Star than I will someone who has one All-Star season. Not because that's not a great accomplishment, but let's be real. Like, having one All-Star season doesn't guarantee that you are perennially a good player.
Nah. Remember when the season started and we talked to some experts and they said for what Jerry was allowed to spend, they felt like he did a good job. So it's hard to ignore that he has these restrictions on him. It's like, all right, I always use the analogy of when I used to go school shopping every year. And there's a reason why I didn't get my first pair of Jordans until like late in high school or maybe even college. It's because my mom would take me to Foot Locker or Finish Line, and there's these $250 pair of Jordans, or I can get like 2 or 3 pair of shoes that I can wear more consistently. And he goes, all right, those Jordans look cool, but these 3 shoes, I can probably get more out of them, or I can move these 3 shoes around with different outfits. You know, these Jordans are just good for one outfit, and this is what they do. So he has restrictions. I think it's his job to make a case to the guys who write the checks to allow him to go out and spend more, and then internally he's got to be able to do it as well. It's hard. We spend the Mariners' money all the time.
Oh yeah,
it ain't
easy. Not my money.
It ain't our money. When you are the guy responsible for doing it, it hits a bit different. But there are some restrictions.
Yeah,
and it has to start from within. But we feel like there is a window that was fairly big a couple weeks ago that is slowly closing on you, and it's hard to watch.
But it's still there.
It's still there.
And that's why we're talking about it right now, right? Like, that's why part of what I'm talking about can't be fixed. Like, let's say one problem is Mariners decision makers are limited to some reclamation projects and really good but not great players. Well, if you get a lot of those guys, you're not going to have a really great offense. Like, we all love the storybook kind of like Moneyball situation, but if you go out and get guys where you're like, yeah, he was the 5th best player, well, you're not going to have an offense that's raking. You're going to have an offense that needs to rely on players that are top players, like Cal being clutch and on Julio's bat. Well, when Julio's not raking, all of a sudden you have a down year from Polanco, a down year from Garver, and your whole offense looks atrocious. I am kind of like venting, and you can't fix any of that. And this is a conversation overall that like doesn't have a solution, but it also leads to, okay, well, keep trying. Like, you have a great pitching staff. Everyone's healthy outside of Brian Wu. You are still in first in your division. It's still objectively a down year for the Astros and Rangers. I know that Astros fans are already talking trash and talking about how they're going to come in and they're going to, take the AL West and whatever, and they were inevitable. They're still having a down year, and they're dealing with more pitcher injuries. The window's still open. Yeah, it is. And that's I think it's tough for people to look at it that way when they've lost 4 in a row. I think at this point, 9 out of their last 12 or something like that. It's tough, but they're still a lead. The window is still open. Now, what can you do to help this team? And it always starts from within. And what is he allowed to spend? That's the thing. Is like we have all these questions, and if he could just tell us, hey man, I got $20 million to spend this this free agency or whatever it is before the trade deadline, then I think we'd have more clarity. But because we don't get that inside, it's up to us to kind of make up scenarios and try to figure out what should they do and what can they do. But the good part about this is, if there is a good part about what's going on with the Mariners right now, is that there's still time before the trade deadline. I'm looking at their schedule right now. Okay, if you can get through this Baltimore series, maybe, man, it's still 1 or 2 of them things. You got Toronto, who's been struggling. Granted, you're going to see Vlad up there and doing what he's doing. The Padres are having a decent year. Like, it's going to get easier these next 2 series, and then you finish off July 14th, the last game with the Angels. Like, things could change fairly quickly. If you can steal 1 or 2 games here and do what you're supposed to do at home against Toronto, go on the road and have a decent road trip, we could be feeling different about this team, and our approach might be different. So it's important for Jerry to try to be calm and be calculated and let us be the ones losing our stuff and being frustrated. It does nothing for him to come out and be frustrated and take unnecessary risks, because there's still more baseball to be played. Mm-hmm. It does make me wonder about the conversations we're going to have as we enter free agency next year, in terms of like, okay, who are they letting go? Who are they bringing on? Is this the right decision for the club? Are we leaning too much on a good season from 3 years ago, thinking this 33-year-old is suddenly going to play like that version of himself? And I, too, like Jerry, still kind of expect the offense to make some kind of turn at some point, maybe have a hot streak of some kind, right? But I am both lamenting the way they've built the offense and the types of profiles that they depend on, I think, a little too much, and also still telling myself the window's open, go be aggressive, go try to win. I know it sounds like I'm speaking out of both sides of my mouth, but on the one hand, I'm being critical and saying, like, hey, I'm kind of pushing back against the idea of, oh, if they just all play like themselves, well, you kind of signed up for some up and down players. Yeah. On the other side, hey, man, if they start playing well and you add a bat and you can be average, you can be a really great club. Yeah. All we're asking is average. Just be average offensively. The C's. Get degrees. C's get degrees. That's all we're asking. I don't think it's too much to ask, but it still comes down to Julio leading the charge and everyone else kind of following his lead. Or maybe another veteran leads the charge. Maybe Luke gets hot again. You need one player to kind of get things rolling again, because yesterday was scary. I did not realize how close they were to being no-hit until later in the game. And then look, we defend Service a lot, and I think he doesn't have a lot of control of what happens out there once the game starts. But that move to take out Rojas had me scratching my head. The one guy who's been producing at the plate, we're going to take him out. And then the philosophy kind of jumped back into my head because I see Demo swing at that very first pitch. So last night, we talk about team wins. That was a team L. The only people who did their part were the guys on the mound. The batters didn't show up. I think Serge made a questionable decision late in the game, and then Demo had no patience at the plate and swung at the first thing he saw. It was a waste. So, that was a team L, and hopefully everyone learned from that one. All right, let's get to 4-down territory.
This is 4-down territory, going inside the game with former Seahawks and Coug wide receiver Michael Bumpus.
First down, according to Vegas, what second-year player's tied with Josh Allen to win MVP, and do you think he can do it?
It's crazy, man. They're saying that C.J. Stroud is tied with Josh Allen to become MVP in his second year in the league. There's only 7 guys who've been able to do that. Jim Brown, of course, did it in 1958. Got Jim Nance in 1966, Earl Campbell in 1979, Dan Marino in 84, Kurt Warner in 99, Mahomes in 18, and Lamar Jackson in 19. In 1984, Dan threw for 5,000 yards, 48 touchdowns. In 2018, Mahomes threw for 5,050 touchdowns. Kurt in 1999 threw for 4,341 touchdowns. And Lamar threw for 3,036 touchdowns, ran for over 1,007 touchdowns. I'm looking at those numbers and I go, he's going to have to toss 35 to 40 touchdowns to be in the mix. And you still got some guys in this league named Pat Mahomes, Lamar Jackson, Josh Allen, Aaron Rodgers. We all know this is a quarterback league and a quarterback award. Do I think he can do it? I think he has the capabilities of doing it. But just like yesterday, we talked about he's got to prove it. Don't even worry about the MVP. You go out there and you shine on your 7-8 primetime games that you have this year. It's going to be a tough feat. I would not put my money on C.J. Stroud winning an MVP. I will put my money on him being a Pro Bowler and getting those accolades, even though it's more of a popularity contest. And he's popular right now. He's hot in the streets. So I think that's a lot to ask for when it comes to C.J. Stroud. But I do see them possibly contending for their division and getting into the playoffs. The MVP in your second year, man, you heard the names that I just went down. I mean, those are all-time greats. He could be an all-time great. We'll see. I just don't think it's going to happen for the young man.
Second down. Who can and should become the Hakeem Olajuwon of the NFL offseason?
So do you know about Hakeem Olajuwon offseason? Everybody goes to him when it comes to footwork. Kobe went to him. You got younger players now going to him. He's 61 years old, and I saw a video of him working on footwork. Hakeem the Dream has some of the best feet you've ever seen, especially for a big man. And now I'm hearing that people are going to Aaron Donald to work on hands or whatnot. And I go, that is perfect. He should be the NFL ambassador when it comes to defensive line play, what to do with your hands, how to move your feet. And it also keeps these guys in the game, because when you step away from the game, and I did it on a lower level, I step away from the game, I'm thinking, what am I going to do now? I naturally get into training, I get into coaching, and it kind of feeds that competitive need that you have right there. I think Aaron Donald would be perfect for a role like that. A couple of the Rams defensive linemen have already connected with him, gone down to wherever he lives, and are getting their hands and their feet right. But no, this is perfect, man. When you talk about defensive line play, I mean, you think of Reggie White, rest in peace, Warren Sapp, and Aaron Donald. I mean, he's arguably top 5, top 10 greatest football players of all time, maybe top 3 at his position. It's only natural that guys go down there and holler at him, man. So, yeah, go ahead. Aaron Donald, stay in the game, stay connected, and teach these young folks how to use their hands.
Third down. Pro Football Focus has some thoughts on the Seahawks offensive line. What are they, and do you agree?
Who do you think PFF has as the number one offense? It's a tough one because no one really looks at offensive line. But if you had to guess, who do you think is the number one offensive line according to PFF?
Well, it's probably not the Eagles anymore without Kelsey. Cowboys?
The Detroit Lions, number one.
I should have known it was the Lions.
Number one, you got Philly at 2, Indy at 3,
in there somewhere.
Cleveland at 4. Kansas City is number 7. You got to go all the way down to 31 when it comes to the Seattle Seahawks. And they have good reason. And they're saying, look, the Seahawks moved on from starters Evan Brown and Damian Lewis. Their interior consists of former backups, got Oluwatimi and Anthony Bradford. First-round pick who had a couple of recent disappointing seasons, and Laken Tomlinson. They don't know if the tackles are going to be on point. They don't know if Charles Cross is going to stay healthy, if Abe Lucas is going to stay healthy. And honestly, I don't know enough about all the other offensive lines to say whether they are being shorted or not. But I do like this position. And the reason why I like this position is because I love the spot of an underdog. And I think that Huff is going to take, the offensive line coach for the Seattle Seahawks, is going to take offense to this, and he's going to get these guys ready regardless, right? But you use material like this during the offseason to get your guys motivated and get them going. If I'm Oluwatimi and Anthony Bradford, they're saying, look, they're sleeping on us. Let's go ahead and get this. There's reason to question this offensive line for reasons that PFF says out there. Look, Evan Brown is gone. Damian Lewis is gone. You got young guys in the interior. You got young guys on the outside who weren't healthy, didn't play well last year. So it's a tough position to be in. But I remember a couple years ago, they came in ranked like 11 or 12th and ended up going all the way down to like 27. I don't know how PFF comes up with these rankings or these numbers. Obviously, I use them when it
suits you.
Exactly. So it is what it is. But I kind of like that they have them down at 31. Man, it gives them something to work for. Gives them bulletin board material, and let's see what they do with that.
Third down. Oh, fourth down. I'm on the wrong down here. With everyone getting in the podcast game, who's entered the chat, and why are you excited to hear what he has to say?
Seahawk great. Says and does whatever he wants.
I know where you're going.
Who is it?
Marshawn Lynch.
Marshawn Lynch. Marshawn Lynch and Gavin Newsom joins forces for a podcast. This is going to be wild. Marshawn Lynch is the only guy who could like curse out kids, get a DUI, and people still love him because he's just a real individual. I met Marshawn Lynch in 2003. We took our trip to Washington State together, and they took us to the driving range, and he's just smacking the golf ball. And he looks at me, he goes, Bup, I ain't coming here. I'm just here for the free food and the trip. And till this day, I've ran into him maybe 3 or 4 times after that, and he is the exact same person. So when you get on these podcasts, a lot of people have to be cautious with what they say, or should be cautious with what they say. Marshawn Lynch ain't one of those people. So I'm excited to hear maybe some locker room stories, maybe even he's got to talk about the play. He's got to talk about the play and what was going through his head there. And then imagine the type of guests he's going to be able to get on his podcast. Everybody loves Marshawn Lynch and is going to be willing to sit down and holler at him. So the fact that he is getting into the podcast game, it makes me excited. There's going to be a lot of F-bombs. There's going to be a lot of other bombs being dropped in that podcast. There's going to be good entertainment. And he going to make some chicken off of that. That's for sure.
Yeah. Could we get to, in the last 2 minutes here, a popular response on the Mac and Jacks text line about the Mariners?
Yep.
A lot of people are screaming at the top of their lungs, play small ball. And I think that's a natural reaction to when an offense struggles, particularly an offense that looks like they're swinging for the fences, that looks like they're overswinging. And I just want to emphasize how hard it is to be like, oh, just bunt and get singles and, keep runners on the bases. Like, yeah, they would love to be doing that.
Yeah.
Like, part of the problem is that that's also very difficult.
Who did we talk to the other day?
Manny.
Yeah, it was like, it's so hard to lay down a bunt. When the guys are practicing laying down bunts, they're doing it through a machine that's probably only tossing at 70-something miles an hour for safety. When you got these relievers throwing heaters high in the zone, it's hard to do.
And I think that's why there's like a slight generational divide with that. I'm not saying that the people who texted in are necessarily all of the same generation, but you're right. What Manny was saying is like, we used to see a lot more of it when pitchers, like great pitchers, a great pitch was 87.
Right.
Or like 92. When you're trying to play small ball and bunt 100 miles per hour, or just in general, like the velocity, the spin rate, like everything with pitching is so much harder. Pitchers pitching to strike out, that it's very difficult to do. And you also don't see a lot of clubs that do it. Like even the clubs that put the ball in play a lot with those singles, with whatever, are also clubs that hit a ton of home runs. Like look at the Astros in their best seasons. Like they still hit a ton of home runs.
Yeah.
So it's just, are you hitting well or not?
Yeah.
But I'm just pushing back against the small
it's
ball
hard,
thing.
man.
It's just much harder than people think. All right, coming up in the timeline, we hear from Bronny James for the first time. The Kraken make a really cool move, and Luis Robert made a curious decision. That's next.
Seattle Sports, your home for Wyman and Bob.
I'm just sort of marveling at the lack of belief in this team. Not that the Seahawks should be considered a top 5 team. I'm not making that case at all, but there seems to be a really dim view of what this team's going to be. First of all, what was their record last year, Bob? They were 9-8 with a bad defense. So we all assume that the defense is going to be at least somewhat improved. How much, we'll find out. And the offense is bringing back almost the same cast. I don't see them getting worse.
On Seattle Sports and 97.3 FM HD2.
Jake was suffering from osteoarthritis when his doctors asked him to consider surgery.
However, there's a 9-month recovery period where essentially you're not walking and you're not putting much in the way of weight on.
That wasn't going to work for him, so he decided to see Dr. Mark Wagner, MD, at Seattle Sports and Regenerative Medicine for stem cell therapy.
I heard the ads, and that caused me to do due diligence.
And how are you doing now?
There's not really any pain now at all. I have no limitations in what I want to do.
Wow, so you're able to do anything you want to do?
I recently played golf at Cycle House down in Pebble Beach, walked 18 holes, which I hadn't been able to do for a number of years, and then went for about a 2-mile walk with my friend.
I take it you'd recommend stem cell therapy to others then?
Absolutely. Had I known then what I know now, I would have done this several years ago and saved myself a lot of pain and suffering and agony and limitation to activity.
Before you choose surgery, consider stem cell therapy with Dr. Mark Wagner, MD at Seattle Sports and Regenerative Medicine. Schedule your consultation at drmarkwagnermd.com.
Are you putting off your new kitchen plans? Why wait? Hi, I'm Chad Cicchini, owner of Heritage Homecraft, and we've got an offer you're not going to want to wait for. We'll custom build you all new cabinet doors and drawer fronts, and using our exclusive 1/4-inch solid wood refacing process, transform your existing cabinets into a beautiful new kitchen. Stop waiting. We're having a trade-in sale. You'll save $30 per door and drawer front off the cost of your new kitchen. Count them up and see how much you'll save. Heritage Homecraft, 425-485-1600 or heritagehomecraft.com.
I'm Bradley Johnson with 1-800-DUI-AWAY, and I want to wish you a happy Independence Day. The 4th of July is my favorite. It's about family, gratitude, patriotism, and amazing exploding lights in the sky. Perhaps I love it most because it's called Independence Day. I love to fight for my clients' independence. Your right to drive, to provide for your family, your right to do stuff. You feel liberty most when you lose it. Remember buying a box of bottle rockets and salute shells with nothing more than a "have fun, kids"? Well, things have changed since then, including the consequences of a DUI. We're your safe and sane solution to keep freedom ringing. Call 1-800-DUI-AWAY or go to 1-800-DUI-AWAY.com. Red, white, and blue are the colors of freedom, unless they're flashing behind you. 1-800-DUI-AWAY.
1-800-DUI-AWAY.
Window Nation can help beat the heat in your home with a buy two, get two free offer on insulated, energy-efficient windows plus 0 down and no interest or payments for 2 years. Schedule an in-home estimate now at 866-90-NATION or windownation.com.
Well, I got to tell you, just walking in to record this commercial puts a smile on my face, makes me so happy. Every time I think about the great team and the environment, just brings a smile to my face. Well, yes, I'm talking about Volkswagen of Puyallup, of the Harnish Auto family. You see, when you love what you do, it shows. And because more people are happy about buying from Volkswagen of Puyallup, well, they're able to offer you one of the biggest selections in the state of Washington. It's Volkswagen of Puyallup. Leave happy.
On Saturday, July 6th, Jackson Smith and Jigba will host the Seattle All-Star Softball Classic, presented by Wade's Lifestyle at Cheedy Stadium, featuring your favorite athletes and celebrities. Tickets start at just $25. Go to SeattleAllStarClassic.com.
Subscribe to the Seattle Sports YouTube page to find new and exclusive content from your favorite shows and personalities daily. Just head to YouTube, search Seattle Sports, and click subscribe.
Roof now, pay later. Hi, I'm Sam Thomason, owner of State Roofing. Take advantage of our 0 down, 0 payments, and 0 interest for up to a year. We've partnered with leading lenders to make the replacement or repair of your roof affordable. Flexible financing options are available to take the worry out of an unexpected expense. Call us today at 866-ROOF-ROOF to schedule a free no-obligation estimate or visit us at stateroofing.com. That's stateroofing.com.
State Roofing, the last roof you'll ever need.
Guys, did you know your testosterone affects everything in your system, including how you feel and perform every day? Right now, Revive Men's Health Seattle will check your testosterone for free. Knowing your T levels is the first step in understanding if you have low T. Your testosterone level impacts your energy, libido, sleep, weight, hair loss, mood, and even ED. Maintaining an appropriate T level can change your whole life. Most men start to see changes in their hormone levels in their 30s. Experience and results matter. So what are you waiting for? Get your T levels checked today by local, experienced, and trusted men's health experts. They've helped thousands of men since 2011. They're so confident they can help you, they even guarantee it. Call Revive today and schedule your free testosterone test, free exam, and free consultation. Call Revive Men's Health at 206-529-1111. That's 206-529-1111. Or visit ReviveMen'sHealth.com.
Hi,
Hi, this is Ursula Reutin from my friends at CertaPro Painters. Summer's finally here, and it's the perfect time to give your home or business an exterior makeover. I recently had my home painted by CertaPro Painters, and I was blown away by their attention to detail. They did a beautiful job. Now it's your turn. Schedule your free estimate at CertaPro.com. That's Certa with a C. Each CertaPro Painters business is independently owned and operated. Choose happy. Choose CertaPro Painters. That's CertaPro.com.
This is The Timeline
with Bump and Stacy.
Brought to you by 1-800-DUI-AWAY.
It is The Timeline on Bump and Stacy, reading you the top stories you're going to see and hear about on your own timeline. We've already talked a bit about Bronny James joining his dad with the LA Lakers, but we actually heard from Bronny James for the first time in an introductory press conference.
You know, Rob has told me that there's a great development system here, so I just want to come in and get my work in and get better every day. But I never really had a thought of, you know, me going to play with my dad, but that's always, you know, there to, you know, take part of, but that wasn't a main focus of mine to do.
I don't think he's lying. It
You don't think he's lying?
was never a main focus to go play with your dad.
He said it wasn't a thought. Did I not hear that correctly?
Oh, no, it was a thought, Bronny.
Yeah, why you always lying?
Why you lying?
Man, his name is LeBron James Jr., so, and dad is all cap on a lot of things. But, no, I think obviously playing with his dad was a thought, but I also think he just wanted an opportunity in the league. I think he also knew that his dad had some influence on where he could possibly go. And then you hear Rich Paul telling teams not to draft him. The closer the Lakers got to the 55th pick, the more he knew he was going to the Lakers.
Yes. I loved you and Curtis joking about how do you talk to your dad on the court?
Yeah, like, what do you say?
What do you say?
Bron. I'm like, don't call me Bron. My kids do not call me Bron.
Imagine if your dad or imagine if your kids, Michael.
I'd be like, y'all talking to little Michael? Like, who y'all talking to?
You must mean your brother.
Yeah.
I don't know what you mean.
Like, what do you say?
I
2-3.
like to say- that's
2-3. Hey, 2-3. Right here.
Hey, Pops, I'm not your dad on the court.
Yeah, exactly. What do you even do there? A part of me feels bad for Bronny because I think that there's a greater than not chance that he just ends up being fine but not great and maybe has like
And
a
there's nothing wrong
shorter
with
career,
that.
just as any other player chosen 55 would. Just as any other player the Lakers would have chosen would have a greater than not chance to be just average, right? But there's going to be people rooting against him, like rooting against someone that's objectively done nothing except for benefited from who his dad is.
Yeah, and that's weak. Yeah, that kid didn't do nothing. He was just born, decided to play basketball and follow his dad's footsteps.
Yeah.
They didn't do nothing to you.
Poor guy. Next up, the Kraken have officially hired Jessica Campbell as an assistant head coach, making her the first woman in NHL history to have that title. She spent the last 2 years as an assistant with Coachella Valley, to which I say, awesome for the Kraken. I don't care what anyone says. Representation is important. I know there are some people that push back against that and go, what does it matter? It really matters. It matters to hear and see people that maybe don't look like the average person there. And that covers a lot of ground, right? Like, you know, if there are young men who want to be teachers or what, it doesn't matter. Like, it's important to see people who look like you so you can think you can do that. Secondly, please stop commenting on anything as long as she's qualified. You think she'd have that job if not? Like, you think someone would have that job if they didn't at least have the resume?
Yeah, it's especially a woman. Like, she's probably overly qualified. You should be saying that about some of these dudes out here who get opportunities as long as he's qualified. You never question a man when he's in that position. When there are men out there who aren't qualified for the job, but you know what? They know somebody.
Exactly.
They gotta fly.
I can't tell. I am projecting, and I'll fully admit that. But there are many times when I would say, you didn't even play. And I'm like, let me tell you. First of all, I'm not an analyst. Secondly, do you know how many people in radio, men in radio, couldn't run a quarter mile, much less didn't play? I'm just saying. Do you know how many men in sports radio had 4 donuts for breakfast, haven't played any sport since high school, could barely do a jumping jack, and are out here telling you what a player should be doing on the field?
All the time.
At least I work out every day.
All the time.
You know what I'm saying? At least I was a high school athlete.
I mean, this man runs the game, but Stephen A. Smith averaged 1.5 points in college.
Hey, good for for him.
But he
Stephen A.
still
Smith is
played
good at his
college ball.
job.
But he 1.5. But
He's good at his job. Anyways, I made that about me when I shouldn't have, but it was funnier. Very cool news for Jessica Campbell and the Kraken. Congratulations on that hire. We are moving on to our next story. White Sox center fielder Luis Robert made a very curious decision. What did he do? Well, he got a shallow fly ball in last night's ninth inning with 2 outs and a Guardian runner on third, and then this happened.
3-2. In the air. Is it deep enough? Yes. Robert makes the catch. Here comes Jimenez. No throw. Guardians win it.
No throw.
What?
Not at all.
What is going on? That reminds me of, you seen the clip where Westbrook has the ball and he takes like 3 or 4 steps and travels, and Steph Curry's pointing at him like, he traveled, and they call it travel, and Curry's like, what are you doing? And Westbrook goes, I don't know. Like, that's exactly how I felt about that situation. Did he not think he had the cannon? He was pretty shallow. It wasn't like he was deep in the outfield. I don't understand why he doesn't take a chance there. That was just a brain fart right there.
It was really weird. And Curtis, did you see it and think, like, does he just hate being here because they suck, or does he think he's going to be traded, so he's just kind of given up?
I think he probably saw the likelihood of a successful throw home being small, and so it was like, why bother? But also,
you can't.
I mean, exactly. Like, what if the runner trips and falls, and the ball beats him there? Like, you're going to extras at that point. Like, you've got to make that throw, Luis. Now, I think this should absolutely tank his value, and the Mariners should absolutely take advantage of that.
Yeah.
Just a really weird circumstance last night.
I need to backtrack an issue, not a correction, but just a clarifying statement. Number one, if you had 5 donuts for breakfast, I think that's great. Good for you. That's also impressive. Number 2, I'm in no way taking a shot at any hosts I know. Like, actually, no.
What?
People are like, oh, taking a shot at, and then fill in the blank. I'm not. I am not. Someone said Mike Salk. Did he talk about donuts this morning? No, I think Mike is a wonderful host. He's amazing. He gave me my job.
Yeah, might play a little baseball too.
No shot at any hosts here by any means. Let's see, one more story here. The Marlins, I just hate this. The Marlins attempted to set a new world record for the longest timed wave at Tuesday's game, but the event was canceled because of, quote, logistical and timing issues, per Fox Sports 640's Andy Slater. The current record is a way too long 17 minutes and 14 seconds set at a 2015 concert in Japan.
Oh, we could kill that. That's easy.
17 minutes of a wave.
Just because we can doesn't mean we should.
I'm down.
Thank you. And you could say that for everything, right? Nuclear weapons.
I'm not down.
The
Matthew,
wave.
let's do it, Matthew.
Stop.
Come on, Matt.
Can you do a wave with just 2 people?
Yeah. No, I'm sure there's some stipulations in that thing. That's easy. That's an easy record to break.
No,
Let's do that T-Mobile
17
today.
minutes.
T-Mobile.
No.
Let's do it.
No.
Can you imagine we're
Do
in the
not
5th
give
inning?
the
No,
Mariners
listen,
marketing
listen.
department any ideas.
We're in the 5th inning of a no-hitter, and it's just, woo! We've all just lost it.
Let's do it.
No.
Seattle created the wave.
They did.
Just because they did doesn't mean we should.
Yes, that's exactly
Hold
why.
up. Well, hang on. Let him
Even
cook.
I know that,
Let him cook. So Seattle created the wave, and we
So
got to
we're
reclaim
gonna,
it?
We're going to let Japan take something that we created?
Yes.
Come
No.
on.
Yes,
No,
have
I'm
it.
not. No, I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to let them take that.
Stacey,
You
don't.
Exactly.
Yes.
See?
No.
Yes. Bump is right, Curtis. We're wrong.
No, we're not.
All right. Don't forget, you can rate, review, subscribe to the Bump and Stacey podcast. We're available wherever it is you get your podcast, as well as SeattleSports.com and the Seattle Sports app. If you do subscribe to the podcast, we'd really appreciate you taking a couple seconds to leave a review, even if it's just stars, but most especially if you can leave a little written something. It would mean so much to us. So thank you in advance. You are listening to Bump and Stacey right now on Seattle Sports and the Seattle Sports app. We are going to bring on USA Today's Bob Nightingale coming up at noon to talk about what the trade deadline might look like, some potential fits for the Mariners, what's going on with this team, his thoughts on maybe the AL West as a whole, how much he sees the Astros as a threat. Before we get to that, though, we need to rant and rave about something that's next.
Get the national perspective on the Mariners.
Swing and a miss and a slider, strike three.
With Jeff Passan, Tuesday mornings at 8:30.
The Mariners have arguably the best pitching staff in baseball. I think I'm probably taking the Mariners at the end of the day over every team in the American League right now.
And John Morosi, Thursdays at 5 p.m.
This is the team to beat in the division. And it's not just a hot take. That's what the numbers say, that they're the team to beat in the division.
We are Seattle Sports, the home of the Mariners.
The IRS is the most powerful collection agency on earth. And if you owe back taxes, the news isn't good. The IRS has raised the interest rate it charges on unpaid taxes in recent years. This hits hard if you're behind on your taxes. Most people don't know it, but the IRS adds interest charges to your tax debts daily. If you owe the IRS today, you'll owe even more tomorrow. And it doesn't stop until you get right with the IRS. The good news is getting right can start with one phone call to Optima Tax Relief, America's #1 tax relief firm. Optima's tax professionals specialize in the Fresh Start Initiative, a powerful IRS program that can save you thousands if you qualify. A+ rated by the Better Business Bureau, the experts at Optima have resolved over $1 billion in tax debt for their clients. Call now for a free consultation.
Call 800-343-6460. 800-343-6460. 800-343-6460.
Optima Tax Relief.
Some restrictions apply. For complete details, please visit OptimaTaxRelief.com.
Chill or grill on a new deck this season. Get a free Makita Bluetooth radio or portable pellet grill with a qualifying PAR deck package purchase. But hurry, offer ends soon. Visit par.com for details. PAR, your total home building source. Go where the builders go.
Want to listen to Seattle sports on your smart speaker?
Hey, smart speaker, play Seattle sports.
This message is powered by the EQC Sportsbook at Emerald Queen Casino. Emerald Queen Casino, the entertainment capital of the Northwest.
We all know a cancer diagnosis is physically and emotionally challenging, but it can also be financially devastating. That's why Northwest Hope and Healing is here to help. I'm Dr. Suzette Miranda, a plastic surgeon who is proud to be part of Northwest Hope and Healing's mission. We provide a lifeline for breast and gynecologic cancer patients by covering essentials like food, utilities, and childcare, so patients can focus on healing. Since the year 2000, Northwest Hope and Healing has distributed over $2.5 million to thousands of local cancer patients, and you can help us make an even greater impact. Mark your calendar for Life in Color, a summer brunch, auction, and fashion show on August 18th at the Golf Club at Newcastle. It'll be an unforgettable afternoon of hope and inspiration, celebrating local cancer survivors. Get your tickets now for Life in Color on August 18th. Go to nwhopeandhealing.org to learn more. That's nwhopeandhealing.org.
Shane Company loves Seattle so much, we decided to open another jewelry store in the area. Come say hi at our new South Center Square location in Tukwila. Shop our beautiful selection of fine jewelry or stop by our new Create Your Own station and make something one of a kind. You can also step into our pop-up radio booth to share a story about your jewelry for a chance to be featured on the radio. And of course, you can still visit us in Linwood too. We can't wait to see you.
Now you have a friend in the jewelry business. Shane Company and Shaneco.com.
Do you know a woman who gives her all to the sports community, encourages diversity, and empowers those around her? Shannon Dreyer here. Seattle Sports is once again partnering with the Seattle chapter of WISE, which stands for Women in Sports and Events. We want to recognize a woman in our community, and we need your help in finding her. Nominations for the 3rd Annual Women of Inspiration Award are open until July 12th. The winner will receive a donation to the cause of their choice. Nominate an inspiring woman at WOISeattle.org.
Listen throughout the week to the Mariners Player Spotlight.
Give props to Jerry and Justin. They did a great job bringing in these good group of guys.
Presented by Muckleshoot Casino Resort.
Hey, it's Dr. Coogan with Eastside Weight Loss Clinic. Are you tired of losing weight just to see it all come back again? Summer is around the corner and you want to look and feel like yourself again, but getting back on that frustrating weight loss roller coaster is the last thing you want to do. You've heard about the new drugs but are concerned with the possible side effects, or you're taking weight loss drugs but also want to learn how to change your lifestyle for long-lasting results. At Eastside Weight Loss Clinic, we know the secret for fast and lasting weight loss using real healthy foods and lifestyle strategies. Schedule your free consultation online at eastsideweightlossklinik.com.
Losing the weight is great, but maybe the best part of this program is the sustainability, what comes afterwards, because it doesn't really matter how much weight you lost if you're not able to keep it off, and Eastside's program is fantastic.
Our program has successfully helped thousands of people lose up to 10 to 20% of their body weight in 60 days. You can start our program in person in Kirkland or virtually from anywhere you live. Schedule your free phone consultation today by calling 425-522-5070 or eastsideweightlossclinic.com.
Dr. Ryan Coogan, D.C. Results may vary.
It's Dave Wyman for R&R Foundation Specialist. R&R Foundation Specialist doesn't just restore and repair settling foundations. They're also able to pull retaining walls back into place. Erosion of soil and poor installation are just a couple of reasons retaining walls begin to fail. So if you have a retaining wall on your property that is leaning or cracked, you can save thousands by having R&R Foundation Specialist restore the wall rather than dealing with the enormous cost of replacement. R&R drives steel piers horizontally deep into the soil to re-anchor the wall and put it back into place. They also use incredibly strong carbon fiber straps to repair cracks and restore the structural integrity of the slab. This solution even works on seawalls. So if you suspect your foundation is settling or have a retaining wall that's leaning, it's important to have it fixed properly. Have R&R Foundation Specialist come out for free and tell you what the issue is like they did for me. Schedule your free estimate at rrfoundationspecialist.com.
You're listening to Bumpin' Stacy.
Weekdays 10 to 2.
On Seattle Sports and 97.3 FM HD2.
I'm getting some good what I need to know questions already. You guys can send those in throughout the show anytime. Maybe we have a segment with Bob Nightingale next and he says something and you want to know about a trade or whatever it is. 866-979-3776. That is every single day at 1:45. I got some good ones so far, but you can keep sending those in. All right. I don't necessarily want to rant and rave, although I did tease it as that. But I would like to say like a hit pause reaction. A lot of calls for the Mariners to play small ball. And I completely understand what they're doing, Bump. I completely understand. It looks sometimes, like it did last night in his final AB, like Julio, for instance, is swinging for the fences. Like maybe Cal's selling out for power. And there's this feeling that the Mariners are home run or bust, that if they don't get a solo shot or if they don't get a 2 or 3 run home run, they're just not in that game. Like they're just not going to deliver. And it's not really wrong. But I also think it's a lot harder than people realize to play small ball. And it's a lot harder than people realize to get runners on the bases, which is really what small ball is about, right? Like people use bunting as an example, but like an emphasis on getting runners on base. Don't lean too much into a power strategy. And I get it. But I don't know that it's an answer. Here's what Mike Blowers had to say.
What I'm an advocate of guys that can run, I would like to see them run, like steal bases and get themselves in the scoring position, because it's really difficult to bunch hits together, especially for this team so far in the first half. That's been a hard thing to do. And that's another thing that Luke can do. He'll steal a base for you. So if he's going to bunt to get himself on and then he's going to steal second, I'm all for it. You know, Dylan Moore wants to do that. I'm all for it. But a lot of these guys I don't think are built for that, and they have to swing the bat, and that's why they're in the lineup. So I think the biggest thing for me is I put the game in motion on the bases, not necessarily at the plate.
So when you play ball like that, where you're just trying to get runners on the base paths, can they steal bases? Can they, you know what I mean? How fast and athletic are you as a team? The Mariners aren't.
Yeah, so essentially if you're bunting, you better be able to steal a bag. Like it's more advantageous if you are to steal a bag. You know what's crazy? So I looked up some bunting stats. And this does not support our argument of not playing small ball.
Then don't read them.
It's crazy.
I'm just kidding. Go ahead.
It's crazy. Success rates of bunts. It started 2020, 63% success rate. 2021, 61, 22, 66, 23, 67% success rate when it comes to bunting.
I feel like this is me, the opposite argument I make for going forward on 4th down. I'm now making against bunting.
I'm looking at it, and numbers say that maybe you should play a bit more small ball, but the counter to that would be I think bunting is a real skill, right? It's like there are some guys who are built to hit home runs. Their swing allows it. Their anatomy allows it. They're just bigger dudes. Who I would like to see, who are the guys who are having the success rate, and how often are they practicing this? So according to these numbers, Stacy, maybe they should consider bunting a bit more than they do.
I mean,
and I feel like we've seen more of this shit than we have over the past couple of years.
Yeah,
so.
Ryan Bliss had a great one. Luke Raley.
Yep.
Yeah. I would just caution against thinking that there is any easy solution for what the Mariners are doing.
Right.
This team is having trouble hitting. That's not going to change if they just try to, go for a single. Now, I think that there's a philosophy behind it of like, don't sell out for power and trust the guy behind you in the lineup to keep it moving that is useful, that maybe they do struggle with.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it certainly seems like when Julio was up there, and granted, it's the final out of the game, so I don't blame him for feeling this way, but it's like it's all on your shoulders. You got to get a home run. You got to send everyone home. You got to get, an RBI double. You got to do something here. And I do think they feel that. And the worse the offense is, the more pressure is likely mounting on their shoulders.
Yeah.
And I get that. But this is a team that can't hit. This is a team that already struggles. They're not just going to solve it by being like, let's do away with trying for home runs at all and get these guys on base. If Cal gets on base, he's not stealing second, stealing third, and then, having a RBI single drive him home.
Yeah, and what those numbers don't tell you, the frequency of the bunt, how often was a bunt, attempted. Also, the situation. Like I don't think if we dove deeper into those stats, obviously I don't have those numbers in front of me. I would guess that you're not bunting when, obviously the third baseman is playing up. Like there are situations that allow you to bunt, and how frequent are those situations coming up? So now you got to get on base, and you have to be able to steal a bag or whatnot, which makes it more advantageous. Another problem we're having with this ball club right now is runners in scoring position. And as of right now, they're 25th in MLB, batting .217 with runners in scoring position. The best team in the league, Braves, are batting .242 with runners in scoring position. So there are a couple problems here. All right, small ball, okay, we can explore that, which I felt like they've explored more this year than they have in the previous years. But also, once you get guys at second and third base, what are you going to do? And when it comes to those situations, the Mariners are near the bottom of the league. I think that's more of a concern than just saying, okay, let's play more small ball. It's all right, you got guys in position, let's drive them home.
I also think this club has not been built that way. I mean, that's ultimately what Mike Blowers is saying, right? Mike Blowers is saying, if your club was built a little bit differently, I would completely understand why you'd lean more into that, but it's not. If you had Steven Kwan and Luis Ariz in this lineup, yeah, focus on, make your primary focus on getting runners on the base paths. Like your primary focus is runners on base, and then try to keep it moving, and don't necessarily lean fully into power, just try to keep it moving. And if you had Steven Kwan and Luis Ariz in your lineup, you probably have more trust in your lineup as a whole among these guys. But that's not how you're built.
Yeah. 206 is saying small ball is not just bunting. Obviously, we know it's not just bunting. It's hitting singles and not swinging for the fences, right? Okay, that's the way this team has been constructed, was to put the ball in play and play that type of small ball. We're adding bunting into the situation. But we're also seeing numbers are telling us, so we spoke to earlier this week, numbers are telling us that it's advantageous for guys to swing for the fences just because of the velocity that they're getting from these pitchers. Like the pitchers are striking guys out at such a high rate that the game is transforming to where managers are building their team to just hit bombs to combat the success rate of these pitchers. So, well, when you do get guys on base in situations like last night with Julio Rodriguez, yes, for sure. Line drive, put the ball in play. Let's see what happens there. There's so much variety in how to win a baseball game. This team was built to play small ball, but now they're playing power. They're hitting bombs. They're doing it that way. So do you lean into that, or do you say no? We constructed you this way, even though you're not having success this way, we still want to force you to play ball this way? Or do you look at your team and say, this is who they are, go ahead and play baseball that way?
I think I'm kind of moving the goalposts a little bit, and I'll admit that. But, like, if you get Julio going, everything changes.
It does. And
that's not necessarily the way that Julio plays, but if you get Julio going, everything changes for this offense. And I have also wondered, is it a philosophy? Is it an approach? Is it a hitting staff? Is it, like what's going into what's happening? And I have also tried to think of like, well, what if they did this? What if they did that? Like I take the same approach. Ultimately, fix Julio. He looks broken. Like fix Julio, everything changes. And I know that's a cheap way to sum this up, but it's just what I keep getting back to is like, what's easier, to change your overall philosophical approach to baseball for your lineup, or to get your best guy going?
That's always your best guy.
Yeah.
Right? Get your leader going. And you can have your cake and eat it too. you can get your leader going, have him swing for power, and everybody else just get on base and do your thing. Because there are guys who are capable of driving these runs in, right? Cal leading the team in RBIs right now. Julio can get it done. Luke's been able to do it. It's like everyone else, man, to slap that thing around the yard and get on base and let these guys pick up the slack. The problem is when they do slap it around and get on base, there's 2 outs and no one picks up the slack. Or when you do hit a bomb, it's typically a solo home run and no one's on base. Like, end of the day, you got to connect the dots. You got to get on base, you got to drive them in and come up clutch in situations, and we're just not seeing that.
USA Today's Bob Nightingale joins us next. Don't go anywhere.
Seattle Sports, your home for Wyman and Bob.
Realistically, who would you like to see the Mariners go after?
Weekdays 2 to 7.
A lot of people talking about Luis Robert Jr. Sorry, I just can't get past the fact that he doesn't play every game. He's not healthy. That's a hard no from me anyway.
For me, it's about what is he going to cost in the way of prospects and, from your big league roster perhaps. Pete Alonso, that's a rental. What are you comfortable giving up for a guy who's going to be here for a couple of months?
On Seattle Sports and 97.3 FM HD2.
Hey, Brock Heward here, and I have had my share of sports injuries, and I know a little bit about pain. Well, that's what football will do to you from head to toe. But you don't have to play professional sports to know what I'm talking about. Painful joints from arthritis can affect anyone and make it hard to do pretty much anything. Well, that's where my friend, Dr. Daniel Nelson from Eastside Pain and Regenerative Medicine comes into play. He has seen so many patients through the years suffering from chronic joint pain caused by arthritis. So don't let pain stop you from your quality of life. Don't let pain stop you from enjoying life. Consider Dr. Nelson the only doctor with over 30 years of experience in pain medicine techniques, including stem cell therapy. It's a non-surgical solution to pain using your own stem cells. That's right, your own stem cells and platelet-rich plasma to harness your own body's healing potential. Consider stem cell therapy with Dr. Daniel Nelson, MD at 425-823-4000 or visit danielnelsonmd.com. That's danielnelsonmd.com.
At State Roofing, you can trust us to get your project done right because we prioritize quality and excellence in everything we do. Take advantage of 0 down, 0 payments, and 0 interest today, and don't pay until 2025. Call State Roofing at 866-ROOF-ROOF or visit stateroofing.com.
Miss anything from the Brock and Salk Show? Remember, you can always catch the show on demand on seattlesports.com, the Seattle Sports app, or wherever you listen to podcasts. This message brought to you by Ascend Hospitality Group, Famous Dave's, Ascend Prime, and Stanford's.
Free consultations, no fee guarantees, 5-star reviews. JP Pendergast with Pendergast Law explains the importance of going beyond these familiar offerings.
Accident victims want an attorney, Tom, that satisfies their needs. Someone who handles those needs with the highest degree of care. Pendergast Law offers the no-fee guarantees and free consultations, but these only scratch the surface.
Okay, explain more.
We make sure that every member of our team is genuinely passionate about helping others. Customer service and communication are our top priority. It's how we take care of our clients so they always feel one step ahead of the insurance companies. Our strong reputation for high standards provides comfort and confidence when it's needed most.
Pendergast Law offers the free consultations, the no-fee guarantees, and of course, they are 5-star rated. But what really makes them different is their genuine passion for helping others. I can't recommend them enough.
If you or a loved one has been injured in a car accident, call Pendergast Law. We can help.
That's PendergastLaw.com.
Bonneville, Seattle, and Seattle Sports are looking for organizations that regularly distribute information about employment opportunities to job applicants or have job applicants to refer. If your organization would like to receive notifications of job vacancies, please notify Human Resources at 1820 Eastlake Avenue East, Seattle, Washington 98102, or email us at seattlealljobs@bonneville.com or call 206-726-6902. Bonneville is an equal opportunity employer.
2 young fathers are shot to death outside an iconic Utah restaurant.
I said, your dad has been hurt really bad.
The grief was disorienting for those left behind until one choice changed everything.
I just remember writing this letter and it wasn't me writing it.
Can a personal decision shape generations?
We're all falling for this guy's trick.
I'm Amy Donaldson. Season 2 of The Letter, Ripple Effect, is available now. Follow us at theletterpodcast.com or wherever you get your podcasts.
Are you putting off your new kitchen plans? Why wait? Hi, I'm Chad Cicchini, owner of Heritage Homecraft, and we've got an offer you're not going to want to wait for. We'll custom build you all new cabinet doors and drawer fronts, and using our exclusive 1/4-inch solid wood refacing process, transform your existing cabinets into a beautiful new kitchen. Add a custom quartz countertop, change things up a bit, add some more cabinets, install some cool new features like soft close drawers and sliding shelves. Whatever you like, we'll help you create the new kitchen you'll be proud of. All in about a week, and all with way less mess, hassle, and expense than a tear out. Stop waiting. We're having a trade-in sale. You'll save $30 per door and drawer front off the cost of your new kitchen. Count them up and see how much you'll save. Years of experience, thousands of happy customers. Call today and let one of our pros come out and show you how easy and comfortable it'll be to get going on your new kitchen. Heritage Homecraft, 425-485-1600, 425-485-1600, or heritagehomecraft.com.
Summer's here. Now's the best time to transform the exterior of your home or business with a fresh coat of paint. But it can be time-consuming if you do it yourself. Do what I did and call the pros at CertaPro Painters. Ursula Roytine here. CertaPro did a fantastic job on our home. We were so happy we had them do a second project. Now it's your turn. Schedule your free estimate at CertaPro.com. That's Certa with a C. Each CertaPro Painters business is independently owned and operated. Choose happy. Choose CertaPro Painters. That's CertaPro.com.
Let's go! This is Seattle Sports.
Streaming through the Seattle Sports app.
KIRO AM Seattle. KIRO FM HD2 Tacoma. Home of the Seahawks, Mariners, and everything Seattle sports. Seattle Sports Snapshot.
The Mariners opened their series against the Orioles with a loss, and it was an ugly one. The team posted just 2 hits, both belonging to Josh Rojas. They'll get another shot tonight. Don't forget, it's also patriotic fireworks night tonight after the game, so stick around after what'll hopefully be a Mariners win. Jerry DiPoto told Sirius XM Radio he expects Brian Wu to make, quote, at least one start before the All-Star break. Finally, it's an NHL first. The Kraken have hired Jessica Campbell as assistant coach, making her the first woman to own that title.
Snapshot, brought to you by Miller Lite. When it's game time, it's Miller time.
This is Bump and Stacy
On Seattle Sports.
Streaming through the Seattle Sports app and at seattlesports.com.
Now, here are your hosts, Michael Bumpus and Stacy Ross.
Here we go now. Bump, you know how I said that I was going to bring salad to the cookout, a Caesar salad in particular, and you said absolutely no, don't do it. And texters were like yelling through the text line, Stacy, no, it's a huge mistake. Well, look what Curtis just sent us.
I saw that.
Caesar salad was invented in the early 1920s by Cesar Cardini, an Italian chef. So I'm doing it for the culture. He invented it on July 4th, 1924.
Wow.
Why would I not bring a Caesar salad to this July 4th cookout?
Because he wasn't at a cookout. He was probably indoors, very comfortable.
You don't know that.
We don't know if he went to the cookout either. Actually, I can almost guarantee you he didn't go to a cookout.
An Italian man in 1924?
He didn't go to no dang cookout. What?
Okay, but it was invented on July 4th, which I did not know until Curtis sent us this. So I guess learn something new every day. All right, you guys, we're going to bring on Bob Nightingale to talk a little Mariners here. I'm kind of turning to the text line, though, for some general reaction to a lot of what we've been talking about. I think a lot of people just want to see them try something and do something else and just please do anything to get this offense going. It's so hard to watch. And I completely get it. I completely understand. While I am up here saying it's not easy to bunt, you can't do these things, they're also not doing much at all with what they're trying.
They're not bunting. They're not hitting singles. They're not in extra bases. They're not moving runners over. There's a bunch that they're not doing. And it's hard to point at one thing and say, well, let's try that, because we all know throughout the course of 9 innings, you have to do multiple things to move runners over, to score runs, and do what you got to do. It's just when you feel like this offense has stalled, it's like you pick something that you feel is the cause or what's going to calm them out of it, and you kind of just stick to your guns, right? And that's what I can appreciate about some texters and people who are engaging in conversations. Like, they believe this is going to work, and I respect that. I go, yep, okay, I can feel you there. But I also look at that and I go, well, they can do that, and they can do some other things too. How about they just do all the things and connect the dots and produce runs? So it's a tough formula to try to put together.
All right. Bob is going to join us in about 7 minutes. So let's stick with texters here for just a little bit. Again, you can join this conversation, 866-979-3776. 253, they're just sloppy. Stop swinging at bad pitches. I mean, yeah, pitch selection, obviously not great. I get why people question whether it's an organizational thing. And I think that may be part of the recipe.
Mm-hmm.
I talked about the volatility and kind of up and down nature of signing free agents that aren't like peak guys. Right? You're not bringing in Jose Altuve and then seeing him struggle here. You're bringing in someone who's been an all-star once and maybe like pretty solid, and then seeing him struggle. That's different. Those are different types of players. But I think it's fair to wonder, like, is there something bigger happening at T-Mobile? Is there something bigger happening with the organization, with the philosophy? We've heard a million theories by now.
You know what, Stacey? I told you this off air, right?
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to tell it to the people. I'm so glad we have these next 2 days off. And I'm glad because we get to celebrate the independence of this country, barbecue, cookouts, all that good stuff.
Which I will bring a Caesar salad to.
God bless your soul. But if they go out and do not perform for 2 more games, we're just having the same conversation. We're talking about if Julio goes out and goes over again, we're talking about what's wrong with him. If the pitchers go out and do what they've done all year, we're talking about how great they are. If the bottom of the order isn't producing, we're talking about the same things over and over and over again. And it is exhausting because everyone is trying to figure this thing out. And there's 2 ways you can look at it. You can be on the positive side of things and say, all right, they're going to turn a corner, just put 1 or 2 hits together. Or you can go on the negative side of things and say, this team is done. But what's the reality of this team? They're playing some bad baseball right now, and they're still in first place. As long as they're in first place, as long as they're within 3-4 games, there's no way that management or the organization is going to give up on this team or this team themselves are going to give up on the team. It's just not going to happen. So you just need success, whatever that looks like at the plate, whether it's bunting, whether it's hitting a single, extra bases, home runs, whatever it is, you need success. Because once that snowball is pushed down the hill, gets bigger and bigger and bigger, and things start to happen. I asked Manny Acta the other day, I go, man, as a kid, you can smell when it starts to rain. And like, can you smell when this team is about to get hot? And he goes, well, we're just looking for good at-bats. Once you have good at-bats, then the possibilities of things changing grows. So what does a good at-bat look like? I'm so tired of seeing first pitch swings. I'm like, just take one right down the pipe. I don't care. Take one right down the pipe, especially later on in the ball game when he's on pitch 85, 90. You know he's gassed, right? Take the first pitch. Make him throw to you. Stop swinging at things out in the way. Just put a good at-bat together, man. Give me 6 or 7 pitches and you just battle at the plate. I think once we start seeing that, it's not safe to say, but it's more likely that good things are going to start happening.
I agree with you. All really good points. Yeah, it's absolutely painful to watch, and I'm glad that you brought that conversation we were having off air, on air, because look, you do have conversations about like, I really don't want to talk about this tomorrow, or this would be the perfect thing to happen for us tomorrow. Like you start looking at a game as like how it sets you up for a conversation. The best thing, frankly, to happen would be Julio getting hot. Because then we start talking about what it means to add a bat. And we had just been talking prior about like, what's the best case scenario? What puts more pressure on a front office to add? If the team loses its hold on first place, or if the team continues to gain ground? Like, do you start having too much confidence if your team is 10 games up, or do you start feeling like you're out of it if they're losing? Like, what's the best thing? Right now, they're in the ladder. Right now, they're struggling. Right now, they're losing up ground. And I don't want this front office to look and go, well, maybe next year. Which I don't think they will.
Like, do we ever have too much confidence though when this team was up, even up 10 runs?
Absolutely not.
Right?
Absolutely not.
Because we see the way that they were winning ball games, and we know that it's going to be hard to get through a full season playing this type of baseball. It's going to be hard to rely on injuries from the Astros rotation and their arms over there, and looking at what they're doing offensively when it comes to their numbers and say, oh, there's no way they're going to catch these guys. No, I don't think at no point have we or this team looked at that 10-run or 10-game lead and say, oh, yeah, we got this. But it's easier to get down 3 or 4 and be like, how are we going to climb out of this thing?
I would like to spend the next 3 minutes talking about the more important half of this conversation. The 509 is accusing me of trying to kill people. Okay, Stacy, says the 509. One thing no one's going to want to indulge in is a salad with botulism. I don't know how long Caesar dressing can stay out of refrigeration, but I'd rather not find out, and I'm guessing most of the guests that would be at said cookout aren't really willing to gamble on their lives with regard to your Caesar salad. If I'm not bringing a Caesar salad, then what am I bringing?
I told you, that's why you can bring a cooler with some ice and keep it cool. That's the only way you can do that.
I don't really want to bring anything else.
Then,
I mean, I guess I could bring like something from the store, but everyone's like, Mac salad. Do you know how many Mac salads are going to be there?
It ain't for you. Well,
yeah, Stacey, you're not bringing something for you. You're bringing something for the
There's going to be like
party,
4 Mac salads there. I don't want to compete with that.
Is no one coordinating and saying who's bringing what? See,
No.
Are you really going to a cookout? Because
Yes.
we be coordinating. Who's bringing what?
But I'm going
Who got
as
the
a
mac
guest.
and cheese?
Derek was invited. I'm going with him, so I don't know the people that are
That's
going
the
to go
thing
see.
about boyfriends and husbands is that they'll be given details. They just won't share them with their significant other. Like,
That's the thing.
I have friends all the time tell me that Bryn and I are invited places, and I'll just space on it until like the day before and be like, oh yeah, we got that thing tomorrow.
It should be like, what are we bringing? What are we supposed to, what time are we supposed to show up? But can we bring the kids or not? And
We're
you're like,
supposed to-
I didn't ask.
Yeah, exactly. That's exactly how it goes.
Someone said E. coli with the romaine is a bigger issue, Stace. I feel like it's a good gesture to have made something yourself, and I love a Caesar salad. Maybe I go grocery store cheesecake. But no, I don't know.
Just come on, trust me. I'm your black
veggie
friend.
tray.
What am I
I'm your
bringing?
black friend, okay?
Okay, have many black friends.
many black
I have
friends.
so many black friends. So excuse you. Well, then what am I bringing if I don't bring that?
Tell Derek to ask who's bringing what, and that will let you know. I guarantee there's a thread out there somewhere where they're coordinating and figuring out who's bringing what. Ask him to ask his boys.
You've got to get to the store nearly immediately after this show ends, because tonight and tomorrow morning are going to be insane at the grocery store.
Someone said, please don't bring a salad. If there was one other person to bring a salad, that's too much salad. No. Someone said, bring bags of chips, okay? A veggie plate with nice... I've never once picked anything off a veggie plate.
No?
Really?
No.
You never dunked a carrot?
I don't like ranch.
A nice broccoli floret?
Matt just rolled his eyes.
What do you like?
A lot of things.
You
I
don't
don't like ranch.
ranch?
I'm not particularly fond of ranch. I'll have it if it's like hidden in things or if it's like ranch flavor, you know, like Cool Ranch Doritos. Fine.
That's not real ranch.
Well, that's my experience with ranch.
You should bring a bottle of wine, a couple bottles of wine. Can't go wrong with that.
So much more expensive than a Caesar salad.
I mean, but it's safe. It's safe.
Okay. I mean, yeah, I guess. I don't know. I mean, the Mac and Jack's text line is giving suggestions
hot
for what
right
you would bring.
now.
Okay. So, Stacy, at least throw in some chicken to your salad. No, it's a Caesar salad. I mean, you could do that. Ranch is almost like Caesar dressing, says Wally. It's absolutely not. Go snag someone's sheet cake off the rack at Costco. Problem solved. Let's see. This person says, I'm not attempting a mac and cheese. No, that's absolutely not going to be it.
Don't do that. Wouldn't recommend it.
I'm going to settle for store-bought things.
Yeah. Go to Safeway or wherever.
Yeah.
And you find it. You're good.
That's what
but
I'll do.
have Derek ask, though. That's easy. Have him ask.
We'll do that.
What's going on? You'll be fine.
All right, joining us right now, Bob Nightingale on the Emerald Queen Casino Sportsbook Hotline. Bob, how's it going?
Yeah, doing well. How about you guys?
Doing good. We're trying to figure out what I should bring to a barbecue. And what's your favorite thing to eat?
Fried chicken. I go fried chicken and a macaroni and cheese. Do that every day.
Solid answer. Solid choice. No, Bob, before you joined, we were also, that was our relief, right? Because before this, we were talking about the Mariners offense and just how atrocious it's been. Are they worse than you expected?
Yeah, you just keep, they have too much talent to be hitting that poorly. I know they already fired their hitting coach and stuff. You keep waiting for it to, to come on. And they're not this bad. I mean, it'll get better. It has to.
Where everyone's a swing coach now, Bob, if you didn't know, here in Seattle. Everyone's trying to figure out what's going on with Julio And I've heard so many theories, but I also look at what he's done to get himself here, and I go, well, you can't switch it up that much, right? It's gotten you so far, and you've had success doing it. Have you seen an instance where someone just changed their swing completely at this level?
They have, but certainly not in mid-season. You don't want to do that. It's funny. And then in Arizona, the runaway rookie of the year, was Corbin Carroll, a Seattle native. And same thing, people going crazy. What happened to Corbin Carroll? Sometimes it's just a matter of adjustments, and they're making adjustments to him, and he needs to adjust back. But it's not like, anybody thinks he's hurt or something has gone terribly awry. These things happen. It's just painful to watch him go through it. At the same time, remember last year he had a slow start as well.
When you're looking at offenses around the league, obviously Seattle falls far behind a lot of them. We've been talking about who they can add at the deadline. Is there a bat that might be available that you think this would actually be a huge boost to a bat offense?
I mean, it's a minor move. I like a guy like a Tommy Pham. I mean, you saw what he did for the Diamondbacks last year, a real fiery competitor. And, you're not talking about, giving up, a top prospect by any means. Maybe a 15th to 20th type prospect, so nothing's going to hurt you. But a guy like that, I don't see a Pete Alonso being available, not as long as the Mets are hanging around. Diamondbacks have Christian Walker. He's a free agent, but they're still hanging around. So I think it's got to be just a couple of moves. Yeah.
Hey, Bob, no matter what happens, no matter what moves they make, it has to start from within. And DePoto has gone out there and said that. Service has said it in so many ways. But people don't want to hear that. Julio has to get going. France got to get going. Cal has to get going. When you look at this roster, do you feel like there is enough for them to turn it around if they add it back to the situation if these guys perform the way that they're expected to?
I do. I just don't think that, I don't think they're that far away. They face some good pitching too, like last night. But yeah, those guys, all have a track record. It's, they've all done this before. And a lot of times one guy breaks out, then it's a trickle down, then everybody starts breaking out. So I see the same thing happening. So let them make a couple of minor moves. Like I said, I'm a Tommy Pham type of guy. It's not going to be a headline or something like that, but just to throw a name in there and maybe that sort of thing to get guys going. But the bottom line is Seattle has what everybody covets, and that's that starting pitching. Everybody wishes they had that kind of starting pitching. And that's what wins you in October. So for Mariners that say, just get in, and nobody wants to face those guys in October, not Baltimore, not the Yankees, or anybody.
I don't think Seattle's going to move on from any of those starters, right? I think they'd rather deal from their farm system. Do you think that's probably going to be a common ask for teams looking to trade, though?
I think that'd be dangerous to trade away a young star like that, just because, we've seen so many injuries. You hate to trade someone away, and all of a sudden you need that person. Come playoff time, obviously you don't need 5 starters, just 4 or sometimes 3 in earlier rounds. You have to use those starters in the bullpen to make you, a really deep bullpen. So I think as long as the Mariners get in, that's a dangerous team. I remember when they faced the Astros the first round a couple of years ago, the Astros were scared to death. And once they got past Seattle, they cruised the World Series. So that pitching can shut down any team in baseball.
A lot of our listeners are begging for the Mariners to play small ball. This team was constructed at the beginning of the season, just to put the ball in play and move runners across the bases and see what happens there. But on the flip side, they've been hitting more home runs than expected. When you hear just play small ball, what is that? What do you hear, and is that a solution for these guys?
Well, it's funny, those years, and they weren't getting anywhere in the postseason. They're getting there, then stopping. But now, Cleveland's hitting home runs and stuff, and they're a juggernaut. The best record in the in baseball, at least American League. So, since that you need that slot, I can see why I can say that. But the trouble now, when the average batting average is 242, to play small ball means you better have 3 or 4 guys get hits in a row. That doesn't seem like that happens with anybody.
Hey, I wanted to take a look at how some of these really, really good AL teams were built because they've done it in different ways, right? The Yankees aren't afraid of making a big trade, spending big. They've also developed nice guys. The Orioles have taken a more interesting approach, and since we're facing them this week, I figured I'd ask your take on the Orioles and how they've been built, what you like about them.
Well, the Orioles are taking it. Their GM used to be assistant GM with the Astros. So it's a carbon copy approach of what Houston did, where you not only stink, but you stink to the high heavens, and you get the number 1 draft pick year after year. And they've been hitting on the draft, but they should be good. I mean, they were losing 110 games a year. So a lot of fan bases can't stomach something like that. I'm sure Mariners fan base can't stomach that. So they did it that way, and the Yankees, hey, you buy, you try to develop. I think the best example in baseball as far as just buying and developing at the same time is the Los Angeles Dodgers. They do a great job developing their young guys. And, their 5th-round draft picks, 3rd-round draft picks, obviously they're always drafting toward the bottom. And, look what they do. They have a lot of homegrown players, plus buying at the same time.
Obviously, we're trying to fight off the Astros here in Seattle, and they've been on the run. I mean, they swept Baltimore in late June, got rid of the Rockies, easy work. When you look at this team and how they're winning ball games, is how they're doing things sustainable, even with all the injuries they have to the arms over there.
Yeah, I mean, 7 straight ALCSs for a reason. They've all been there, done that. Experienced group, so they weren't panicking when everybody says, okay, the team is done. And, it's amazing with all those pitching injuries, what they're doing. They've been without Kyle Tucker, the all-star right fielder. Alex Bregman had a real slow start. So, but we'll see how long it lasts. I think they had a soft part of their schedule as well. So, if I'm the Mariners, I am more concerned with the Texas Rangers, particularly because, the Rangers are going to get those guys back, like Jacob deGrom, Tyler Mahle, Scherzer just came back, that sort of thing. So, but, hey, as Arizona Diamondbacks proved last year, and what the Texas Rangers proved, you just get in the playoffs and anything can happen.
Do you expect the Astros to be buyers because they're closing that gap?
I do. But even with the buyers, I mean, we only have like 5 teams out of the race. I think Jerry DeBoto said the other day there's only 2 or 3 teams that are being aggressive. The White Sox are one of them. So there's not a whole lot to buy out there. It's going to be a great buyer's market. So those teams are just kind of sitting back and waiting for teams to come to them, the last, 72 hours before July 30th. So, it's not like there's not like a lot of studs, on the trade market that can suddenly, turn a team around. There's not a Juan Soto out there, for instance.
Who's your sneaky team in the AL? Who's a team that maybe people aren't really paying attention to, but you feel like it makes some noise here?
I think the Minnesota Twins keep that team. They seem like they're always banged up. They're 10, 11 games over 500. But Cleveland has the nice advantage there. I still think Seattle's a sneaky team, even though they're in first place. But I still think people are overlooking them. When they play Baltimore and the Yankees or so in the first round, it surprised me at all to see, the Orioles knock them off. I'm not sure there's anybody else in the the AL East besides the 2 big boys that scare you. I know Boston's hanging around. I'm not sure how it's going to continue. AL Central, I think Kansas City away. Then the West, you still got. If I want to go one stinky team, it's still Texas. I just can't believe they're playing this poorly. I just don't see it lasting either.
He is USA Today's Bob Nightingale, kind enough to join us on the Emerald Queen Casino Sportsbook Hotline. Thanks so much, Bob.
Thanks, Bob.
Sure, my pleasure. Thank you.
Some interesting stuff there from Bob. Believes the Astros will be buyers. Really impressed with how the Orioles have been built, it being what he called kind of a carbon copy of what Houston initially did with a lot of that homegrown talent, particularly the bats, and then acquiring the pitching elsewhere. What stood out to you?
The last part, that
about the sneaky
Mariners
teams?
are a sneaky team. And I think we needed to hear that. After all the stuff we talked about today, breaking all this down, this is a guy who's not connected to the team like we are. He says, I think they are a sneaky team. What makes them a sneaky team? Obviously, their pitching, their ability to win one-run ball games. And, you know, we've said it all year. If they can just hang around, stay within a run late in the game, the possibilities are there. So, I mean, a lot. Well, I'm sure we'll touch on more of what he talked about. But that last part, it was a great way to end it, Bob, because I think some people needed to hear that.
All right. Coming up next, taking a look around the NFL, some interesting stuff from Tom Brady, plus what we learned in the first episode of Offseason Hard Knocks. Don't go anywhere.
Seattle Sports is your exclusive home for Mariners baseball.
That baby is out of here!
Every strikeout.
Swing and a miss for strike 3. Bryce Miller caps his day of 7 scoreless.
Every home run.
Goodbye baseball, he did it! Julio Rodriguez!
Every Mariners win.
And Mitch Haniger, just like the old days! He wins it for the Mariners in the 10th inning!
Stream every game at seattlesports.com or on the Seattle Sports app. We are Seattle Sports.
Trucks, pickups, and more SUVs. You want a better selection of dependable new and pre-owned trucks? Well, you've got it when you visit Chevrolet Buick GMC of Puyallup or Chevrolet of Everett, part of the Harnish Auto family. You simply won't find a better experience when buying your next truck. Plus, enjoy oil changes and powertrain warranty for life on all new vehicles. Taking care of you for over 4 decades. Check out the outstanding selection from the Harnish Auto family, Chevrolet of Everett and Chevrolet Buick GMC of Puyallup. A better experience.
For generations, Shane Company has had a passion for gemstones. We've worked with the same diamond sources who reserve the best rough stones just for us. Once cut and polished, we take our time to handpick the best of the best. We're known for our rainbow of colors, 16 different shades of natural sapphires. At Shane Company, we truly obsess over cutting each stone to reveal its richest color and vibrancy. And we'll continue to source the most beautiful gemstones on Earth so that you can always shine bright. Shane Company, your friend and jeweler.
It's the Golfapalooza of the summer, the Butts Golf Sidewalk Sale. Some serious 4 days of values you'll never see again. The biggest brands with staggering prices. 4 days only, and it all starts Thursday at Butts.
At Fisher Investments, we may seem like other money managers, but we're different.
Are you really that different than the rest of us?
We are. As a fiduciary, we always focus on what's best for our clients.
What services do you offer besides investing?
We have a team of specialists in financial planning, estate planning, and more.
Your clients rely on you for all that?
Yes, we ensure clients receive unparalleled service at every step of the relationship.
Okay, but you still sell commission-based products, right?
No, because we believe that's a conflict of interest. We prioritize service over sales goals.
So, then how do your fees work?
We have a simple and transparent fee that's a percentage of our clients' portfolios. So we do better when our clients do better.
Wow, we're more different than I thought.
At Fisher Investments, we're clearly different. Learn more at FisherInvestments.com.
Investing in securities involves the risk of loss.
Endless hours of research, seeking referrals, dozens of calls. Hiring the right attorney can be a challenging process during an already difficult time. J.P. Pendergast with Pendergast Law explains.
In Washington State, Tom, there are thousands of attorneys to choose from. Referrals and online research can be helpful, but discovering the right attorney requires a conversation. It can be hard to identify integrity and authenticity without that interaction.
So, what do you recommend?
We encourage anyone looking for personal injury representation to call for a free consultation with our team before making a decision simply based on referrals or online research. Accident victims need an attorney that listens, demonstrates honesty, and is genuinely understanding of their unique circumstances. The care, attention, and preparation that our firm provides throughout the case mirrors the effort involved when taking on the insurance companies.
Save time and avoid mistakes after an injury. Contact the caring and compassionate team at Pendergast Law.
If you or a loved one has been injured in a car accident, call Pendergast Law. we can help.
Are you putting off your new kitchen plans? Why wait? Hi, Chad Cicchini, owner of Heritage Homecraft. Call today and ask about our trade-in sale. Years of experience, thousands of happy customers. Heritage Homecraft, 425-485-1600 or heritagehomecraft.com.
We are Seattle Sports, the home of the Seahawks, Mariners, and everything Seattle sports.
Watch your favorite show live at seattlesports.com.
Guys, did you know your testosterone level impacts your energy, libido, sleep, weight, hair loss, mood, and even ED? And right now, Revive Men's Health Seattle will check your testosterone for free. They've helped thousands of men since 2011 feel and perform better. They're so confident they can help you, they even guarantee it. Schedule your free testosterone test, exam, and consultation today. Call 206-529-1111. That's 206-529-1111. Or visit ReviveMen'sHealth.com.
I formed Davis Law Group about 30 years ago, and once I wrote my first book, it proved to be hugely popular. I decided to write then a series of books in different accident cases. I've found that having a client that is educated and knowledgeable about their particular type of case really helps the client and also usually ends up making the case or the claim more successful. To get your free copy of any of my Washington accident books, visit WashingtonAccidentBooks.com.
Roof now, pay later. Hi, I'm Sam Thomason, owner of State Roofing. Take advantage of our zero down, zero payments, and zero interest for up to a year. We've partnered with leading lenders to make the replacement or repair of your roof affordable. Flexible financing options are available to take the worry out of an unexpected expense. Call us today at 866-ROOF-ROOF to schedule a free no-obligation estimate or visit us at stateroofing.com. That's stateroofing.com.
State Roofing, the last roof you'll ever need.
At aimyourdigital.com, we'll help you target the right audience, build your leads, and crush your quota. Take your business to the next level. Our digital marketing strategies help grow awareness of your product or service, all while building trust in your business. Our approach involves leveraging multiple tools and strategies to deliver exceptional results that are customized to your unique business needs. Don't wait to run out of sales leads. Keep your business growing. Get started with aimyourdigital.com today.
This is Bumpin' Stacy.
Weekdays 10 to 2.
On Seattle Sports and 97.3 FM HD2.
Taking a look around the NFL, we are going to start on our TVs with the season premiere of Off-Season Hard Knocks. It aired last night, and Giants GM Joe Schoen sounds like someone who wants to see Daniel Jones throw more without Saquon Barkley around.
Okay, so to take this step further, we lose Saquon, right? What's our identity going to be on offense now? And what's our plan to, what's the next step of that? I guess is what I'm thinking. Like, we're losing a large part of our offense, our explosiveness, our touchdowns. Quarterback, if it's Daniel, depends on the run game.
We got to upgrade the offensive line, and you're paying the guy $40 million. It's not to hand the ball off to a $12 million back. My plan is to address the offensive line at some point here in free agency. We're sitting at 6. There's a chance there's an offensive weapon there. This is the year for Daniel. Plan all along was give him a couple years. Is he our guy for the next 10 years, or do we need to pivot and find somebody else?
Well, that's the conversation, the decision they're going to have to make this year. Bump, you've seen a lot of Daniel Jones. Can he be that guy? Are we too harsh on Daniel Jones? Like, maybe he's just got a face, a vibe that's like kind of mild, and we're like mean to him.
Kind of mild.
You know,
He's
like
a
he just
dude
looks
guy.
like a dude. Yeah, and I don't mean that as an insult to like his looks. What I'm saying is like overall
being
vibe.
a dude guy is an insult, yeah.
Overall vibe, but he's kind of been written off a little bit.
Well, look, he's thrown for over 3,000 yards twice in his career in 19 and 22. He's thrown for over 20 touchdowns once, and that was his rookie season. You look at his numbers, they don't impress you. 2020, 11 and 10, touchdown to interception ratio. 21, 10 and 7. 2022, 15 and 5. I think what got people all excited about him was him rushing for 707 touchdowns in 2022. Look, I see a guy who is good enough to be an NFL quarterback, not good enough to take you to the next level. So with Saquon not being there, you're going to have to rely on him. He's going to have to be worth the $40 million a year that you're giving him, but he needs some weapon around him. They do have a good offensive line. You did draft Malik Neighbors out of LSU. He should be good to go. Darius Slayton has shown that he's a good receiver as well. I think he's a second-tier, third-tier type of quarterback. He's going to need things to happen around him.
Were you surprised when they took Malik Neighbors and not J.J. McCarthy?
Yeah, I was. I thought, but that just shows the belief that Daboll has in this young man. So he's got to return the favor. Daboll's like, look, I got you, bro. I got you paid. We did not draft a quarterback. I got you a weapon at receiver. Your offensive line is supposed to be pretty good. Let's see what happens.
Well, let's talk about that offensive line. Schoen also wasn't happy with that group and wants them to protect their investment.
The reality is, facts.
Yeah.
3 serious injuries in 2 years.
Yeah.
We need to protect ourselves. He didn't have much of a chance this year. That's legit. Like your off-season, the 4 guys, your core guys that were going to play together played less than 60 snaps together. We have Miami, we got 3 practice squad guys playing for us. Like, nobody could, like, you could have Pat Mahomes and he can't win it behind that. I'm not giving up. Like, he's under contract for 3 more years. Just protecting ourselves because best predictor of the future is the past.
Can I say something?
Please
I
do.
find it interesting how much the front office is defending their quarterback and also talking about Saquon Barkley and everyone playing behind that offensive line, and how little attention people pay to Seattle's offensive line, also really struggling with injury last year, at one point having 1 regular starter with Evan Brown. Like, I'm just saying, offensive lines are huge contributors to a suppressed offense. And
yeah.
I don't think people gave it enough credit in Seattle. Instead, it was like, Geno's bad. He's horrible. DK can't catch. He has drops.
O-line, D-line, if we're going to be real, we're talking about the play of the game is determined by those 2 groups, D-line and O-line. O-line protects, lets your quarterback work, provides running lanes. Defensive lines cleans up your linebackers, put pressure on the quarterback, allows your secondary to fly around and make plays.
All right, next up, Tom Brady said taking things too seriously was the biggest regret of his NFL career.
But what I would have changed was, okay, there's part of me that I actually still love. Like when I see these young players, I see like Patrick, out there at quarterback, running around, laughing, having fun. I'm like, I used to be like that. What the hell happened to me? And I just got too serious. And but again, I can only look back and think, okay, if I do it again, which I'll never do it again, I would be different, but the reality is you can't. So you just learn from it and go, okay, now next phase of life, enjoy it a little more.
You know what I call that? Playing under Bill Belichick.
You know what I say to that?
What?
Tom Brady, respectfully, shut your mouth.
What?
7 Super Bowl championships, and you're talking about I would have done it a bit differently. Of course you would have done it differently. Who goes through any part of their life and say, oh, I did that perfect? No, man, but for you to make a mockery of this, I feel like he's slapping everybody in the face like, guys, I could have won like 3, 4 more if I would just loosened up a little bit. Y'all lucky I'm not going back. Tom Brady, shut your mouth.
Like
I love you. Respectfully, shut your mouth.
It does sound like if I just would have relaxed and had fun, we could have beaten the Eagles.
Yeah, exactly.
We could have taken one of those from the Giants. Like, I just could have.
Got 7 of them
If I would have just, smiled a bit more, then maybe I would have enjoyed life differently. But I also wonder, like, is that you? Like, Tom Brady, respectfully, I never felt like who he was on the field isn't who I thought he was, a version of that as a person. And I kind of think you have to be singularly focused on something to be that great. Curtis and I earlier were talking about bad players sometimes making great broadcasters, great players sometimes making bad broadcasters. And even though there are great both, like Charles Barkley, my theory is also that sometimes you just have to be kind of boring to be great.
Yeah.
Or be kind of self-obsessed to be great.
Yeah, the greats think differently, they move differently. The only great that I feel like is the closest to the average man when it comes to what he did off the field is Michael Jordan. He was drinking, he was smoking cigars, he's playing golf before basketball games. That's as good as it gets. Everyone else was kind of like, squarish, I guess, if you want to put it that way, and we're locked in.
Let's talk.
go
ahead, Curtis.
A prime example of that
Yeah.
is Magic Johnson's Twitter account. One of the great athletes of our era, and has the most boring tweets of all time.
Drew Brees obviously didn't work out in the booth. One of the most prolific passers.
Well, I think he's going back, too. I think they're giving him
Good
another
for
shot.
him.
He wants to, yeah.
You've had some like good players who have made really good broadcasters. Like, they weren't bad players; they were good. They just weren't like all-time greats.
You know what I think? I think people think calling the game is easier than what it really is.
Yes.
That's 100%.
Like, it's not as easy. There's so much prep that goes into it. There's cadence. You got to vibe off your play-by-play guy. It's an art for sure.
I also think that people think that your knowledge of a game directly corresponds with how good you are as a player.
Yeah.
That if you didn't become a Hall of Famer, if you didn't become a Pro Bowler, you must not understand the game, and who are you to talk about it? And I do understand. Yesterday you talked about, like, if you went up to Russell Wilson and demanded an answer for something, it hits different than if Mark Schlereth goes up and demands an answer. So there is a level of, like, a height of a podium you can stand on. But ultimately, like, if you've reached that level, you know so much about the game and so many intricacies about the game. And there are many people who are brilliant football minds that just, like, maybe it wasn't their time. Maybe they weren't the right fit for a team. It just didn't work out.
Yeah.
And, yeah, I think people also assume that, like, the better you are, the more you'll know, right? And it's like, well, not always.
I've played with and against some incredible football players who I would run circles around when it comes to being on the whiteboard and drawing up schemes.
Or if it was game planning. Some people are just, like, insanely talented, where it's like, you know, they could show up hungover and outrun everyone, outjump everyone.
Marshawn Lynch said he took a shot before the game.
That's what I'm saying.
I cannot imagine taking a shot before a game and going out there and playing.
Now, there are guys, like, you look at Peyton Manning and you're like, this guy's a brilliant football mind. He gets it. The sheriff, right? And then there are guys that, like, maybe struggle to really make it work, that you're like, wow, he knows a ton. How many coaches, assistant coaches, position players didn't do much of anything in the pros, and then they're out here coaching guys? You think any of those players are like, what do you know?
No.
Who are you? Who are you to tell me that? All right, Ryan Rowland-Smith joining us at 1 p.m. Don't go anywhere.
Seattle Sports, your home for Bump and Stacy.
Joel in Tacoma says, what's more stressful to watch, the Seahawks in the fourth quarter or the Mariners in 7, 8, and 9?
Weekdays 10 to 2.
Mariners all day. Mariners all day. They have shown they're capable of being in any type of game. I think we're slowly starting to figure out that they're capable of throwing hands with the best and keeping them in the game. The next step will be for them just to dominate the weaker teams.
Don't miss an hour of the show. Find the podcast at seattlesports.com.
Miller Lite has your chance to win a Miller Lite varsity style jacket. Just log on to MillerLite.com/Bigfoot, where you can chat with Bigfoot, uncover tales of the Northwest, and enter to win a Miller Lite varsity style jacket. Head to MillerLite.com/Bigfoot. No purchase necessary. Starts 4/9/2024, ends 8/30/2024. Residents of Alaska, Idaho, Oregon, Washington, 21 plus. Official rules at MillerLite.com/Bigfoot for free entry method, odds, and restrictions. Molson Coors Beverage Company, USA LLC, 250 South Wacker Drive, Chicago, Illinois, USA, 60606.
Hey, it's Mike Salk here, and it is hot out there. Your inefficient windows mean high utility bills all year long. Window Nation sells some of the most energy-efficient windows that you can buy, and it was recently ranked highest on Forbes' list of best window installation companies. Right now, for every 2 windows you buy, you'll get 2 windows free, plus 0 down and no interest payments for 2 years. How about that deal? Stop paying more than you have to. Schedule an in-home estimate right now by calling 866-90-NATION or visit windownation.com.
Did you know your skin is the largest organ of your body? Huh? That's why you should shower with Old Spice Super Hydration Body Wash instead of plain old bar soap. Love your skin by super hydrating it with vitamin B3 and glorious notes of vanilla and shea. Did you know that my super hydrated skin is the second largest organ of my body? The first is my heart. Old Spice. Men have skin too. Old Spice Super Hydration Body Wash. 24/7 renewing moisture. With daily use.
Hey, what are you doing up on the step stool?
About to clean these light fixtures. The whole family's coming over, and if there's even a speck of dust in the house, my abuela will find it.
Here, I got a Swiffer duster to help with that.
A Swiffer what?
A Swiffer duster. It has this cool extendable handle that reaches 6 feet to get high and low, with fluffy dusters that easily trap and lock dust.
So, no more step stool?
No more step stool.
Easily trap and lock dust from hard-to-reach places with the Swiffer duster. Love it or your money back.
At Buc-ee's, we'll keep you ready for summertime. For over 50 years, Buc-ee's Complete Auto has been servicing and repairing cars and trucks with modern-day technology and good old-fashioned customer service. Buc-ee's is the largest independent family-owned chain in the Northwest. There's a Buc-ee's just about everywhere for factory maintenance, oil changes, wiper blades, air conditioning, brakes, tire rotation, tune-ups, everything you need to get you running smoothly this summer. No appointment necessary, and financing's available too. Check Buc-ee's.com for the location near you.
It's time for Cookies Country Chicken gift card giveaway. Celebrate National Fried Chicken Day with cookies. That's real good chicken. 3 lucky winners, 3 $100 Cookies gift cards. Enter today at seattlesports.com/win. Hurry, Contest ends July 21.
Emerald Queen Casino, the entertainment capital of the Northwest. The best place to watch all your favorite sports. Featuring wall-to-wall viewing screens, 6 windows, and 30 kiosks. Be there at emeraldqueen.com. Emerald Queen Casino, the entertainment capital of the Northwest.
Do you know a woman who gives her all to the sports community, encourages diversity, and empowers those around her? Maura Dooley here. Seattle Sports is once again partnering with the Seattle chapter of WISE, which stands for Women in Sports and Events. We want to recognize a woman in our community, and we need your help finding her. Nominations for the 3rd Annual Women of Inspiration Award are open until July 12th, and the winner will receive a donation to the cause of their choice. Nominate an inspiring woman today at woiseattle.org.
Listen throughout the week to the Mariners Player Spotlight.
Ever since I got here, I want to win a World Series in Seattle, and this city's starving for another winning team.
Presented by Muckleshoot Casino Resort.
Trucks, pickups, and more SUVs. You want a better selection of dependable new and pre-owned trucks? Well, you've got it when you visit Chevrolet Buick GMC of Puyallup or Chevrolet of Everett, part of the Harnish Auto family. You simply won't find a better experience when buying your next truck. Plus, enjoy oil changes and powertrain warranty for life on all new vehicles. Taking care of you for over 4 decades. Check out the outstanding selection from the Harnish Auto family, Chevrolet of Everett and Chevrolet Buick GMC of Puyallup. A better experience.
We all know a cancer diagnosis is physically and emotionally challenging, but it can also be financially devastating. That's why Northwest Hope and Healing is here to help. I'm Dr. Suzette Miranda, a plastic surgeon who is proud to be part of Northwest Hope and Healing's mission. We provide a lifeline for breast and gynecologic cancer patients by covering essentials like food, utilities, and child care, so patients can focus on healing. Since the year 2000, Northwest Hope and Healing has distributed over $2.5 million to thousands of local cancer patients, and you can help us make an even greater impact. Mark your calendar for Life in Color, a summer brunch, auction, and fashion show on August 18th at the Golf Club at Newcastle. It'll be an unforgettable afternoon of hope and inspiration, celebrating local cancer survivors. Get your tickets now for Life in Color on August 18th. Go to nwhopeandhealing.org to learn more. That's nwhopeandhealing.org.
Sinking or uneven concrete around your home? You need to call Matt Vey Foundation Repair.
Hi, I'm Matthew Cote with Matt Vey Foundation Repair. If you have an uneven, cracked driveway, sunken sidewalk, or sagging cement porch, we offer an easy and cost-effective solution.
When you call Matt Vey, you'll get a realistic bid, meticulous cleanup, and a lifetime warranty. No one else offers that kind of guarantee. For your free evaluation, call 8449-MATT-VEY or visit gomattvey.com.
Do it the right way, the Matt Vey way. Rock built, rock solid.
You're listening to Bumpin' Stacy.
Weekdays 10 to 2.
On Seattle Sports and 97.3 FM HD2.
Ryan Roland-Smith joining us in 15 minutes. What I need to know coming your way in about an hour. You can get those questions in anytime. 866-979-3776. A question actually inspired this for me. Someone much earlier in the show asked about how concerned we should be with the middle of the defense and talked about how a lot of those guys are mostly unknowns. We'll get to that and what I need to know, the actual question. But I started thinking about kind of the confidence level in different parts of the Seahawks defense. My question is, what's the safest bet on the defense right now? Now, I'm thinking of position group, but if you're so entirely confident as a listener in like Devin Witherspoon, maybe you're saying corners as a whole because you just think he is the bee's knees. But what's the
bee's knees?
The bee's knees.
Bring it back.
But
The cat's pajamas.
He's the cat's pajamas. But what's the safest bet on the Seahawks defense right now? You can bet and go, I think that's going to be where the progress, where the improvement, where the great play comes from.
I'm going to work in reverse order.
Okay.
All right. The position I have the most questions about is the linebacker spot, middle linebacker. Jerome Baker was in Miami, did his thing, green dot, captain, all that good stuff. Don't know too much about him because he was not available when it comes to all of these camps. And then you got to go to our guy Dotson. Dotson played 4 seasons with the Buffalo Bills. We know about that defense. Never really had great numbers while with the Bills. His best season was 2023, 57 sacks. I mean, 57, sacks would have been dope.
Can you imagine?
57 solo tackles, 74 overall, 2.5 sacks, Stacey, 2.5. We just don't know about those guys, but we know that they're going to be essential to that box in what happens. So now let's go to the secondary. The safety position. The safety position as well. We didn't see much Rayshawn Jenkins, right? We didn't see a lot of him. We did see Julian Love out there. I really like what Julian Love did last year, man. He had a stretch to where he was the best defender on this team. I remember the, a pick against Philly, I believe that he had. He just had some good moments. Yeah, pick against Philly. He had some good moments, man. I love Julian Love. I'm excited to see how he's grown over this offseason. Again, questions at the other safety spot because we haven't seen what our guy Rayshawn Jenkins can do. So that leaves for us the corners and the defensive line.
Right. Where is your faith?
Reek Woolen had a down year last year. He comes into the season having to have a knee procedure. Who knows what the mental was like. He's a rookie Pro Bowler. Not saying it was a distraction or deterred how hard he worked, but there are some things to do with. You go from going from the University of Texas San Antonio to starting in the NFL to being a Pro Bowler. There's a major shift in your profile and how you're viewed and the attention that you're getting. Devin Witherspoon hit the ground running. But I'm looking at that defensive line and saying that's where the money is. You got Big Cat over there, Jay Reed. You drafted Byron Murphy, and then we hear the way that Mike McDonald is talking about Draymond Jones. I'm looking at the D-line, and it should be this way. The D-line should be the strongest part of your team. If they are the strongest part of your team, you can have some weaknesses at the linebacker spot or some unknowns and be okay, at least in the short term, because you feel like the D-line is going to cover some of that up. You can have an unknown at the safety spot, and you'd be like, all right, well, the defensive line is going to get after the quarterback, clog the run gaps, and keep these guys clean. I look at the D-line, and I'm excited to see what happens, man. Byron Murphy, I think, is going to be a beast in this league. Cat Williams already showed you he can be. Jay Reed has had some great years, and then Draymond Jones is the matchup guy. We heard Mike McDonald describe him as he's the matchup guy. We can move him outside, put him on the tackles and guards, move him inside, guards and center. There's so many things that you can do. This D-line is looking really versatile, and I'm still waiting on Cam Young to arrive. Last year, we didn't see much of him. This year, I feel like with a year under his belt, who knows what's going to happen there. So I think there are concerns at the corner spot with Reed. Can he bounce back? I think he will. At the linebacker spot, we haven't seen Dotson and Baker. At the safety spot, haven't seen Jenkins much. So the most consistent part of this defense so far, even if we're talking about attendance, is that D-line. And then I feel like Uchenna and Boye Mafe are going to be solid as heck.
I had exactly the same answer as you were going from like maybe least confident to most. I was like, yes, linebacker, safety, then you go corner, then you go maybe your outside rushers, and then your defensive tackles, your defensive line. The interesting thing about the defensive line being maybe the safest bet for both of us, and I think for a lot of listeners, that was the most popular answer I was seeing, is just how much is going to be on their shoulders, right? Obviously, it's important that your corners play well. It's important that your number 5 overall pick look great. It's important that the linebackers are able to command this thing. All of that's important. But this team was 31st, and then previous to that, 30th against the run. That is a lot on the shoulders of Dre Jones, Byron Murphy, and Leonard Williams to improve this defense. Yeah, it's a big ask, but I think when you have the personnel that you have, and here's the thing, with Clinton Hurt, we got Clinton Hurt, and this was his first opportunity to be a defensive coordinator. All right, even though Mike McDonald is 36 years young, he helped build a national championship team with the University of Michigan, and then he helped put together one of the best defenses we've seen in the last 5 or 6 years with the Baltimore Ravens. It's not like he's been sitting on the sidelines observing, and now it's his turn to go out there and run the show. When it comes to being a head coach, that's essentially what it is. But when it comes to running a defense and having ideas and having pillars in his defense that he knows is going to work and have a philosophy and how to teach it, he's good to go. So I think that was probably one of the downfalls of Clint Hurt, was that he was just new to this. Now, Clint Hurt is with Philly right now, I believe. He's going to be on that defensive line. He's going to take the lessons he learned as a D coordinator here, and he'll probably get another opportunity and be ready to go and have more ideas when it comes to how to conduct a defense as a defensive coordinator. That ain't the issue with Mike McDonald. He knows what works and what should work and what personnel he needs to run this. And you team him up with John Schneider, who I feel like they have a great relationship. I'm excited about it, but it's all about the bigs, man. Receivers and DBs and quarterbacks and running backs, you get all the love, but you need the big boys, man. If you don't have any big boys, it's going to be a bit rough for you. I'm going to ask such a stupid question, and I know that, but I'm intentionally framing it this way. Are they the most important part of what Mike McDonald is going to want to do here?
It's most important, 1A. 1B is the linebackers.
Yeah.
Specifically the outside linebackers, the edge rushers. because of the games and stunts that you can run with them. We heard Boye Mafe break down. He can start in the A gap and boom, flash to the flat or maybe hook to curl, whatever it is. The more versatile players on your defense when it comes to that second level are your edge rushers. So I think 1A will be the defensive line. 1B has to be the edge.
We had linebacker and safety as two areas where we felt least confident. A fair question from the 206. Okay, Christian McCaffrey runs through your defensive line on this one. Who's going to stop him from getting more?
That is, I mean, I hate stuff like that. It's Christian McCaffrey. He's going to make plays.
Nobody.
But you know what? He also doesn't make every play either. You know, it's all about limiting the damage and forcing them to go elsewhere. Easier said than done, but McCaffrey going to get his.
It's a fair question, though, about like, hey, you know, they're trying to fix this run defense and building up front and building from the defensive line is great because that's kind of what separated San Francisco and LA from what Seattle was doing here. It is fair to be like, oh, I'm a little bit nervous about a defense that's supposed to improve against the run with huge question marks at linebacker.
And here's the one thing, too. When you talk about Christian McCaffrey and running through the defensive line, that is like physical and personnel. What I'm hoping is Mike McDonald brings some schemes that confuses that 49ers offensive line, which allows these guys to rally to the football a bit more. That might be the X factor in this whole thing is the way Mike McDonald sets these guys up to defend that. McCaffrey's still going to get his either way, though.
That's a really good point. Ryan Roland-Smith joins us next.
Get the national perspective on the Mariners.
Swing and a miss and a slider, strike three.
With Jeff Passan, Tuesday mornings at 8:30.
I don't think that it is unrealistic to believe that they have the talent and the ability to win a championship with this team.
And John Morosi, Thursdays at 5 p.m.
Their DNA remains intact. This is a rotation-dependent team.
We are Seattle Sports, the home of the Mariners.
Roof now, pay later. Hi, I'm Sam Thomason, owner of State Roofing. Take advantage of our zero down, zero payments, and zero interest for up to a year. We've partnered with leading lenders to make the replacement or repair of your roof affordable. Flexible financing options are available to take the worry out of an unexpected expense. Call us today at 866-ROOF-ROOF to schedule a free no-obligation estimate or visit us at stateroofing.com. That's stateroofing.com.
State Roofing, the last roof you'll ever need. A 4th of July without the Bud Sidewalk sale is un-American. So here we go. Consider it our garage sale for golfers on the top brands. Unthinkable prices with exceptional value. And it all starts Thursday at Bud's.
The murder of two men forces their families to wrestle with impossible questions. Who is forgiveness for? Does everyone deserve a second chance? Follow Season 2 of The Letter, Ripple Effect, at theletterpodcast.com or wherever you get your podcasts.
I'm Bradley Johnson with 1-800-DUI-AWAY, and I want to wish you a happy Independence Day. The 4th of July is my favorite. It's about family, gratitude, patriotism, and amazing exploding lights in the sky. Perhaps I love it most because it's called Independence Day. I love to fight for my clients' independence. Your right to drive, to provide for your family, your right to do stuff. You feel liberty most when you lose it. Remember buying a box of bottle rockets and salute shells with nothing more than a have fun, kids? Well, things have changed since then, including the consequences of a DUI. We're your safe and sane solution to keep freedom ringing. Call 1-800-DUI-AWAY or go to 1-800-DUI-AWAY.com. Red, white, and blue are the colors of freedom, unless they're flashing behind you. 1-800-DUI-AWAY.
1-800-DUI-AWAY.
Everyone always asks me, what were your top reasons for choosing Advanced Hair? Well, allow me to share, along with some details, on, get this, their once-a-year summer savings event. Okay, first off, Advanced Hair stands by the results, and I'm living proof those results are second to none. With Advanced Hair, your own natural hair is guaranteed to grow. Secondly, Advanced Hair combines top-rated physicians with modern technology, creating a concierge quality experience that blew away my expectations. And lastly, Advanced Hair's Advanced FUE begins regrowing your own natural hair the very next day. It is quick, simple, and easy. Now, if you have a flexible schedule this summer and you've been waiting for that special savings opportunity, well, it's here. Advanced Hair's summer savings event will get you the most hair for your dollar. It's their best offer forever. For details to schedule your free consultation, call 425-449-8185. One-day treatment, life-changing results. Your new hair is guaranteed to grow. Before and after pictures at advancedhair.com.
Are you putting off your new kitchen plans? Why wait? Hi, I'm Chad Cicchini, owner of Heritage Homecraft, and we've got an offer you're not going to want to wait for. We'll custom build you all new cabinet doors and drawer fronts, and using our exclusive 1/4-inch solid wood refacing process, transform your existing cabinets into a beautiful new kitchen. Add a custom quartz countertop, change things up a bit, add some more cabinets, install some cool new features like soft close drawers and sliding shelves. Whatever you like, we'll help you create the new kitchen you'll be proud of. All in about a week, and all with way less mess, hassle, and expense than a tear out. Stop waiting. We're having a trade-in sale. You'll save $30 per door and drawer front off the cost of your new kitchen. Count them up and see how much you'll save. Years of experience, thousands of happy customers. Call today and let one of our pros come out and show you how easy and comfortable it'll be to get going on your new kitchen. Heritage Homecraft, 425-485-1600, 425-485-1600, or heritagehomecraft.com.
Cars for Kids. KARS Cards for Kids. 1-877 Cards for Kids. Donate your card today.
1-877 Cars for Kids. KARS Cars for Kids. 1-877 Cars for Kids. Donate your car today.
Donate your car today at carsforkids.org. That's cars with a K. Your car, running or not, can be picked up as soon as the next day. You'll get a maximum tax deduction and a vacation voucher.
1-877 Cars for Kids. KARS Cars for Kids. 1-877 Cars for Kids. Donate your car today.
Now accepting donations of land, homes, buildings, or any kind of real estate.
Let's go! This is Seattle Sports.
Streaming through the Seattle Sports app.
KIRO AM Seattle. KIRO FM HD2 Tacoma. Home of the Seahawks, Mariners, and everything Seattle sports. Seattle Sports Snapshot.
The Mariners are taking on the Orioles at 7:10 p.m. tonight. Stick around after the game for patriotic fireworks night. It's an NHL first. The Kraken have hired Jessica Campbell as assistant coach, making her the first woman to have that title. Finally, no surprise here, LeBron James has agreed to return to the Lakers on a 2-year, $104 million contract.
Snapshot, brought to you by Miller Lite. When it's game time, it's Miller time.
This hour is brought to you by Mazda of Everett.
This is Bump and Stacy
on Seattle Sports.
Streaming through the Seattle Sports app and at seattlesports.com.
Now, here are your hosts, Michael Bumpus and Stacy Ross.
Here we go now.
Joining us now to talk Mariners, Ryan Rowland-Smith on the Emerald Queen Casino Sportsbook Hotline. Hey, Ryan, how's it going?
Good. How you guys doing?
We're okay.
Horrible.
We're okay. Bump feeling horrible. I think in large part because of the Mariners' offense. It's maybe putting a lot of people in a sour mood. It's tough to watch, man. It really is. What do you think about it right now?
Yeah, it is. Something where obviously coming out of spring training to April, May, June, July, you're kind of looking at this and you're like, well, if they just do this or they just do that, if they cut down the strikeouts. If you've got that one new addition, who starts swinging the bat, if so-and-so can stay healthy, whatever it was, okay, everything will start to really change and go in a different direction. But it's been difficult, that's for sure. I think that when you look at it, when you look at the complete contrast in regards to offensive to what the pitching is doing, that's the thing that's pretty amazing. I can sit here all day and tell you guys, and not that you want to hear this, or your listeners want to hear it and say, well, how amazing has his pitching been to be in the fact that you're winning a division right now solely because of the performance of the pitching, because no one wants to hear that. And, you have this trade deadline looming. And so it puts the Mariners, if there's any silver lining here, and the Mariners front office, the baseball office will be the first to tell you this, it puts them in a unique position where they are, it's kind of like that, that no choice. Excuse me, I wouldn't say no choice. I mean, like no-brainer in regards to what we're going to do in a couple of weeks. And I talked about this a couple of weeks ago to you guys, matter of fact, that as long as the bullpen is somewhat stable, as long as you can feel like comfortable about getting Santos back and having enough depth there, all right, we can go solely focus on adding some offensive pieces. And that doesn't mean, mortgaging the farm system for one bat. It kind of a situation where I guarantee you they've been diving into different scenarios and adding 2 bats, for example, and shuffling, making some lateral moves to just to add just some sort of dynamic piece to the offense. So they're in a spot right now. They've gotten this far. They're leading a division, and it's the silver lining I'm talking about. You've gotten this far to a point where it's kind of a no-brainer. What do we need to fix? There's no mystery, and it's a matter of if you can go do it. It's going to be tough, though, because the trade deadline is going to be extremely competitive because you have that extra wild card team and you've got 50 million teams hanging out wanting the same pieces, essentially. So it's going to be interesting, but you look at it, it's agonizing. But, man, they are still clinging to that first place. They are still competitive. They're top 10 in power rankings, all that stuff that you have to look at and say, all right, now let's try and fix this, or 1 through 9. Let's your regulars. Let's have a big month of August and put us in a really good position because you just don't want to waste this pitching right now.
Ryan, whenever I have a chance to gas the homies up, I gas them up, and I consider you a homie. So let me gas you up real quick. I was going to my son's tournament in Puyallup, and we get off at the Emerald Queen Casino exit, and big old billboard, I see my man Ryan Roland Smith with that smile and the vest on. I go, oh, it's the homie Ryan. My kid's like, who's Ryan? I go, well, kids, let me give you a history lesson here. So it looked good, man. I was it was a pleasant surprise, man. Pleasant surprise.
Well, thank you. I will say this: that apparently that billboard was only supposed to be up for like 2 days,
Really?
and then all of a sudden people keep saying, "Oh, I see this giant, big, digitally enhanced image of you." I'm like, "Oh no," because I've seen it. I've driven past, and I must have caught it where. I've driven past, that stretch of road, and I must have caught it in between where they were showing like the boxing and other stuff that EQC has. And I've missed it. I'm like, oh man! But I've seen the regular image. I'm like, oh my god! Like, kind of a little bit digitally enhanced. I don't look that squeaky clean, but I'm like, I appreciate it, fellas. Thank you.
It's clean. Hey, that's free advertising right there. Don't say nothing. Don't tell nobody.
I got some giant white teeth on that thing too. Like, my teeth are not that white. Let me tell you.
All right. So all right, now to baseball, man. There hasn't been many opportunities for me to kind of criticize what Service does throughout a game. I realize that, look, there's only so much you can do. Once the game is on, he makes a few decisions, and we're good to go. Walk me through what you think he was thinking when he pulled Rojas, the only guy with a hit in that game, and put Demo in.
I understand that. But you are really, and you're in that position, you have to look. To his credit, right? A situation where you have Rojas, who, look, I know he's got the one hit, but there's just been little tendencies lately from him. You call it the last 10, call it the last 25, 30 games, where you look at something as a manager and go, you know what? I'm following my gut here because we have to get something going. The original plan's not working, whether that's looking back the last 10 games or the last 2 months. I have to get something going. I have to make some sort of adjustment. You go a little bit deeper dive into saying, all right, what pitch are we going to see here? What can Demo handle? What can Rojas handle right now? We're not talking, the batting average or what he's done all year. It's in that moment. Is there a comment that Rojas may have said that, look, oh man, I'm just not catching up to this, that, and the other in the dugout, or the hitting coach has relayed back to Scott Service? So a situation like that, and when you are trying to spark something, and you have a feeling, I see what he's trying to do. You're just trying to generate something. And look, I've been in situations, especially from a bullpen standpoint, where I've been on teams, and hindsight, you look back and go, oh man, how are we not making this move? But if you actually sit down, not that you do, because managers are kind of frustrated at times, especially when you get shut out. But if you ask them afterwards, if you actually have a deep dive, you get a pretty good answer from that. And so, I get it. You're trying to just generate some different look or maybe one pitch or a situation like, you know what, I feel like Demo's just simply a better matchup because of what is happening at the present moment. And you just go with your gut. And it's hard because the pressure you're under right now offensively, and you get shut out again, and if it doesn't work or something doesn't go on and you're looking at a big zero after the game, man, that it just has that extra pressure. Now, in saying that, I would prefer, and Bump, I'm sure it's been the same with your, in your football career, you would prefer to have a coach/manager who follows their gut a little bit more and is willing to risk any kind of credibility or risk people in hindsight questioning what they're doing, as opposed to someone who kind of sits back and just kind of lets something roll over. So I understand what you're saying, but there's just so many different little numbers and things that go in, what they're saying from a hitter standpoint or from the pitcher they're facing, that determine that. And you know what? Go with your gut, because there's going to be moments in August and September, because this team is winning the division, that you go with your gut. And I'm telling you, and again, I go back to the bullpen thing because I can speak from that point of view. Watching him go from when he first was the first year as a Mariners manager, learning his guys, understanding tendencies, and then from there until now, in the last call it nearly a decade, man, you look like that. Man, God, that was actually a pretty good move. Man, that was a pretty good move. And it's gotten better and better and better because he understands his guys. He has that relationship with them. It's super, super important. I think there's that understanding and stuff that we don't see behind closed doors that he follows his gut on. So I got no problem with that.
A lot of people yesterday on social, and granted, you're going to have an emotional reaction to a game in which your team gets 2 hits, were saying, man, Julio just doesn't look like he has it at the plate right now. Like, he just looks lost. He looks broken. He looks whatever. I think that's probably heavily influenced by, obviously, that final AB where he was just really swinging at it. It was just way too high. But do you see that? We had you on last week, and we asked, like, hey, what do you see stance-wise, or what do you see, in terms of what he looks like? But what do you see him struggle with, and is it always the same thing, just over and over and over? And you know
what? Physically, you might be able to make a tweak to the swing, maybe physically. All right, but approach-wise, 100%. Look, you have to be an absolute freak and someone who's a bat-to-ball master. Call it Arise, call it Stephen Kwan, call it Tony Gwynn, to be in a situation where it's, see a pitch up, get it late, and then be able to put really good contact on it. Aaron Judge, Julio Rodriguez, I'm throwing some big names out there, Juan Soto, those guys go up to the plate and they say, all right, I am so convicted I am going to get this breaking ball for a strike. I'm so convicted that this guy's going to try and pitch me in, or I'm so convicted that I'm getting a hitter in this count. And they trust that. And when you're going well, that's what happens. When you're watching Julio right now, you cannot sit in a situation, because where he's at mentally as well, the power numbers are down. He's feeling that every time he glances up and sees just a lack of thump. You cannot go up there, try and recognize a slider, and then be ready for a fastball. You cannot go up there and sit on a fastball and then go, no, there's a slider, I need to go get it. You just can't. There's times where he can. As a matter of fact, there's times where he feels so dialed in and so comfortable he'll catch a pitch late, but he'll crush it into right field because he's stuck in between, but not now. At the point right now where he swings at in his approach, he doesn't have the luxury where he can second guess and be bat to ball. He just can't. He has to go up there and say, you know what, in a 1-0 count, this is the pitch I'm getting. 2-0, this is the pitch I'm getting. He did that against Mason Miller, that home run back in Oakland. He went up, and what happened was Mason Miller could not land that slider. He tried to throw 2 of them. So Julio just eliminates that pitch. Now that's 100 plus, 103 up in the strikes, and you're like, oh, wow, I can catch that pitch. He's not swinging through that because he is so convicted. He called time right before that pitch. This is going back a few weeks back in Oakland. He called time. He knew he was getting a fastball straight up. You're going to try and beat me with a fastball, even though it's your best pitch and there's an absolute just black zone at the top of the strike zone against Mason Miller. And he crushed it, took him straight away center field, because that's eliminating pitches. So Julio right now, he has to eliminate a certain pitch. If he sees a certain spin, you just don't swing. Strike 3, tip your cap, whatever. He has to eliminate that and not be stuck in between. In my opinion, look, there could be something else going on swing-wise where he doesn't feel comfortable, but he just at the moment doesn't have the luxury to be up there kind of, getting caught, stuck in between, getting caught behind and driving the ball into right field, even if he's caught off balance.
Were you surprised that he saw 5 straight fastballs in his last at-bat?
Well, see that, and again, man, this is a chess match, right? So I watched that, and again, when you're facing someone who is look, put it this way. Sometimes you run into a pitcher as well. Everyone's like, well, man, he's not recognizing a breaking ball. That may be true. He's not recognizing adjusting pitches. And what I mean by that is this. If you go into an at-bat as a pitcher and you're like, yeah, okay, my fastball in this spot, I can backspin it, and chances are I'm going to get either weak contact, they're going to be behind it, I'm going to get a swing and miss. And so you go into that going, all right, I'm going to just attack him with my best weapon right now. Regardless of, I get it, man, he's chasing those breaking balls like crazy right now. Swing and miss is and the chase percentage in swing and miss is one of the highest. However, if you go in there, zap, heater, and you have that secondary pitch in the back pocket, and this is what I'm talking about with Julio. There's no elimination there. So he's stuck in between. He's like, oh, I'm trying to protect against pitch option B. He's not going to get option A. And so that's kind of what I'm talking about, as opposed to he's going to say, you know what, he's going to try and beat me with his best. This is a situation where he's faced, so-and-so. I just have to trust the fact in this big spot, because I'm carrying this team. He wants to carry this team. I'm going to get that pitch, and you know what? If I miss it by 3 feet, whatever. But he can't. He just is mentally not in a position to do that because he's carrying so much weight and just so much second guessing on his swing.
All right, last one for you, Ryan, and then we got to let you go. It's just going to be what you're really watching for in tonight's game, so that we all know what we're tracking.
Well, I want to see some offense, man. I think. Look, the Baltimore Orioles, they're facing a really tough team. They're really, really tough. However, the Orioles have got a situation now with starting pitching that it may hit them a little bit. I really think. So I think with the Mariners, the one thing you want to see is obviously offense early. We just do not see that in regards to getting some early offense. And I think too, look, Logan, correct me if I'm wrong here. Logan is pitching tonight. I didn't mess that up. There's been no change. So Logan, here's the other thing. I want him to make that all-star team, and I feel like he will. I feel like he's going to be okay making that all-star team. You just want to be in a position if it comes down to, because pitchers are funny like that. Pitchers are funny because they get it's a little bit different of fan voting, as we all know with the all-star game. You want that last couple starts to be 7, give up a run, whatever it may be. Mm-hmm. To make sure you can seal the deal and feel really good about Logan being your all-star. So I'm excited to see him pitch. I'm going to the game. I'm taking a bunch of young Aussies, a bunch of 13-year-olds. I've talked about Logan Gilbert forever, and I'm like, oh, God, I hope they haven't switched anything up or there hasn't been a change with an off day or anything like that. I'm missing. I'm like, did I miss that?
No, I think it's Miller tomorrow, Logan today.
Okay, good. So, with Logan, you just want to see him finish strong right before. And look, a long season ago, don't get me wrong. But, man, I know that was a big goal of his. Finish strong, cement that all-star game for him, and I'll be good to go.
He is Ryan Rowland-Smith, kind enough to join us on this beautiful Wednesday. Thanks, Ryan. Have fun at the game.
Thanks, guys. Appreciate it.
Let's get to 4 Down territory.
This is 4 Down territory, going inside the game. What former Seahawks and Coug wide receiver Michael Bumpus.
According to Vegas, what second-year players tied with Josh Allen to win MVP, and do you think he can do it?
Vegas is they're getting interesting, right? They're giving this they're projecting that CJ Stroud is tied with Josh Allen. Not projecting, I guess it comes with betting and people, right, making the projections for them. But they're saying CJ Stroud might win the MVP. Sorry, I'm looking at my notes right now. Now, in his second year, the only guys to do that, Jim Brown, Jim Nantz, Earl Campbell, Dan Marino, Kurt Warner, Patrick Mahomes, and Lamar Jackson. That is a group to be associated with. Dan threw for 5,048. Mahomes threw for 5,050. Kurt threw for 4,341. And Lamar threw for 36. And he also rushed for 7 touchdowns and 1,000 yards. That's a group. I'm looking at CJ. I'm looking at the Houston Texans, DeMeco Ryans, Nick Collins, Stephon Diggs, Will Anderson, all those names over there, and they got all this hype. And I hope that it elevates their play and doesn't put a lot of pressure on them. I don't think it's going to get done. He's going to have to put up some crazy numbers for him to do that. But anything is possible. I just don't think he's on the Lamar or Patrick Mahomes level quite yet. Not even the Dan Marino. But it's going to be fun to watch, man, because if there's anyone who can handle this type of pressure or this type of hype, it is CJ Stroud, man. I've listened to him speak on a whole bunch of podcasts, and he seems like a guy that men in the locker room will follow. And I think he is set up to have himself a great season. They went and got him a number one receiver. They already had a number one receiver, and they said, you know what, double up, let's get you another one. Tank Dell is going to be healthy as well. And then you got Mixon in the backfield. It's all set up for him to have a great season, but for him to win an MVP, he's going to have to do some things that we haven't seen since Pat Mahomes, and that's hard to do, but it's a possibility. But if I were going to Vegas right now, and I had to bet if C.J. Stroud was going to be an MVP of the league next year, I'd say no. You know who I'm putting my money on.
Mm-hmm. Second down.
Who is it?
Is it Patrick?
It's Patrick.
Yeah.
Okay.
I feel like it's just kind of like money on Patrick until he proves not to
Exactly.
do that. Who can and should become the Hakeem Olajuwon of the NFL offseason?
So this is what Hakeem does. He was a master when it came to his footwork. Hakeem the Dream. If you are old enough to remember him, you and Curtis a bit too young. I was about 7, 8, 9 when Hakeem was in his prime playing for the Houston Rockets. So I remember watching the game with my grandma and seeing him shoot a three, and that was the first time I saw a center shoot a three. I go, what is going on? Why is he shooting threes? But he's more known for what he did in the post. And I'm looking at guys who retire, and what's the next move? Either you ride off into the sunset and you're never seen again, you pop up for your Hall of Fame induction, or you get into broadcasting, you get into coaching, or you do this. Aaron Donald is taking on defensive linemen and teaching him his ways. And young guys, Jared Verse, I think his name is, I believe the defensive line for the Rams, what they picked up. He's gone down there to hang out with him. Obviously, Kobe Turner spent some time with him. This is what Aaron Donald needs to do. He should be the Hakeem Olajuwon when it comes to defensive line play, where to put your hands, how to control leverage, and all that good stuff. I think that's a perfect way for him to still be involved in the game because he's still pretty young. I believe he's like in his mid-30s, maybe before his mid-30s. So once you retire, you're always trying to figure out what am I going to do with myself, and I think this is a way for him to still be connected to the game and the Rams organization specifically. But we've seen these wide receiver groups pop up where everyone's hanging out. We've seen the tight end university, the quarterbacks get together. We need something for the defensive linemen. This is the first thing I've heard of Aaron Donald taking guys under his wings and showing him how to be successful at a high level. He needs to be the Hakeem the Dream of the NFL offseason.
Also, you got to kind of claim the success, not really, but a little bit of other people. Like imagine Jared Verse has an amazing defensive rookie of the year type season, and he's like, Aaron Donald was amazing to my development. People are like, of course.
AD.
Of course he was. Third down. Pro Football Focus had some thoughts on the Seahawks offensive line. Do you agree?
Yeah, they had a lot of thoughts. They said the Seahawks moved on from starters Evan Brown and Damian Lewis, and their interior trio consists of former backups. We're talking about the offensive line. Oluwatimi, Anthony Bradford, and Lincoln Tomlinson. They're saying that is going to be the weak point of this offensive line, and you should point to that, right? Olu hasn't had a start. He's still battling with Nick Harris. Anthony Bradford played some last year, and Lincoln is coming over, and he's a veteran. On the outside, they're wondering if Abe Lucas and Charles Cross are going to be able to take the next step, and if Abe Lucas is going to be healthy. Because of all those problems, they have him ranked 31st overall when it comes to offensive line, and I'm completely fine with that because there are some questions in the middle. But I hope that guys like Huff and the rest of these dudes, and they probably don't pay attention to stuff like this the way that we do. But if we're to leak and they catch wind of this, use this as motivation. Because last year, I believe they started off around 11 or 12th and finished the season around 27. I always love bulletin board material. It gets guys motivated, it gets them hyped. They're professionals. They might not need this, but I at first I was offended. At first I was like, how dare you talk about this offensive line like that? But then when you break it down, there are just unknowns in the middle. And can Abe stay healthy? Even though I saw a video of him training yesterday, he looks healthy and can cross take the next step, which I think they can. They did address the offensive line in the draft this year. So who knows if things don't work out? You got Christian Haynes, that's his name, right? Yep, Haynes who can hop in and do his thing. There's a lot of questions. So I went from offended to okay,
right.
I understand.
I like the transition of how dare you. You make a good point. Fourth down. With everyone getting in the podcast game, who's entered the chat, and why are you excited to hear what he has to say?
Marshawn Lynch is in this thing. He is he's gonna start a podcast, and the most interesting podcasts to me are the ones sometimes you feel like you're in an informative mode. Like let's keep it black and white. Tell me the facts and let's go. And sometimes you're like, I just want to be entertained. I don't want to think. I just want to ride, listen, entertain. Marshawn Lynch is going to entertain everybody, whether you like him or not. He's the only guy who can get a DUI, who can curse at kids, who can take a shot before the game, who's still on the Beacon commercials. I'm
Do
like, you
whatever.
still getting money at the Northwest? The Beacon commercials are still going. Marshawn does whatever he wants, and people love him, man. So I'm interested to see or to hear what this podcast sounds like. I hope he talks about the play. I hope he talks about Pete Carroll. I think people want to know about that, other teammates. And I think people will be eager to go on to his podcast because it feels like a safe space because you can't go wrong with Marshawn Lynch. I'm excited. I met him when I was 18 years old. We took a trip to WSU together. I met him several times after that. The exact same person, just with a lot more money than he had when we were 18. I'm excited, man. It should be interesting.
It's with Gavin Newsom, right?
Yeah.
That's such an interesting combination of like, what's this going to be like? What's this podcast going to be like?
What is
it a
gonna be
politics podcast or like an entertainment podcast? It's going to be called Politickin'. But does that mean they're talking about community and politics, or are you talking about just anything?
In the community, politicking is just, chopping it up.
Right.
Going back and forth.
I know, but...
All right. Well, you brought in politics.
Because Gavin Newsom
they are
is
not
with
talking about...
Gavin Newsom is on it, though, so there's clearly some kind of political angle.
They will, you know what? I'm sure there will be at times, but it's going to be through the lens of Marshawn. Like, it's going to be so...
So it just happens to have a politician.
Yeah. I don't think they're going to sit there and talk about politics.
I would not think that were he not part of it.
Yeah.
There's clearly some kind of angle.
I think you need someone with some structure on how to run a show.
Yeah.
And that's what he's there for. You think they're going to sit there and talk about Trump and Biden?
The show is called
Maybe.
Politicking.
Yes,
well, no, but
I
Bump is
understand
saying,
that.
but Bump is saying like
That's a phrase that we use.
Right.
It doesn't necessarily mean we're talking about politics. They're not going to sit there and every podcast is going to be about politics.
And I'm saying I know, but a politician being part of it makes me think they're going to try to inject some.
There'll be
I think
some.
it's going to be a play on words.
There'll be some, yeah.
Yeah, it's
There'll
going to be a
some.
play on politicking. Like, hey, we're just talking, but also.
Also,
let's
what do you
talk
think
Trump.
about the border?
Yeah. What do you think about the border? All right, you guys. Rate, review, and subscribe to the Bump and Stacey podcast. We're available wherever it is you get your pods, as well as seattlesports.com and the Seattle Sports app. A controversy from last night's Mariners game that has nothing to do with what happened on the field. That's next.
Seattle Sports, your home for Wyman and Bob.
Realistically, who would you like to see the Mariners go after?
Weekdays 2 to 7.
A lot of people talking about Luis Robert Jr. Sorry, I just can't get past the fact that he doesn't play every game. He's not healthy. That's a hard no from me anyway.
For me, it's about what is he going to cost in the way of prospects and, from your big league roster perhaps. Pete Alonso, that's a rental. What are you comfortable giving up for a guy who's going to be here for a couple of months?
On Seattle Sports and 97.3 FM HD2.
Roof now, pay later. Hi, I'm Sam Thomason, owner of State Roofing. Take advantage of our 0 down, 0 payments, and 0 interest for up to a year. We've partnered with leading lenders to make the replacement or repair of your roof affordable. Flexible financing options are available to take the worry out of an unexpected expense. Call us today at 866-ROOF-ROOF to schedule a free no-obligation estimate or visit us at stateroofing.com. That's stateroofing.com.
State Roofing, the last roof you'll ever need.
Miller Lite has your chance to win a Miller Lite varsity style jacket. Just log on to MillerLite.com/Bigfoot, where you can chat with Bigfoot, uncover tales of the Northwest, and enter to win a Miller Lite varsity style jacket. Head to MillerLite.com/Bigfoot. No purchase necessary. Starts 4/9/2024, ends 8/30/2024. Residents of Alaska, Idaho, Oregon, Washington, 21+. Official rules at MillerLite.com/Bigfoot for free entry method, odds, and restrictions. Molson Coors Beverage Company, USA LLC, 250 South Wacker Drive, Chicago, Illinois, USA, 60606.
If you love to travel, Capital One has a rewards credit card that's perfect for you. With Venture X, earn unlimited double miles on everything you buy and turn everyday purchases into extraordinary trips. Plus, receive premium travel benefits like access to over 1,300 airport lounges where you just check in and chill out. Open up a world of possibilities with Capital One. What's in your wallet?
Terms apply. Lounge access is subject to change. See CapitalOne.com for details.
Did you know your skin is the largest organ of your body? Huh? That's why you should shower with Old Spice Super Hydration Body Wash instead of plain old bar soap. Love your skin by super hydrating it with vitamin B3 and glorious notes of vanilla and shea. Did you know that my super hydrated skin is the second largest organ of my body? The first is my heart. Old Spice. Men have skin too. Old Spice Super Hydration Body Wash. 24/7 renewing moisture with daily use.
It's Dave Wyman for R&R Foundation Specialist. Your home's foundation supports everything that sits on top of it. You know, the most common cause of a settling foundation is a condition in the soil called differential settlement. It goes back to inconsistent soil compaction when your home was first built, which in turn causes your entire home to bend and twist. And what you'll notice in your home when that occurs, sloped floors, bowed or cracked walls, or windows and doors that don't open and close properly. R&R Foundation Specialist raises and restores settling foundations by repositioning the load of your home onto steel piers that they drive deep into the ground. Then they gently lift it back into place with a hydraulic lift. It's a permanent solution to restore your home's foundation and its structural integrity. If you suspect your foundation is settling, do what I did. Have R&R Foundation Specialist come out for free. They'll identify the issue, and they will resolve it. Schedule your free estimate at rrfoundationspecialist.com.
Bonneville International radio station contests are open to participants 18 years of age or older that are residents of Washington State unless otherwise specified. Employees or agents of the station, Bonneville International Corporation, other area radio stations, or any entity associated with the contests are not eligible to win unless the station otherwise specifies at its own discretion. Persons who have won in the last 60 days from a station contest or event may not be eligible. Full general contest rules are available on SeattleSports.com or in person at the station during regular business hours.
Subscribe to the Seattle Sports YouTube page to find new and exclusive content from your favorite shows and personalities daily. Just head to YouTube, search Seattle Sports, and click subscribe.
Are you putting off your new kitchen plans? Why wait? Hi, I'm Chad Cicchini, owner of Heritage Homecraft, and we've got an offer you're not going to want to wait for. We'll custom build you all new cabinet doors and drawer fronts, and using our exclusive 1/4-inch solid wood refacing process, transform your existing cabinets into a beautiful new kitchen. Stop waiting. We're having a trade-in sale. You'll save $30 per door and drawer front off the cost of your new kitchen. Count them up and see how much you'll save. Heritage Homecraft, 425-485-1600 or heritagehomecraft.com.
We all know a cancer diagnosis is physically and emotionally challenging, but it can also be financially devastating. That's why Northwest Hope and Healing is here to help. I'm Dr. Suzette Miranda, a plastic surgeon who is proud to be part of Northwest Hope and Healing's mission. We provide a lifeline for breast and gynecologic cancer patients by covering essentials like food, utilities, and child care, so patients can focus on healing. Since the year 2000, Northwest Hope and Healing has distributed over $2.5 million to thousands of local cancer patients, and you can help us make an even greater impact. Mark your calendar for Life in Color, a summer brunch, auction, and fashion show on August 18th at the Golf Club at Newcastle. It'll be an unforgettable afternoon of hope and inspiration, celebrating local cancer survivors. Get your tickets now for Life in Color on August 18th. Go to nwhopeandhealing.org to learn more. That's nwhopeandhealing.org.
911, what's your emergency? Someone on the other line said they kidnapped my son.
On September 12, 1995, McKay Everett disappeared from his home in Conroe, Texas.
There was no sign of forced entry. It was just as if McKay had walked out of his own free will.
And to this day, McKay's mother, Paulette, feels that justice was never truly served. Ransom is available now. Listen at ransompodcast.com or wherever you get your podcasts.
This hour is brought to you by Mazda of Everett.
This is Bumpin' Stacy.
Weekdays 10 to 2.
On Seattle Sports and 97.3 FM HD2.
Wrapping things up at 1:45 with what I need to know. You can get those questions in now. Text them to the Mac and Jack's text line 866-979-3776. Any question, send it now. 866-979-3776. We're heading to the station for Hype Train. Let's go. Last night, Bump heard something on the Mariners broadcast that made him text Justin. Then Justin texted a friend to make sure that he was hearing it right, too. It was Mariners fans booing. This came after Jorge Polanco grounded into a double play. Fans not happy, and it brewed up a controversy about whether or not it's ever okay to boo your team. Some fan bases do it all the time, others don't. Fans should never boo their team is the first Hype Train.
I would never do it. Me personally, I wouldn't do it, but I'm not going to tell. I mean, we tell people how we feel all the time here, and we have a platform to do so. This is all they have. Fans show up to the game. They spend their money. They were told a bunch of things before the season, and they feel like they've been let down. So, no, I'm on the hype. No, I'm not on the hype train.
Not on the hype train.
Fans should be able to boo their team if they feel it is necessary. Do you, boo-boo? Do you? I wouldn't do it, though.
Fans should never boo their team. Bump said, look, You should feel free to express yourself as a fan. I got to do it into a mic. If you want to do it by booing at your team, so be it, even though it's not how he moves. Curtis, are you boarding this hype train?
I'm not boarding this hype train for the same reasons. I'm not going to tell a fan how they should or shouldn't express themselves during a game unless it means doing the wave. Then I will absolutely tell you
that you
to
can't
not
do a wave.
But if you feel like booing your team, go right ahead. I mean, there's no quicker way to get your message across, right, at a game.
Let's go ahead and jump to the next.
Just giving a team a thumbs down, that's not going to do anything. They can't hear you. You can hear a boo.
Improvising our next train. Having it leapfrog what was the second hype train. Ban the wave from MLB stadiums. Bump, are you boarding?
Not only am I not boarding, I'm asking everyone at T-Mobile tonight to do the wave for 18 minutes straight so we get the world record back from Japan. In 2015, they said it. So, nah, man. I mean, look, there are some times where the wave is going down and I don't participate because I'm like, I just want to sit and watch the game.
Sure.
But tonight, if I were at that game,
Bump standing up. Let's go!
18 minutes is all we need to get a world record.
The wave should be banned from MLB stadiums. Bump says not only should it not be banned, but here in Seattle, we should be going for that 18-minute world record. Curtis, are you boarding the train that the wave should be banned?
Oh, I've never boarded a train with such gusto. I bought 2 tickets. That's how much I'm on this train. The person who starts the wave should be tarred and feathered. They should be arrested. A citizen's arrest should be made on them. I'm not there to do the wave. I'm there to watch a game. Eat my snacks. Not do the wave. Get out of here with that.
Are you on the side of it's distracting to players?
It's distracting to other fans around who want to watch the game.
Well, you got like a minute and a half window before, it comes back
around. Then it's back around again.
Yeah. Like an actual wave that's just hitting you. Like you feel like you're laying down on the beach and it just keeps coming up and hitting you in the face.
And then those fans who are just drunk and belligerent and try to get the wave going when nobody in their section is feeling it. And they just insist on it. 1, 2, 3, and like nobody does it, and they just continue on and on. It's like, buddy, give it up, man.
Y'all better get off Curtis's lawn with that wave.
Yes.
Curtis is like, I'm not with that.
God.
Someone said you should ban Curtis from MLB ballparks.
Oh no.
Next up, Logan Gilbert is having a phenomenal season, and he should be the Mariners All-Star representative.
Yeah, easy. That's I'm on that train. You know what? You bought 2 tickets, Curtis. I gotta buy 5 for the Bumpuses. Okay, we're on that train. It's easy. He's the guy. They better not. Yes, Stacy. Just yes. That's all I got. Yes.
Logan Gilbert will be the Mariners All-Star representative. Bump is boarding. Curtis, are you?
Absolutely boarding this one. Nobody else has been more consistent than him throughout the season's first half. And I think it would be great to see Walter represent the Mariners at the All-Star game. So boarding that one.
I'll let you know, Curtis. The 206 says, Curtis, baseball's a family experience. Little kids love the wave. I do it every time.
206, you're not a little kid. I assume.
Oh, man.
Oh, God.
If you are, I mean,
go read a book.
Yeah, go read a book. Come, you're wasting your summer.
Next up. All right. We'll get out of baseball for this one. Greg Berhalter will be head coach of the United States men's national team in the World Cup.
Yeah, because he is. Because who else is going to do it? Who else is going to do it? They've invested so much in this thing already. There is time for him to turn it around. I hope they got some qualifiers coming up. If he starts looking horrible in the qualifiers of the team, then yeah, go ahead and do it. But I think that this team is good enough and talented enough to kind of help him out. It's just a weird situation with Reina being on that team and all the drama behind it. It's awkward.
Berhalter will still be head coach of the national team for the World Cup. Bump says, yeah, I think so. Oh, he's boarding that train.
Yeah.
Curtis, are you?
I don't know if U.S. soccer fans could last another 2 years with Greg Berhalter as their head coach. I don't think it happens. I think he's out of there probably. I would hope he's out of there by the end of the year. It just seems like it's a no-win situation for him. Get somebody else in there. Get some new blood in.
Next up, you guys were helping me decide what to bring to a cookout that I'm going to tomorrow. I have transitioned from being dead set on bringing a Caesar salad to finally accepting that I will just bring wine. The headline, or excuse me, the hype train is this, though. You should, under no circumstances, ever in your life, come empty-handed to a party.
Oh, never. Never show up empty-handed. Never. Ever. This goes along with teaching my sons to shake hands and look men in the eye, to open up doors for women, like to give your seat up for a woman, a child, or elderly woman. You never show up to a function without something. Bars.
Curtis, you
gave
should
himself bars.
absolutely, positively, under no circumstances, ever show up empty-handed to a party.
Agree, 100%. I'm boarding that train. You should never come empty-handed to a function. It's a bad look. It's a horrible look.
Hey guys, I'm here to eat all your food.
Yeah,
right.
I'm here to not contribute anything. By the way, I'm going to make a plate and take it to go. Too.
We already talked about this yesterday being taboo, and all of us already agreed, but I'll throw on to the hype train that you should also never leave with what you bring.
Yeah, leave it there.
That's tacky.
Yeah.
Never do it. I've seen it happen, and every time I judge a little bit.
I'm judging.
I fully admit I'll never say anything. I'll never do any side glances. I'll never do anything, but I will judge silently if you take back what you brought to the party.
You know what I'll do? Curtis, and you probably do this too, Stacey. You'll look at your significant other like, you see that? No words.
Right, no words.
Nothing. Just eyes.
Like, just eyes.
Yep.
Of like, interesting. All right, last one here. This one is a fan submission, so I'm throwing it in here. Who sent this? I think Brittany sent this in. Julio should be in the home run derby to get his swing back.
Whatever it takes. But I don't think they want him, honestly, in the home run derby this year. He's done nothing to captivate the country like he has the last couple years. But if it works, yeah, go ahead. Throw him in the derby. I'm with that. Let's go.
Julio should be in the home run derby to get his swing back. Bump said, you know what? I'll try anything. Go ahead, do it. Curtis, are you boarding?
It's funny because, there was always concern with Julio going into the home run derby. Well, what if he's going to mess up his swing? What if he's, not going to be right coming out of the All-Star break? In both years, he's been the hottest hitter on the planet after leaving the home run derby. So sure, yeah, let's do it. Send him to Arlington just to compete in the home run derby, and maybe, just maybe, he'll find his swing again.
All right, get your questions in for What I Need to Know. Any question to the Mac and Jack's text line. That number, 866-979-3776. Your questions, our answers, coming up next.
Seattle Sports, your home for Wyman and Bob.
Realistically, who would you like to see the Mariners go after?
Weekdays 2 to 7.
A lot of people talking about Luis Robert Jr. Sorry, I just can't get past the fact that he doesn't play every game. He's not healthy. That's a hard no from me anyway.
For me, it's about what is he going to cost in the way of prospects and, from your big league roster perhaps. Pete Alonso, that's a rental. What are you comfortable giving up for a guy who's going to be here for a couple of months?
On Seattle Sports and 97.3 FM HD2.
At Shane Company, we'll help you design an engagement ring as unique as your love story. We have the widest selection of diamonds and gemstones for you to choose from, and you can compare them side by side right here in our store. Only at Shane Company can you sift through exquisite diamonds, rubies, and a rainbow of sapphires in a variety of shapes and sizes. We'll help you create your dream engagement ring no matter your price range. Choose the ring setting that speaks to your style, from classic to modern to vintage. We offer so many ways to personalize your ring. Pick your favorite center stone, add a decorative crown and a custom engraving, or select a perfectly preset ring that's ready to go. At Shane Company, our jewelers know how much your ring means to you. They hand-set each center stone with precision and pride in our jeweler's workshop, so you can feel confident knowing your ring is crafted with the greatest care and comes with an unmatched free lifetime warranty that lets you know we'll always be here for you. Your love story deserves to shine bright. Shane Company, your friend and jeweler.
I'm Bradley Johnson with 1-800-DUI-AWAY, and I want to wish you a happy Independence Day. The 4th of July is my favorite. It's about family, gratitude, patriotism, and amazing exploding lights in the sky. Perhaps I love it most because it's called Independence Day. I love to fight for my clients' independence. Your right to drive, to provide for your family, your right to do stuff. You feel liberty most when you lose it. Remember buying a box of bottle rockets and salute shells with nothing more than a "have fun, kids"? Well, things have changed since then, including the consequences of a DUI. We're your safe and sane solution to keep freedom ringing. Call 1-800-DUI-AWAY or go to 1-800-DUI-AWAY.com. Red, white, and blue are the colors of freedom, unless they're flashing behind you. 1-800-DUI-AWAY.
1-800-DUI-AWAY. Summer is the time to feel and look your best. But I'm not talking about your abs or tan. Guys, I'm talking about your hair. Restore that bald spot, reverse your receding hairline, or add volume to thinning during Advanced Hair's once yearly summer savings event. Advanced Hair's simple one-day treatment begins to regrow your very own hair the very next day, and they guarantee your new hair will grow. They are the team that addressed my hair loss, and I recommend them to everyone. Take advantage of your flexible summer calendar and get the most hair for your dollar. Advanced Hair's summer sales event is on for a limited time. So get the details and schedule your free consultation today. 425-449-8185. One-day treatment, life-changing results. With Advanced Hair, your new hair is guaranteed to grow. Check out the incredible before and afters and make the call now while their summer savings event is still on. That's 425-449-8185 or advancedhair.com.
It's the Golfapalooza of the summer, the Putts Golf Sidewalk Sale. Some serious 4 days of values you'll never see again. The biggest brands with staggering prices. 4 days only, and it all starts Thursday at Putts.
On Saturday, July 6th, Jackson Smith and Jigba will host the Seattle All-Star Softball Classic, presented by Wage Lifestyle at Chidi Stadium, featuring your favorite athletes and celebrities. Tickets start at just $25. Go to SeattleAllStarClassic.com.
For Down Territory, going inside the game with Michael Bumpus.
I like this. More quarterbacks should start doing this.
Every day at 11:15 and 1:15 on Bump and Stacy.
You gotta love baseball season, but when it comes to your windows, you don't want any curveballs. Rick Riz here, reminding you to trust your clubhouse with locally owned Pella Windows and Doors of Western Washington. Experience the difference with high-quality products, expert installation, and top-notch customer service. It's always a home run with Pella. Schedule a free consultation with Pella Windows and Doors of Western Washington. Just go to PellaPNW.com. That's PellaPNW.com.
July is Vehicle Theft Prevention Month. The Puget Sound Auto Theft Task Force, in cooperation with the International Auto Theft Investigators Association, asks you to help prevent vehicle theft and stop auto fraud. Lock your doors, use anti-theft devices, and don't leave titles or important documents in your vehicle. Install immobilization devices such as ignition or fuel disablers. Never leave keys or fobs in your vehicle, and never leave your vehicle running unattended. Paid for by the Washington Auto Theft Prevention Authority.
Hey, it's Mike Salker, and look, summer is now officially upon us, so what do you have planned? Oh, it's got to be a lot, right? Vacations, road trips, seeing all that our beautiful area has to offer. You don't want to be limited by how you look or how you feel. You've heard how I went on the Eastside Weight Loss Clinic plan, right? I lost 35 pounds in just 8 weeks. The results were incredible, and I couldn't be happier with how my life and energy improved. Well, I just want the same thing for you. Eastside Weight Loss Clinic is looking for 710 listeners to help this summer. Here's the ask. Schedule a 15-minute, no-obligation consultation at eastsideweightlossklinic.com. It's safe, healthy, sustainable weight loss, no pills, injections, or surgery. You eat real food that you get at the grocery store. You'll lose weight, look, and feel your very best. That feeling can be yours this summer. So what's the secret? Call Eastside Weight Loss Clinic at 425-588-0080 or go to eastsideweightlossklinic.com. That's 425-588-0080 or eastsideweightlossklinic.com. Dr. Ryan Coogan, D.C. Results may vary.
This is Bumpin' Stacy.
Weekdays 10 to 2.
On Seattle Sports and 97.3 FM HD2.
I have 2 questions I'm really excited to get to. I'm going to save them until the middle of the segment because I want to build up to them. Get your questions in for What I Need to Know, brought to you by Cookies Country Chicken, 866-979-3776. That is the Mac and Jack's text line. Which Seattle sports personality's off-air persona is least like their on-air persona?
I feel like to do this job, you gotta be yourself, right? I think this is what my kids say. Whenever I talk on the phone to like my core 4, they say I sound completely different. I think
Really?
that's different as it gets because, man, you get a little more loose with
Yeah.
the words and all that stuff. They say, oh, you're talking to your boys again. I'm like, yeah, those are my boys.
I would say the closest is, I think both Salk and I lean into it the most. Like, he leans into, like, I'm elitist.
Mm-hmm.
And I lean into, like, I'm over it. Like, I would say, like, you become kind of a caricature of yourself, but it's still a version of you.
It is.
Brock is exactly Brock. You're exactly you. Wyman's exactly you. I think Bob is very authentic. Like, everyone else is.
I think you have to be.
You have to be.
Yeah.
You have to be a version of yourself. Otherwise, it comes off like I'm on radio.
Yeah. We're not doing like the news.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
the situation in Ukraine.
And if people don't like you, then it doesn't work out. You know what I mean? Like, you just.
I will say, Bub, you bring up our cohorts on the FM side of the building. You'll hear some of them on air talk the way that they do, and then off the air sound nothing like how they sound on the
It's
radio. It's
crazy.
like, whoa.
Have you ever seen those videos of like news anchors, especially television news anchors, and they'll be like, "This is how I sound when I just narrate my day."
And then
It's
here I
great.
am reading the 6 o'clock news.
I like this one. This is one of my favorite questions. You get to hit Jerry DePoto with some truth serum. What do you think he believes is the reason why good position players come to Seattle and then get bad?
Jerry. So I am Jerry. I'm going to say that I think it's because we change who they are philosophically.
Oh, okay.
And we don't allow them to take the approach that they want to take at the plate. And we try to make them a Mariner.
That's a good answer. It's a little spicy. I would say if you hit him with truth serum, I'd wonder if he'd answer with something like, well, I'd rather get different position players. Or if there are other players he would have liked to get or would have liked to come here that didn't want to, or he couldn't afford, or they couldn't trade for because the team didn't want what they were
They won't
offering.
let me.
You know what I mean? If there are players where he'd be like, well, just so you know, I targeted this name and he's knocking it out of the park this year. That's what I'd be curious about.
I'd want to know, because the lockout prior to the 22 season, right? The Mariners were mentioned among many free agent bats, and it sounded like Trevor Story was one that was definitely entertaining.
Is that the
offer
question
here in
you would
Seattle.
ask him?
Just
if he
kind
had
of like,
truth serum?
hey, how close were you to getting one of those guys, or like,
Yeah.
because I think that would have changed the trajectory of a lot of things. It would have probably moved JP over to second base. Like, who knows what this team looks like? And not to say that it would be Trevor Story that you signed, but maybe like Marcus Semien, somebody like that.
What I need to know, Seth in Fresno, dating advice for a recently separated 30-year-old who is married for 10 years and has no clue how to get back into it.
Asking the wrong brother.
Well, he
You're
did-
30 years
so
old, so
Seth-
you still got youth
okay,
on
so
your side.
To be fair, Seth threw in preferably Stacy since Bump and Curtis are in the same boat. Curtis hasn't been married for as long as Bump.
Got 4 years in the game.
Yeah, Bump, you married before like dating apps and the whole scene changed.
Yeah, I'd be a lost puppy.
You've been out of the
there.
game.
I'd just be walking the streets crying.
I am in a relationship, have been in one. I did not meet my significant other on a dating app.
That's good.
Yeah, but they do complicate things because I think dating apps make people less likely to talk to each other in real life.
Yeah.
And so I will tell you, Seth and Fresno, it's not going to be easy. I think the most important thing to do is be comfortable being exactly where you are in life. To not put pressure on yourself to find someone.
Yeah, you're 30. You're still young.
You're
bruh.
so young. But yeah, it'll just date people where, let's say you meet them on an app and you wouldn't typically want to go after that person. Just go on the date and see how it is. Yeah.
Just put yourself out there.
I mean, that sounds stupid, but do it. And also be willing to let yourself have a night in without feeling like you're missing out on a chance to meet someone. If you want to take a night to yourself or a month to yourself or a year,
Take some time to heal, man.
take some time to heal. Anyways, we love you, Seth. Let's see.
Goodbye.
Yeah.
Good luck out there, man.
In honor of 4th of July, how many hot dogs with buns could you eat in 10 minutes?
Glizzies?
Maybe like 2.
Yeah, 2.
You don't like glizzies.
They got to be all beef.
I think you guys should do more than 2 in 10 minutes.
No. That's a lot.
If you had to just sit and eat them,
I'm
you're
full
not.
after eating 2 hot dogs.
Yeah, for real.
What I need to know, I'm getting back to that question I mentioned earlier. How concerned should we be with the middle of the defense being mostly unknowns?
You should be concerned because it's unknown to us, but not to them. They picked them up for a reason. They're all on 1-year deals, so obviously it's on some prove-it type stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, if I am concerned the most, it is about the middle of the defense.
253 giving advice to Seth just said swipe right. Just swipe right.
Just keep doing it.
Just keep swipe right. What I need to know, how do I stay safe this 4th of July?
If you're dealing with fireworks, make sure it's in a safe place where you have a water hose available, ready to save lives. Or just don't touch the dang fireworks.
Don't touch fireworks.
It's pretty easy.
Don't do it. Simply don't. What's the more historic beef? Kendrick and Drake or the Mariners and Hitting?
It's the Mariners and Hitting. It's been going on for a while.
Yeah, and at least Kendrick and Drake gave us some good singles.
Yeah.
The Mariners and Hitting woes have given us nothing.
No singles.
Nothing.
No doubles.
Yeah. What I need to know, what is the worst footwear option? Open-toed sandals or Crocs?
Open toes, because I got me some Crocs.
See, I knew that you would defend your
It's
purchase.
Crocs.
I know you would try to stand there and
Sport
defend
modes.
it.
Y'all wear the Jesus
It's
sandals
Crocs.
walking around? That's
It's
so
Crocs.
north with Jesus sandals.
The sandals that like go up the calf.
There's
Goodness
nothing wrong with
gracious.
sandals.
I remember
I can't
when
wait till y'all get
gladiator
Crocs.
sandals were a thing. That was a thing when I was in college, and I was like, this is not.
You had some, though.
No, I did not have any gladiator sandals.
Gladiator sandals were a thing.
Yeah.
I've never owned them.
They look stupid.
I wanted them.
You wanted them?
I wanted them.
Never owned them, huh?
Any bad trend you can think of, I did it. Outside of gladiator
Hey.
sandals.
I'm telling y'all, once your feet
I don't
hit a
want, but
pair
I'm
of
fighting
Crocs,
it. I'm fighting it in a way that you've
I
given
fought
up.
it too. Only
you
reason why I
gave
got
up.
it because my sister-in-law got them for Christmas for me, and I go, "What the heck?"
You
and I put
gave
them
up.
on, and I'll go, "Yeah."
You
I
could have
get
kept
it.
up the fight.
I didn't.
Now
You
you're
have no
on the
resolve,
other
Bum.
side. None.
None whatsoever.
I'm gonna wear them things on Monday just for y'all.
What I need to know, do you guys get invited to other radio shows as guests like you get others on your show?
Yes.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah.
Not often, but at least for me.
And
But
during
I've
football
done
season.
radio
During
shows.
football
During
season,
football season,
yeah.
it's-
I never get invited on as a baseball guest and
Nah.
probably
me neither.
shouldn't.
Football.
But yeah, football for sure. Let's see.
Could you imagine? They call us up on MLB Network. Like, all right, we talking Mariners or what?
Yeah, here we go. We're
Mariners
like, we
and
have
Dodgers.
no answers.
Mariners and Dodgers is all I got for you.
206. What's the best movie you've seen in a movie theater in the last
Ever?
3 months? Well, this said in the last 3 months. What's the
Last
best
3
movie you
months?
saw in the theater where you were like, worth it? This needs to be watched in the theater.
Cool Runnings changed my life. Changed my life.
It was like 30 years ago.
I thought you were gonna say something that's like, oh, this terribly scary
Cool Runnings.
movie.
It was beautiful.
It's Cool Running.
Cried and everything.
Oh man.
Creed. I was shadow boxing in the parking lot.
Brenner's walking to the car. Hey, leave me alone.
All right, you guys. Everyone have a safe and happy 4th of July. We will be back with you on Monday. Wyman and Bob coming up next.
Seattle Sports, your home for Wyman and Bob.
Realistically, who would you like to see the Mariners go after?
Weekdays 2 to 7.
A lot of people talking about Luis Robert Jr. Sorry, I just can't get past the fact that he doesn't play every game. He's not healthy. That's a hard no from me anyway.
For me, it's about what is he going to cost in the way of prospects and, from your big league roster, perhaps. Pete Alonso, that's a rental. What are you comfortable giving up for a guy who's going to be here for a couple of months?
On Seattle Sports and 97.3 FM HD2.
I call myself a confident backseat driver. Mom, brakes, please.
Gotcha.
But I'm less confident in the economy.
Same here, buddy.
Thankfully, Les Schwab Tires helps make sure that our safety never takes a backseat, even when we're watching our wallets.
Roll into summer. Save up to $200 instantly on a wide selection of tires and wheels. Les Schwab Tires. Limited time offer. Terms and conditions apply. Details at leschwab.com/sale.
Want to listen to Seattle sports on your smart speaker?
Hey, smart speaker, play Seattle sports.
This message is powered by the EQC Sportsbook at Emerald Queen Casino. Emerald Queen Casino, the entertainment capital of the Northwest.
Did you know your skin is the largest organ of your body? That's why you should shower with Old Spice Super Hydration Body Wash instead of plain old bar soap. Love your skin by super hydrating it with vitamin B3 and glorious notes of vanilla and shea. Did you know that my super hydrated skin is the second largest organ of my body? The first is my heart. Old Spice. Men have skin too. Old Spice Super Hydration Body Wash. 24/7 renewing moisture. With daily use.
Hi, I'm Angie Hicks, co-founder of Angie. And one thing I've learned is that you buy a house, but you make it a home. Because with every fix, update, and renovation, it becomes a little more your own. So you need all your jobs done well. For nearly 30 years, Angie has helped millions of homeowners hire skilled pros for the projects that matter. From plumbing to electrical, roof repair to deck upgrades. So leave it to the pros who will get your jobs done well. Hire high-quality certified pros at Angie.com.
Did you know your skin is the largest organ of your body? That's why